welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day one of the 2017 North American League Championship Series. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to our newly revamped Battle Arena that'll play home to a year's worth of League of Legends action. But without further ado, as we gear up for another season of League action, I'm going to ask you to join me in welcoming our defending champions, TSM! Team fight!
Look it down. No,
yeah, let's go. Camper Mega.
Help from there. I'm chasing, bro. I'm working, son.
A double already for Bjergsen. Into the back line. They're killing everybody. TSM cement themselves as the most dominant organization in North American League of Legends and win their 4th North American Championship.
Gentlemen, if you would do the honor in helping us commemorate your 4th NALCS title. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, give it up for your defending NALCS champions, TSM! All right, well, as TSM prepares to face off against Cloud9, let's send it over to the Analyst to look at a few changes hitting the Rift this year in the NALCS. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Dash. I am Joshua Jet-Leesman, and Isaac Azael Cummings-Bentley is with me. Pretty hype intro.
I know, man. I'm so excited standing here another year of NALCS.
Yeah, TSM C9 will be happening in just a few minutes, but a lot also happened during the offseason, setting the stage for yet another exciting year here in the North American LCS. Some highlights here. 8 teams are returning from last split, and then we have 2 new teams. So we're welcoming back Team Dignitas, and also we're introducing FlyQuest.
FlyQuest, new name, a lot of familiar faces. The core of the old Cloud9 guys all returning.
Yeah, and there's also some LCS veterans that played last year that are just kind of moving to new teams. Look at all these changes right here. Biggest profile acquisition, probably Reignover going to Team Liquid after being so dominant on Immortals.
Reignover was massive, but you cannot overlook Doublelift, stepping down, Wild Turtle. Big shoes to fill this year. He's going to have to prove himself tonight.
Yeah, every single one of those is going to be exciting. Also, there's a lot of imports that came in from a specific country. Maybe Korea, I think, is the one. All these new players to the LCS. A lot of really big names. Someday really stands out to me as a guy who was a former MVP in Korea, now in North America.
Yeah, Someday one of the best for a couple years running. Looper, former world champion. A lot of big names here. I'm so excited to see how they're going to perform in North America.
Yeah, pretty good. And these sterling veterans are also going to be going up against the few rookies that we have in the split right here. Acadian, Cody Sun, and Contracts.
It's always great to see more North American talent, but Contracts is the guy I'm very excited to see. Reminds me a lot of the hype that was around Dardoch when he came into the league.
Yeah, let's see if they can live up to what Dardoch did last split. There's also much to talk about at the start of the season. We'll be diving more into the teams and the players as the weekend and season progresses. Right now, though, I want to talk a quick second, focus on one of the most impactful changes to the game, which is the 10 bans.
Yeah, I mean, the 10-ban system is absolutely massive. One of the biggest things, there's a lot more meaningful choices. Having a larger champion pool is going to be more heavily rewarded as well because there is the fact that you can pitch certain roles, and having those extra champions under your pocket is going to be helpful.
Yeah, specifically in the second phase of bans there, where both teams get 2 extra bans, it kind of gives you the ability to favor a specific role on your team by banning out counters, or really target an opponent's main champions in that second ban phase.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it in LCK, we've seen it in EU LCS, LPL, so I'm very excited to see the NALCS's take on the 10-ban system.
Awesome stuff. So let's take a look at who's getting the first shot in the new pick and bans. We already saw TSM get introduced on stage. Our first match of the night has the defending champs there going up against Cloud9. But after that, I'm also very excited about the second match, to be completely honest. Echo Fox versus Phoenix One. A lot of new players in that game.
Yeah, I mean, TSM C9 is hype, but the Phoenix One roster is revamped. They look very strong, and I'm really excited to see how Looper is going to do for Echo Fox.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the North American LCS. Not trying to be fake, I'm just really genuinely excited. But as we prepare for our first match, let's send it over to our casters in the Battle Arena.
Thank you very much, Jet. Hello, everyone. I am excited. So is my co-caster, I'm sure. My name is David Freak Turley here for our inaugural match of the season, the Debonair Darn it, I did this in practice properly.
We got
the Debonair Devil.
5 seconds in before Freak made his first mistake.
It's going to keep happening.
Yeah!
Sam Naomi Harvey Kessler.
Let's go!
NA casting. Let's hear it. I'm the best. Okay, so first match of the night. You guys know about it already. It was last year's summer finals. Defending champions TSM up against Cloud9. These two teams, obviously incredible.
These two teams are part of the reason everyone is so hyped to get this league off the ground here. To start off, we've got Cloud9. They're welcoming in rookie jungler contracts. He's looking to be that missing piece to get Cloud9 back to the very peak of the North American LCS where they once were. Now, Reaper, he's also brought on Ray as a sub-top laner, which may be a surprise to people considering how well Impact played last season. But that's an extra practice partner for him. Plus, maybe grooming Ray for the future. Plus, they've also brought on more coaching help from CJ Entis. They have Kane. Now, this guy, he's a 2-times Worlds participant, support player, and he's specifically coaching Sneaky and Smoothie in that duo lane on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and I think it's a really big deal because there's a lot of room now to be the best bot lane in North America, because if you haven't heard the news, you haven't looked at the stage right now, Doublelift is not with TSM anymore. He stepped down after Worlds last year, and so Wild Turtle is the man to fill those gigantic shoes left by possibly the best AD carry North America's ever had. Now, Wild Turtle spent the last year playing for Immortals, and he did very well with them. It's not like he was suddenly crap and suddenly no longer in the LCS. So we'll see if he can play up to the level that Doublelift kind of left all the TSM fans thinking about.
Yeah, it does feel like a very big change for the team because, not only did Doublelift have very good laning numbers as an AD carry, he also was a huge shot caller for the team, and they've talked about that a lot. He's a big voice. Turtle, though, he does have past synergy with those guys, and remember, the rest of TSM is still staying the same. Specifically, I want to highlight that synergy between Svenskeren and Bjergsen. The jungle mid synergy was huge. At Worlds, I have to say, Svenskeren was one of the standout players from all of North America. Great performance all around from him. But also, whenever we talk about Cloud9 versus TSM, that man on your screen, Bjergsen versus Jensen, possibly number 1 and number 2 mid laners going head-to-head. A lot of eyes are going to be in the mid lane for this game.
Absolutely agree. Those two mid lane Danish superstars. And of course, with Bjergsen kind of always holding the crown of North America, Jensen hoping to take that away from him here. And Jensen told us how he plans to step up on Cloud9 this split.
The biggest difference for me personally is probably I'll try to take more of a leadership role and be more talkative and just generally try to help the team out more rather than just focusing on myself. So I'm just trying to be a better team player overall and just a better leader.
It's actually interesting because we talk about him being number 2 to Bjergsen, debatably maybe number 3. Bjergsen went through a very similar change last season when he had to take on more shot calling duties, more leadership responsibilities. So, Jensen is really on a good path right now, and I think he's got a good trajectory.
Yeah, it's worth kind of pointing out that the Cloud9 trajectory, as you kind of named it, they used to have High in there, and they had benched him more than once and brought him back out. High played 3 different roles for C9 just so they could have his shot calling as part of the roster, and now the only old guard C9 player left is Sneaky. Right now, Jensen is one of the big sort of faces now of this lineup where he's going to have to be one of the vocal players because Meteos is gone, High is gone. They need some shot calling veteran status.
All right, well, now, before we hop into the game, let's take a look at the squads facing off. On the blue side, it is going to be TSM. Up top is Concert. In the jungle will be Svenskeren. Mid, as we said, Bjergsen. Bottom will be Wild Turtle, and supporting him, Biofrost. Coach Parth also going to be up on stage for that new pick ban system.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch for. Of course, their opponents here on the red side, Cloud9. Impact will be starting in the top lane today. We know Ray is on the bench. Contracts, rookie jungler, very hyped up. Jensen in the mid lane, bot lane duo of Sneaky and Smoothie, now with Coach Kane to help them during practice with their coach Reaper, also returning from before. So with both these squads, if you count coaches, 5 of 6 returning players from last split's final. And so these are 2 of the least changed teams in the LCS.
And I think we really do need to count coaches because we touched on it a little bit, but the new pick ban, everybody's so excited for it because of, the champion diversity. But also, coaches knowing their players really well is even more important because, yes, there is sort of a flow that people have settled on, but, flex picks can change that flow up as well as the specific pools, and specialties of your players on different champions really can affect things. And it's already resulted in a lot of new picks, a lot of very exciting games.
Well, it's really interesting that you can kind of look into the statistics of pick and ban, and there are certainly some champions that are really, really high profile. Rengar, Camille, LeBlanc, those 3 are pretty much first pick this or you're doing something wrong tier, essentially. And then you've got Maokai, who's up there as a basically 100% pick ban top laner as well. But even just looking at top lane specifically, Camille and Maokai off the table, the next most picked champion is a 50% pick rate
And that's like number 3. Like before it was like always Maokai, always Nautilus, always Poppy. And now it's like, oh, we see some Jace bans. Like maybe we see Jax up there. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff you can see afterwards.
Yeah, and the counters to those things that are so prevalent start to emerge, right? You see some singed into these specific champions where it's good against tanks, and you also see a little bit of Shen emerging as well. So I like the unique emergence of these counters that come because there are, 10 champions not available.
Yeah.
People aren't just going straight down the list, next highest power.
It's what it seems like is I feel like, at least internally, there's there's the S tier, which is like the Camille's of the world. There's an A tier where there's champions you expect to see in the first round. Ashe, Maokai, maybe Lee Sin is in there for examples of that. And then you've got like 80 champions who are in the tier below that, where you just pick any of these that you care about, whether you're playing Singed or Jax or Aurelia or whatever the top laner is. There's a bunch of different AD carries to play. There's a bunch of different bot laners, a bunch of different mid laners to play. And you've got a very, very wide pool to round out the composition. And it seems like the last 3 picks for each team are on a very wide pool.
All right, so just to update everybody, we are switching out Bjergsen's computer, I believe. Quick switch on stage, so it'll be a little bit longer. Exactly. That's why we get to delve further into the new pick bans. And so the main thing that I actually really like about the flex picks is the first phase pick of a flex pick. Because right now the basic flow that we kind of touched on is blue side does get their first pick of whatever strongest is left up. Then red side kind of gets to dictate what the other roles are going to be picked in first phase. Because if you don't match those, more bans are coming through.
Out,
you can get banned out. However, if they decide to grab a flex in that last part of the first phase, you don't have to match every role. And you can have it be flexible between, say, mid and support.
Right.
And then the other team doesn't know what to go after in their second phase ban. And there's a lot of things that we can, theory craft right now, but they get a little tedious without some action on stage to follow.
Right, but yeah, just to illustrate your point, I suppose, like we've seen 4 Jace games. 2 were top, 2 were mid. You pick that in the end of the first round. If they ban a bunch of mid laners, you go, that's cute. We'll just play Jace there, and we'll just pick Maokai later on or something to this effect. Nautilus can flex around as well, and yeah, I think that kind of stuff is very interesting. So let's drop off the pick and ban point. Let's talk about the new players on the rosters. Right? You guys should almost know the returning players. Wild Turtle back in for TSM, and Contracts is a player that I think we know we're hyping up a lot, but I think a lot of people don't really know about very well, just as casual esports fans. So Contracts is a player who is recently turned 17, which is the minimum age you have to be to play in a professional league anywhere. This is his first eligible split, essentially.
Highly anticipated him turning LCS eligible as well. A lot of teams were looking at him, and that's why Cloud9 picked him up early for their challenger team. He played on that team with High, with Lemon, with Balls, so the old guard. So this guy has been groomed, and he's been with veterans for quite a long time. It's part of the reason why he's so hyped up now, because not only is he a young talent, but he's also had many mentors that have, plenty of stage experience.
Yeah, he's gotten close to a full year of competitive play, which is a good leg to stand on. I know very often rookies will come in and frequently overestimate their own skill set. They'll not understand how much work it really takes to become a top-tier talent, how much you have to learn to be as smart as players like Aframe, who have several years of experience and are universally respected for their intelligence. And it's always a varying degree of a growing experience for a rookie like someone like Contracts. You've had players like Dardoch who went 0 to 60 right away and were just incredible from the get-go. You've had players like Moon who had the opposite experience where they felt like they were on a similar level in Challenger but didn't have that same explosion into the professional scene, and Contracts is one where I want to see where on the spectrum he lands.
Yeah, and the other thing that's super important, how well he gets along with his team. You can see, especially, during pauses and stuff up on stage, teams have a bit of time. They're already joking around. He's fit in really well. Jensen's actually been really outspoken about how much he likes working with Contracts. So we talked about Svenskeren and Bjergsen's combination, but, how will Jensen and Contracts match up to that?
And I think it's going to be a fun one to watch for because Jensen has always been right behind that crown to be the best mid laner here in the North American LCS. And I think Contracts, there's a lot of really strong junglers out there to deal with. You've got several really important imports. You've got like Lyra and Chaser, for example, who look very good. We know Svenskaren's strong. We saw Smithy's very strong. Reignover didn't have the best play performance, but dominated the North American jungle for almost all of 2016. And there's a lot of great junglers to stack up against. Even fresher faces like Inori started to really turn heads by the end there. And where Contracts fits into a role that Nack, I feel like, almost all the North American junglers are very, very good. It is going to be interesting to see because almost every match he's ever going to play is going to be against someone who's scary.
All right. Well, I think another thing worth highlighting that we kind of went over is Kane. You know, we talk about coaching pickups every so often, but this one specifically for Sneaky and Smoothie in the bottom lane. There were even memes last year about Sneaky
in lane.
Sneaky in lane. That Double started, I believe. Versus TSM, and now it's actually Cloud9 that have the specific bottom lane coach going against a roster swap on TSM side in the bottom lane, and there's a lot of pressure on Wild Turtle to match up to these guys. You know, Smoothie and Sneaky are raring to go, and you know, Turtle, a lot of the criticism he did get when he was on the team was for laning phase and was for early on in the game. Plus Biofrost, now he does not have double lift. Everyone's looking for him to prove himself on his own now.
That was something I was definitely going to consider is, you know, how good is Biofrost really going to be? He looked really good in the NALCS. At Worlds, it looked a lot worse, and that could have been nerves. I don't know exactly what it was, but he didn't look like the same Biofrost when he went over to Worlds. And right now, you no longer have the best AD carry in North America to make this lane look better. Now you've got a good AD carry. Granted, Wild Turtle's obviously
you keep
a pro
on
caliber.
slipping in that best AD carry in North America.
I feel like
it.
he actually was. And I've been like a big Sneaky fan for a while, but I really feel like, you know, for 2016, Doublelift was, I think, unequivocally the best AD carry in the league for, I think, the entire year. I think, you know, far above Piglet, far above Sneaky. And now you've gotten, you know, some level of a downgrade. And I don't want to sell Wild Turtle short. I think he is a very good player, but you went from the best bot lane NA to, I don't know, you're up against Prey's former support coaching a bot lane, and these guys weren't slouches in the first place.
Yeah, we will see. Definitely excited to see how it plays out. As we talk about the bottom lane, the champions we're expecting, Ashe and Varus are pretty much the premier AD carries for the bottom lane right now. And then supports depends on what your team does really want to do.
Yeah.
But again, the laning dominant ones are really high up there. The Zyra and Malzahar has really emerged, you know, starting in you know, Korea and in solo queue and stuff. And he's also a big bully in the bottom lane. That kill pressure with level 6. Zyra, though, I think is just so powerful still. All right, we switched out the computer. Let's get this game rolling.
Here we go. Picks and bans. North American LCS fans, the format has changed this year. 3 bans per side, just like normal. And it's going to be 3 picks per side, and then 2 more bans, and then 2 more picks. The order will be highlighted on your screen. We'll cover that as time goes on. But first off, the Rengar and LeBlanc bans, no surprise.
Yes, so this is along that tier. Camille is also in this tier that we do expect to be banned out. Usually it is on the red side to ban that out because blue side does have first pick. And I think that Camille, not only is she such a strong champion all around, but doesn't even really have anything you can pick into her that's necessary for a blue side to ban out in order to pick her. So they're pretty free to go after target bans from then on, and the Olaf actually finds themselves, you know, so maybe a little bit of mixed impact and contracts crossover there.
Yeah, so the S tier champion's pretty much gone away. We know Maokai is high priority, Ashe would be as well, but it's also time for these teams to kind of set up what the pinched roles might be. You see TSM have sent themselves a single ban onto the Olaf. They've got to choose again. Janna, actually, I am surprised at as a ban. I have not really seen her much in competitive right now.
Yeah, there may be you know, some concern here on the bottom lane. We'll see how this does develop, but Cloud9, you know, historically has been very willing to play things like the Ashe Zyra combo and jump right on that. We'll see how it does round out. Interesting flex here with the Lee Sin ban, as it, you know, he is definitely really high up there, but a lot of it is also because Svenskeren, this man dazzled people at Worlds on the champion.
He's very good at it. So this means if we go by the tier list definition, the next junglers up, I believe, are Kha'Zix and Rek'Sai. As far as top lane goes,
Elise is also, I believe, right in
she's
there.
up there, yeah. So we'll see across those 3. Maokai, of course, a very high priority top laner. Ashe, I think, is going to be no surprise in the bot lane marksman role as well. So no sneaky zigs this game. I know several bot lane players have been practicing that mage to see if it gets pulled out. We've seen it a few times in pro play. We'll see what's next.
Interesting. You know, there actually hasn't been much attention paid to the mid lane here. Neither one wants to go first. For me, there's this interesting trio with Ryze, Cassiopeia, and Orianna, where Ryze is super strong, but I feel like Cassiopeia is great into him right now, even after reworks. But then you don't want to pick Cassiopeia early because Orianna is good into And neither of them are jumping early, even though both these guys are very strong mid lane players. Katarina is still an option as well, so
Absolutely.
Getting a counter pick Katarina might be an exciting possibility. There we go, though. I believe that's locked in there.
Yeah,
Kazik
Ash
for
Kazik.
contracts.
And you mentioned the Rise being high priority, going to be hovered by Svensker, and that actually is going to switch to a Syndra. And as time ticks down, looks like that's going to be the champion they play for after all. So Syndra in the mid lane for Bjergsen, going to be the blind pick here. And they've got to pick one more champion. And we know actually now that the roles will not match up 1-to-1. There's already been 4 roles selected so far, so we'll see disjointed bans in phase 2.
Getting super excited already because we aren't following that script, and the second ban phase will be super interesting to see if we're going to nab a mid laner here.
Backside locked.
I think they might need to nab a mid laner. Your counter pick for Maokai can wait because there's so many things that you're going to run up against him, but there's not like a hard counter to Maokai. Maokai is so good because scales well, always an amazing tank, super great frontliner. So I think that they feel fine, and Cloud9 would rather go for a mid lane before getting 2 more rounds of bans at it.
Other thought I have, so there's 2 things. Cloud9 needs a tank. Oh, it's going to be Fizz. Fizz, the mid lane matchup, going to be picked into. Now, it could be top, but I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's definitely flexible, but this is going to be super exciting. A Kha'Zix Fizz mid lane jungle, so risky. Double assassins here. Cloud9 are going to have to be on their early game because if you get behind with that combo, you are in big trouble. There is no wave clear here. Fizz could very easily get pushed under turret, get abused early on. The pressure, though, does come from Fizz getting early kills, right? If you have jungle pressure, if you have vision control around mid lane, and you can put pressure on that Syndra, and she can't go so aggressively. Theoretically, extra range advantage and the spam and harass can take its toll, but Fizz has so much threat for that kill because he can snowball off of it.
It's a high-risk, high-reward pickup. I want to note that Cloud9 does not have any tanks right now in the lineup, and you're looking at the bans for TSM. Nautilus the first, Poppy the second would not surprise me to say Impact. You've got to play Singed or something if you want to play a beefy frontliner. There's the Poppy, so Impact, there are still tanks to play. There's other things in the role, or maybe a tank support for Smoothie.
And quickly I want to touch on, this is what happens when you have desynced picks in the first phase. The bans are also desynced here. Because Cloud9 had the only AD carry pick, you see the follow-up of Varus and Jhin. So they take the next 2 right off the table. I would expect an Ezreal for Wild Turtle would be my theory crafted pick for him. We'll wait until TSM gets their turn for that, though. Here now, we get back to that Maokai point where he's always going to do Maokai things, and you're just going to have something up there that's not necessarily going to counter him, but just trade with him. They will have Shen ultimate to try and make plays combined with Ashe Arrow. There's a lot of global potential here locked in for Cloud9. And meanwhile, we get back to TSM's side. See their first shot at the support.
Plenty of time to go for this pick right now. Wild Turtle hovering Zyra. Now, we know that Miss Fortune has become the go-to counter pick to Zyra. Not so much that you won't play Zyra with MF available, but you can see Smoothie leaving his pick for last to make sure that counter pick is an option, and Zyra gets locked.
Or the Lulu, which we did just see in Europe. Because of the auto kills on those. Oh, well, not necessarily.
You almost one-shot plants. I'm not sure if you exactly do. I'd have to play it myself.
But it does help a little bit.
Pix does damage to the plants.
Kalista hover for Turtle. He's had highlight plays on Kalista, Freak.
He has. Some of this has worked out for him. He has gone back and forth, and he's locked it in. Kalista in the very first game of the North American LCS. Double marksman down in the bot lane. Kalista, the buffs were enough in Turtle's mind, and he brings the champion out.
I love when we have divergent styles here emerging in pick ban, because TSM are very clearly going front to back here. They've got a great frontliner, team fighting. Kalista's going to get in the middle with all the zones created from Maokai, Syndra, and Zyra. Meanwhile, Cloud9, this Ashe Arrow and Shen stand united are going to have to be big. MF is picked up. That's that classic counter to Zyra that emerged last year at Worlds with the Rocks Tigers using it. We'll see if it does, become a thing, because as you transition out of the lane phase, definitely drops off and doesn't provide quite as much.
And some of the lane phase strengths are one-shot the Zyra. Well, guess what? Wild Turtle has a get-out-of-jail-free card for his support. By picking Kalista, expecting the Ashe MF lane, Biopross can face tank an arrow and get thrown back out.
Turtle cannot face take an arrow, though.
No, he can't. He's got to dodge them.
There's nothing for him because, yes, that double ultimate spike you're talking about in the bottom lane is crucial. Remember as well, we're going to have to keep in mind that Shen stand united. There are 2 assassins for him to play off or the bottom lane. So there's a lot of options, and that first stand united will be very important for impact because the cooldown at level 1 is still very long.
200 seconds.
Yeah, they didn't reduce that as one of the buffs to get him back in the game. What they buffed to get him back in here was a little bit of armor and health, just some stats buff for the top lane. And that first ultimate cooldown is still going to be quite long.
All right, well, we'll see what happens here. You get the lineup up on your screen. The very first game of the North American LCS is about to begin. Defending champions TSM, 4-time North American split champions. Cloud9 have won 2 themselves, but for the last, I think, several playoffs in a row, maybe 4 playoffs in a row, TSM have taken out Cloud9 in a best of, and C9 maybe gets a chance to start the revenge story early as the 2017 Spring Split begins.
Yes, sir. There's been a lot of hype, coming from scrims from all the teams about both of these 2.
Here we go. Game 1 of the 2017 North American LCS begins. TSM chance, but the first thing you hear if you load this VOD up and start the game out, Hanser and the rest of
some
TSM.
knives in there.
DS9, a great Star Trek. Underrated.
Right. As they fan out, though, I'm so excited for this mid lane. Not only is it the classic matchup of the North American Danish players, Jensen and Bjergsen, but he's taking that assassin into the Syndra, looking for the kill pressure. To me, as a jungler, you immediately look to that lane for the early presence, right? This top lane is fully ignorable. Shen, Maokai, leave them up there to do their own thing, because even if you go up there, it takes a while to kill the tank, and the other jungler can make some big plays while you're spending your time there. But Rek'Sai does have some small advantage in that early vision war with the passive. We'll get those pings and can try and use that to help get extra vision for Bjergsen around the mid lane. Bjergsen has taken that exhaust, by the way, to defend against the all-in.
It's worth noting, by the way, you see where Biofrost is standing in the lane. He's actually making sure he gets plants into the lane when it starts. Junglers, I really recommend you start topside to let your dual lanes have things like this, where Biofrost, just by making sure he's standing here, gets a lot of lane advantage.
Yeah, we've seen how important it is to line up those seeds for the early harass. Woo! Sneaky getting down. All right, both junglers are going to start on the top side too, by the way, because bottom lane right now, so important to get early control of the lane. We'll see them battle towards that level 2. Kalista and Zyra have a lot of pressure. Kalista's so good at chasing you down. Biofrost adds the extra threat and damage here. But we'll talk about, again, that MF support and how it counters the Zyra. The plant killing, definitely true with her love taps, as well as the extra move speed to be able to dodge.
And C9 tried to put a Trinket Ward into the brush and actually got picked off there by Turtle and Biofrost. Quick reflexes to see it happen. And this means it's going to be harder for Cloud9 to control part of his lane. And actually will mean a lot as time goes on. Good poke on a Biofrost, but we'll see if this lane actually plays out.
Yeah, one of the most important resources to track in that bottom lane while they're trading there is the health potion count for both supports, because a lot of the harass will be for the supports, as the ADs are on the front line right now and trading health pretty liberally. As we said, though, junglers can have very big influence in the early game. Contract has gone red to blue, right into Gromp. Going to go for the level 3, and we'll see if he chooses to fight over the Scuttle. He's actually dropped off that ward. You see the ward in the river? That was to scout an early Scuttle Crab from Rek'Sai. So he wanted to go get his Gromp while still having vision of the typical Rek'Sai move for the Scuttle Crab. Has worked out, and he sees him take it, but he's already on Wolf, so the oohs and ahs, won't be any conflict, but he knows that that was taken, and Sven is on the bottom side. Yeah. So some intelligence there to contracts, and they've been alerted to Sven's early movements.
Yep, and you saw the missing ping down there like, hey, people went around this way. I saw Sven go towards the Drake. He probably jumped over the wall. And they can expect these bot-side jungle this time.
And look at contracts. He immediately goes over to the mid lane as they saw Sven in the bottom river. He's not sure if Sven would try and gank mid lane from the river or if he would wrap around. Here goes the aggressive move, though.
Slow and nice knockback by Bjergsen gets contracts out of range. Gonna flash to chase anyway. That'll be a trade of Summoner Spells. I think if Bjerg didn't land that E, he could have died for that one, but gets away with both summoners down.
Most definitely. And that is the gank that you're expecting there in a Fizz lane. Does get control and is going to push the lane in. Bjergsen survives with both summoners flown. Remember that Jensen did not use his. Contracts, as the jungler, this is something that you guys do need to remember. Always trade 1-for-1 flashes with the enemy mid laner, because if your mid laner keeps his, so much extra threat there. And Kha'Zix also has a jump of his own, so it's even more important. Svenskeren could go for a repeat here, though. We talked about bottom river ganks.
There's the stun. Jensen has his E, jumps in, and actually fails to dodge the knock because he can't do it. Sven queues it up. A lot of damage on Jensen. He just gets you back to lane.
You should never, as the Fizz, be able to escape that without getting knocked up using your E. Or you should, if you're going to use your E, that would be the only way, because you would have to jump over him. Rek'Sai, all he has to do is attack move. You'll immediately knock him up if they try and Q through you.
Yeah.
But he did go for the Q. Didn't lose that much health for it, and still is going to be able to get all this CS. So very, very high action in the mid lane as expected. Both junglers making their presence felt, but all important summoners were blown from the contract gank, not from the Sven gank.
All right, and we see the payoff now as Bjergsen does get to walk back in, just to refill a potion, so not a ton of sustain, but 250 health worth. The Null Magic Mantle will make his life a little bit easier as well. Of course, you should definitely buy MR up against Fizz. Smart choice for that. Contract's level 5. Not as fast as Svenskeren was, though. Slightly faster here, the TSM jungler. But otherwise, a fairly equal trade. Cloud9 overall, though, you can see up 400 gold as a team. You're seeing small minion leads on pretty much every lane, and specifically top lane up 8.
Yep, doing quite well. Their impact is. There are a few more minions for Haunter to pick up, but it's only 4 and won't completely equalize, so there is that small advantage for impact, and he's using his teleport here because he's about to get level 6. Won't really need that for a cross-map play, and just wants to get back there to push this lane into the turret against Haunter so that he doesn't get keep them there right in front. There it is.
He's going to try to freeze as much as he can. It won't freeze forever. It's guaranteed to push back towards C9 right now, towards impact.
And remember, his Shen ultimate doesn't have to be used bottom lane. 2 assassins on the Cloud9 squad. It really provides so much early game threat. If you have these double assassins plus a defense of a Shen ult, Sven does show here because he got baited in, thought that Jensen was going to complete that aggressive move. But Jensen, they actually get vision of Biofrost moving up the river, and I think that's why Jensen backed off. So seeing just the Zyra enables him to dodge a gank from Rek'Sai as well, and Contracts moves in to complete the Scuttle Crab kill.
The mid lane roam didn't quite pay off to much for here, just Biofrost losing a bit of time, but it's okay because Turtle was backing anyway. The trade in the top lane. You're seeing, by the way, a lot of these top laners are going Grasp of the Undying, the ones who think they can outfight the opponents. Haunter, I believe, is still going Courage the Colossus, but I've seen several top laners in practice have gone for Grasp of the Undying for more laning power, and you're seeing right there, Impact is getting ahead of Haunter in some cases.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, these ganks have definitely taken their toll on Bjergsen. He has to respect the Fizz all-in so much, so Jensen just over and over going for those trades. Get some more harass down on him now. The exhaust for Bjergsen is back up. He does have that. If it's just a 1v1 all-in, he should be able to survive. But again, junglers are really hovering around this mid lane.
You know, it's a volatile matchup. We know on either side, these champions can be one-shot. Bjergsen still missing flash for the next roughly 1 minute, 60 seconds exactly on my client here. And Contract's gonna walk in, sees Bjerg, goes, I don't know if I want to 1v2 that. We know Sven's around.
Yeah, now you're what you're trying to get out of it is zone them, make him walk the long way so he can maybe miss a minion. He did zone.
Nope,
minions.
literally nothing lost.
Bjerg got him. Well played there from Bjergsen. Gets most of the CS here. I think he missed 1, 2 on the turret. That's about it. Gets most of the money, and it's still extremely close here.
Now Contract's going into the jungle, looking for a little bit of tracking out of Svenskeren. Nothing found just yet. I think Sven can see him via Tremor Sense. Contract sitting still. There's the ulti onto Wild Turtle. They aim for him, and he's got to burn Summoner Heal to get out.
As we talked about, yes, the support can take the arrow, but Turtle cannot, and that arrow does land. Huge amount of harass. They weren't even really 100% going for a kill there. They did get the heal Summoner spell out and zoned a bunch of minions, so aggressive move there from Cloud9. As soon as they hit 6, go for that ult combo, and it was able to land. This means all pressure in the jungle for TSM is lost. Contracts moves in. they get the red steal. And the other thing about Kha'Zix here, upgrading that Q, yeah, that was his first evolution. You can easily take isolated objectives like the buffs and even the dragon. Now, the Drake is going to do a lot of damage to Kha'Zix still, but he could theoretically solo it if he wanted to use that time.
Yeah.
It's better to use it actually to farm your jungle though and get that experience unless there's nothing left around. And he is going to do that instead. Meanwhile, blue buff for Bjergsen is enabling him to push the lane.
Definitely is. We'll see if this blue goes over to Jensen soon enough, but right now, not going to find it. Beard looked like he's going to go to ward, but he's going to recall, line up the Negatron cloak to be a bit more durable, and he'll recall back into lane.
All right, it will be another trade over here. Now, like we were talking about before with the Shen, very, very high priority on this first ultimate. It doesn't look like Cloud9 are looking to force with the first gen ultimate though, because it is fairly risky. He is getting kind of pushed in right now. Hanser does have some AoE clear, and he's trying to push in impact. So the Shen ultimate not being used too liberally. It's definitely still there for a defensive play, but the Ash Arrow coming back up might change those things. Bottom lane, they did get that heal out, and things are building. It might actually result in some action around this Drake.
Yeah, they're trying to get their wards up. TSM with a couple of good defensive control wards and the 2 choke points for that bottom jungle. One by mid, one by bot lane, so we know C9 has no vision down there. Really just kind of dark and unsafe for both sides to go for Drake right now.
Yeah, if I'm Cloud9, I'm looking to kind of abuse the map right now when the map is split up. There's the arrow.
Again, it hits Turtle. Biofrost jukes away from it. Flash out a Wild Turtle. Knockup comes through. Not a lot of meaningful damage on the C9, but that is TSM losing another summoner spell down there.
Yeah, accurate shooting here from Sneaky. As soon as it's back up, boom, another Ash Arrow, another ult from Smoothie to layer on, get the damage, and another summoner blown. This is going to draw some extra fellows down here. Going to clear out this pink control ward.
Yep.
Instead,
Haha.
Bjergsen is actually not going to go out to lane because he knows there's a lot of damage potential in that duo. Not going to overextend and plays it very safe. Cloud9 tiptoeing around this. They have a slight edge in pressure, but they don't want to pull the trigger and overdive. If you overdive versus a team fighting comp like this and you throw away your early game, it's going to be very bad news for Cloud9. So they have to be cautious, even though they know they do have the opportunity to try and make strong cross-map plays.
Sure. And it's worth noting that even though this...
Good shot
the
there from
CS
Turtle.
numbers might lie to you facing a Zyra because you can kill him for free, but if you look at gold, Sneaky's actually up 300 over Turtle, and Smoothie's up 100 over Biofrost. So the gold, look at that contracts! He's gonna get him first blood! Assist to Smoothie, gets the assassination.
Patience pays off for Cloud9 there, and the bottom lane, their hard work pays off for the jungler, baby. Contracts moves in, gets the first blood, and he's also gonna get some shared gold on the first turret. This feels so good for a Kha'Zix. This early game is already a time where he's going to shine. He's got the Q evolution. He can quickly take care of this Drake. Oh, mid lane arrow.
Gonna try to help Jensen.
Yeah, throw one out there. Jensen's still going for it.
Little mini shark, but now the E is gone. Shen to come help out on this one. Jensen taking a lot of damage, but there comes everybody else. Cloud Drake picked up. Sven has to flash away from Smoothie joining this one. And now Bjergsen is running for dear life. Impact gonna land the taunt. There's the rest of the damage. 2 to Cloud9 to start out the game.
And they're not done yet. Hanser!
In the mix he goes. Smoothie goes down 2-1. Finally gets an equalizing kill. Good job by TSM's top half of the map. Turns it a bit around. Still, all said and done, C9 with the lead.
Yeah, that was a good answer kill there from Hanser, though, because TSM, like we said, they do have a very solid teamfight comp for later in the game. And, getting some counter kills here to keep them kind of in it for the early game, definitely what they need. Here we go. We do see that Shen ultimate that we were waiting on. They wait till they really needed to use it in the mid lane there as Jensen got exhausted and he was in a 2v1. Impact, though, right on top of things. Does save him with the Shen ultimate, follows up with a kill there with the flash, and luckily for TSM, Hanser not far behind. He is able to answer, and yeah, Cloud9 do have their lead. That being said, definitely not out of the deep waters yet here for TSM.
2,000 gold difference, certainly a nice one for Cloud9, not insurmountable by any means. And We'll see, though, that volatile mid lane matchup has started to push a little bit toward Jensen. The Assassins can certainly pay off. We know that Hanser can pin them down on that Maokai, that the damage can be there. We just have to see it play out.
All right, now as we're transitioning to that mid stage of the game, you want to see Cloud9 keep the map spread out if you're looking at from their perspective, because they don't want to end up in one of those fights where they're moving front to back in a team fight, trying to get through a Maokai and get through this Rek'Sai. So they want to keep the map spread out. They still have 2 teleports that they would want to use and, you know, an overload one side, make use of the assassin playstyle that they have. Meanwhile, TSM want to do the exact opposite, right? They just want to defend their turrets and they want to hold on till the mid game where they can get these 5-on-5 fights around things like Dragon.
Exactly. You see it in the types of champions that are being played. Kalista has to be by a teammate, and a bit of damage, he's fine. But yeah, right, you know Shen and Fizz are happy to split push in a side lane. It means C9 have sent their duo sneaky through the end of the mid lane. Jensen here to wreak havoc in the side of the map. Battle, yeah, not going to beat that with Smite, certainly. But they're just, yeah, splitting up the map, looking for Stand United, looking for assassinations, looking for an opening that Contrast can find an isolated opponent.
All right, convergence here in mid lane. Cloud9, they do exactly that. They go 1-3-1, they split up the map. They've got their AD carry and AD carry in mid lane. And they're going to try and pressure this turret. Meanwhile, move down bottom through a bunch of wards for TSM. So Jensen right now is backing off because they have so many early wards. And Bjergsen is all on his own here, doing well defending this turret. He dodges the arrow. He still gets all the CS as well. Pretty good one-man defense there from Bjergsen, while the rest of the team went for that attempted pick on the bottom lane Fizz.
Absolutely. It's always scary. It's nerve-wracking for your TSM because it's only a matter of time until they do finally land that arrow. They find the angle that Bjergsen didn't think of, and as soon as that happens, he's instantly dead. He won't be able to survive the damage. And
Yep.
it's a losing proposition if TSM can't find their way to get into this map. Jensen grabs an easy blue buff and walks back to his lane.
All right, TSM's way in here, I think looks like they're hoping for a very good, you know, counterplay, right? Hanser's going to have his teleport up soonish, and if they're defending at a turret, you know, trying to turn one of those fights around at a turret, if they are able to win one of those, they can then, you know, use their 5-on-5 power to get that advantage right back.
We'll see what happens. We know the team fights can be explosive, and we're waiting still until Wild Turtle can finish the Hurricane. Interestingly enough, actually, BF Sword in the Hurricane, not the Ruin King build that I'd seen more typically of Kallistas. So it's a bit new for me, or a bit old school, depending on how you think of it. Wild Turtle's still going to wait until he can complete that item. Current gold says he's pretty far away, actually. About 1,000 to go until he can finish Hurricane. So his team fight power not going to be strong for a while. Bjergsen pushed to C9 side of the map.
Yeah, Bjergsen is playing a good game right now. He's dodging everything, but it's a risky game, right?
Yeah.
If, as you said, that Ash Arrow lands, it's back up right now, and the opportunity is definitely there. Here's a good move from from TSM. Look at this rotation top. They're bringing everybody up. They're going to try and even up the turret score here and get that gold back.
Yeah, that's
so
well
that
played.
they're not so far behind.
Definitely well played, getting that opening, saying, you know, you can't kill bottom outer. I don't care where you are.
All right, let's see if Bjergsen is going to be able to dodge this, because they brought everybody to the mid lane here for Cloud9. Shen can arrive with Stand United.
Sven looks durable enough. Hanser gets over the wall against Jensen. No other catch to be had. Everyone jumps away.
That's right, his E was already cast, so he got to follow him through. But Jensen, slippery Fizz, gets into the river, and no confrontation from either team.
All right, still slow and methodical. The gold lead down to 1,700. TSM have closed the gap a little bit from earlier. Next Drake up in 35, and to many's chagrin, it's only a Cloud Drake. I don't know if it really has specific synergies with either team other than maybe you run away from the gank attempts if someone comes to hit you from the side. But it's certainly no game-ending Mountain Drake style things that are probably pretty useful for C9, who only really have the 2 marksmen as the ranged champions. Turrets won't fall all that quick.
Okay, I want to prep something here that Cloud9 could go. If you're looking at Jensen, he's got teleport. There's a ward behind Wild Turtle right now. So if he decided that they had enough vision to actually go for an assassination, yeah, this pink ward right here is an opportunity. It's not only Shen that has teleport in this game. Remember, Jensen's been using it, you know, to get through lane phase. Now, that's an opportunity that was there. There wasn't vision deep for Cloud9 on that side of the map, so they weren't sure how many TSM players were there. But that is, you know, one of those things that you do look for to see a mid-game play.
That actually, TSM who controlled the Drake despite having their bot laner top not long ago, and yet they're in complete control of this river in C9, giving up, in my opinion, more than they probably should. They had the gold lead in the clean, unattempted Cloud Drake for TSM. Not even a problem.
Yeah, you gotta wonder a little bit if Cloud9, what they're gonna actually pull the trigger on. If an AD carry up there without the ward is not it. They definitely don't want to have an overdrive like we said though. They still have a decent gold lead. It's gonna be on Haunter instead. Shen comes in.
Right, onto the isolated Maokai. Haunter's got no one around him. It's minimum 15 seconds till any TSM shows up.
He's pretty free.
Yeah, I don't see how you get away with this one. He's got flash available. He's trying to get over the wall. Not going to get the chance to. The final bit of damage comes through. Impact with the kill credit. Now Bjergsen. Oh, found out by Contracts. Exhaust be damned. The solo kill for C9's rookie jungler takes out Bjergsen, and he wants more. He's got an appetite for more Danes, and Svenskeren running away.
Exactly. He had he had Sneaky and Smoothie in the mid lane as well, so he could continue right there. Bjergsen goes down to Contracts. They get the turret after the 2 kills. And more picks here for Cloud9. I mean, they increase their gold lead. They increase the map coverage that they have to work with now. Outer turrets going down help these teams that are doing 1-3-1, that are doing this split so much, because it makes TSM have less area to try and farm gold in. Take another look here. We were mentioning, what is the play that they actually pull the trigger on, with their global cross map? And it's the guaranteed for sure. They accounted for the other members lane, and so you just take that Maokai who has no escapes, and even though it takes a long time, they grab the kill. Now here's Contracts just solo on Bjergsen, even with the exhaust. Able to get that last Q and auto out. Bjergsen burns down from the red smite.
Beautifully done right there. So now 3,500 gold. Cloud9 in a pretty comfortable position right now. Impact with the control ward to get rid of Haunter's vision. It says, remember what happened last time you 1v1 me? It was a 2v1. It didn't go well for you. And Haunter forced to play a little bit farther back. Sneaky once again he's sitting in the mid lane. This time he does catch out Bjergsen. Plenty damage there, forcing to flash out. And it's TSM giving up control of the mid lane. Haunter does TP in, though he finds Smoothie. There's the damage out from Biofrost. They've answered back. The red-haired support goes down. And now Sneaky running. Over the wall he goes. And suddenly, everyone's there along with him. No. Double kill for Biofrost. Nicely done. TSM makes 3-4.
That's that counter dive we're talking about for TSM. They turn that one around, and they're going straight for Baron. Whoa, pressure on Contracts here. Will he be able to get some vision inside? He's just walking around. This is very dangerous position for especially a Squishy Kha'Zix. All by himself here. The rest of C9 are coming up the river.
TSM have enough health. Jensen, who's he going to find on this one? They're going to look for Biofrost. They're going to get the fish onto him. Here comes the assassination. One goes down. There's a shutdown. 1,000, 2,000 health left on Baron. Here comes the attack. And it's going to go to Svenskeren amidst the random. The spikes coming through. Another kill comes through actually for Jensen. Takes out Wild. Total Contracts in the mix. A shutdown in for the Maokai, but it's already been a double kill in for Jensen's mid laner here. Haunter now stuck in a bit of a bad situation. 2v2 overall as he goes back side near him. And it's a triple kill actually coming through. Jensen refuses to go down. 4 members of TSM dead.
And Svenskeren left that fight early because TSM probably made a call to save some Baron buff. They at least want to get something out of that play, and they need 1 Baron buff at least left alive. That being said, Cloud9 cleaning up 4 kills for giving away that Baron means they get top turret plus a lot of pressure on mid and a bunch of extra gold here. Sven gonna cut him off though.
Got in the back line. The quick stun goes back into Biofrost, trading the 1-for-1. Sneaky goes down. And 1 more shot will do it. It's bullet time to take him out. And Smoothie now has to run for dear life. Sven does have flash and chooses not to use it to chase through. 1-for-1.
Whew, pretty action-packed mid-game here. All right, so let's take another look. Now, a lot of times, you'll see TSM, the team on Baron with 5 members, turn around and try and kill the enemy jungler as they approach for the smite steal. But they make the call to stay on the Baron, which is very, very risky because all of your DPS is going into the Baron. Meanwhile, Cloud9 are just picking people off left and right here. Contracts goes in, takes down Biofrost. Jensen and Impact are taking down Wild Turtle inside the pits. But because they have the Callista Ren timed with that smite, that was actually very good layering for TSM. They end up getting the Baron kill at the cost of a bunch of members of the team, though. And Cloud9 did get quite a few kills and a bunch of gold out of that.
Yeah, Baron for -3 kills in the overall fight is Maybe not the best trade you really would have hoped for, but now the pressure is on for mid lane out of turret. Of course, Sven holding that Baron buff makes the minion wave tanky, and that will be 2 to 3 in turrets.
Yep, TSM catching right back up and
Oh, smoothie, the knockup, goodbye.
Talk about catches. That was a Sven Skaren stun, or a Bjergsen
stun.
Bjergsen stun by there, by the way, with Syndra. So he caught Smoothie there just with the edge of it. Deceptive long range on those Syndra balls. But that is going to mean this Baron empowered push does continue for TSM. So you talk about comparing those two. Yes, if it ends at just those kills for Baron. Oh, here we go.
Biofrost, Brother does have ulti, pulls him right in. Jensen assassinates absolutely nothing as he gets pulled into the ether. Now the re-engage, Biofrost still up, but why are they firing the Zyra? Contracts goes down for the over-aggression. Now Impact locked up, gonna get dropped as well. The Rend means a double kill for Wild Turtle, and another turret falls.
This Cloud9 comp is not a teamfighting comp. What are you doing? You're down a member and trying to teamfight a better teamfight, front to back. Remember, this Maokai and this Rek'Sai on the front line, so hard to get through. Bjergsen also had a good interrupt there on the Kha'Zix, so Contracts couldn't even get to the back line. And as you said, TSM, better team fight, better 5-on-5, brute force right up the mid lane. They're also going to collect this dragon, and look at that, game tied back up.
And I want to check it on Wild Turtle right now, 3-2-2. Look at the replay first.
All right, here we go. The arrow and the fish were both aimed at Turtle, but Haunter takes the fish, and Bio got the arrow, so he was Kalista ultimate out. 2 initiation tools were negated right there. Then Contracts, as you said, he got interrupted by Bjergsen, and they got the counter kills. TSM, front to back, moves it right forward.
So Wild Turtle, 3-2-2 is actually a really good scoreline, I would say. That's pretty solid for a team that's still down in kills. It's a nice KDA. Also, weirdly, Essence Reaver Hurricane, not a build I ever would have expected to see. Now that Rend resets on kill anyway, and I believe, I forget if that change went through or not, Spears still stack when it's on cooldown, which means like, Wild Turtle doesn't really need CDR or mana regen that badly.
It's definitely an oddball thing. It definitely snuck up on me as well. I'm not used to seeing it either, and it's just kind of mirrored the Ashe. Now, what it does give you is a lower cooldown for your ultimate.
Sure.
So you get a little bit more utility as AD carries are so utility focused now. I have to say though, it's not like a long cooldown ultimate anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see though. It is working out so far.
He's also going Death Stance. That's the only item that builds out of Coalfield's Warhammer and Vamp Scepter. And Death Stance, I actually like. I hadn't thought of myself, but all your Rend damage will heal you, which is half your damage anyway, so you'd otherwise only get half value from lifesteal anyway. So I like that sense of it. Wild Turtle, a very interesting build. And again, maybe someone else has done this, but I haven't seen it before, and looks really clever.
Well, let's check in as they push in on this mid lane. Looks like they are trying to get another one. Good fish.
Good Zonias. Nothing to gain there for Jensen. You can see Sven dueling with Contracts on the wings, the 2 Void Monsters back and forth. It looks like not a problem for TSM as they get their 5th turret now. Impact just split pushing in the side lane.
Exactly. Cloud9, they need to stick to the composition they drafted. Pull this map apart. Don't go for those, especially 4v5 engages, head on. Splitting it up, they are going to eventually get this turret as we are waiting for Shen to slowly topple the top lane there. And they do even it up a little bit, but again, they still want to make these pickoff plays. This Ashe Arrow, into either of the side laners, 16 for Impact and 16 for Jensen. They're still very threatening.
Impact wants in on this one, bit of damage. Here comes Contracts, and there goes Wild Turtle flashing away. Can't get out in time, and suddenly Biofrost in front of the team lands a 2-man route into the knockup. Contracts finds more from across the map downtown. Sneaky helps him get the kill. A double for Contracts as he runs for dear life. Maw pops, he's going to be okay. Impact still taking the front side, but Haunter finds the flank, does take out Contracts. 2-for-1 so far, C9's lead. Impact still taking the front line, but how far can he really go? Has the flash, jumps the wall. Gromp coming for another bite, and Haunter still in the chase, finds the knockback, another stun in for Bjergsen, makes it 2-for-2, and TSM answer equally.
Whoa, very, very interesting call there from Cloud9. Now, if Jensen had teleported right at the beginning of that action, they could have had him there for a 5-on-5 after, but they make the call pretty early on for him to hold his TP, and you have to make that call early on. Because if you make that call late, and the teleport comes in late, you're already giving over your kills in exchange, and you just lose out on taking this turret. So they committed to this call to keep Jensen out and save his teleport. And, in reward, they do eventually get this turret, but it's at the cost of losing more members, whereas they could have had a numbers advantage. Interesting trade-off there, and they do get a bit more gold. But here's how it all started. It is that side lane play. Impact stayed in the brush, gets the taunt, Contracts goes for the execute, and that arrow. Sneaky has been very, very accurate with his Ashe arrows all game long. This one definitely helped out. Contracts will stay for a while with the Shen ultimate, but Hanser, again, diligent here on the Maokai. Does teleport in, does get the counter kill, and then they also chase down Impact.
Yeah, part of the game that was had here, I'm sorry if you said it and I missed it, but Jensen did keep pushing in the bot lane, and during the replay, bot lane Tier 2 is alive. Live right now, bot lane Tier 2 is dead, so that turret was picked up as you did say that. Okay, you patted me on the shoulder and pointed to yourself. I tune out on you a lot, sorry. We were both right, I guess. But yeah, turret picked up, and it's Cloud9 holding a 900 gold lead, down 1 Cloud Drake.
All right, TSM moving in as 5, trying to get that standard team fight once again, moving into Cloud9 territory. Contracts, though, burning down that red buff, should be able to get, oh!
Sneaky got it.
Sneaky,
got
okay,
it.
so even best case scenario
Yeah.
there. Gives it over to Sneaky. Red buff for the Ashe.
And he's actually going for a very tank-busting build. You can see Mortal Reminder, his 3rd completed item. No Infinity Edge, no 70% crit here, or 80% is the case maybe, depending on your build on Ashe, but immediately into the armor pen, knows he has to fight the Rek'Sai, has to fight the Maokai in all these team fights, which is correct. I think it's optimal damage, but it means still no lifesteal outside of Warlord's Bloodlust.
Woo, shield's getting broke. Oh, kill the Zerat.
It's gonna die. Yeah, Hunt's not gonna take damage at all, so Impact walks away. Worth noting, Zerat Portal got some changes in 7.1. That is the live patch that we're all playing on at home as well. The range is much reduced, but the damage to turrets is actually a lot higher if it does reach them, and so it's a very good like immediate turret pressure tool. Much worse at just controlling a lane in general. And so it's more of an immediate use scenario for Impact, and now it's on cooldown.
All right. Now, again, as we set this up, now, yes, Cloud9, they do have a little bit of a disadvantage in these 5-on-5 fights, like we've been saying. However, that can all go out the window if they get a really good initiation, right? If you get a good angle with Assassins, it only takes a couple seconds to, switch up the numbers, right? If you get an assassination, take someone out at the beginning of that team fight, then it completely flips the script there. So vision control is how you eliminate that from TSM. So TSM trying, that's why they're spending all this time warding around the mid lane. So you see all these wards just explode over all of the objectives that they're going for. They don't want Cloud9 to sneak into the fog of war and catch them by surprise.
Looks like it's TSM, we're able to play with the Fog of War. You got the nice spasming Callista Sentinel. Haven't seen that in a while, but you can have it dance in front of Drake as long as you want it to. And Sven gonna get the easy take. It's not as fast or as glamorous as a Kha'Zix kill, but speaking of, it's the Baron attempt right now.
Yeah. Now, what goes along with having a split pushy team here for Cloud9 is there's no one to tank that Baron because Impact is bottom lane, pushing that lane. So any sort of Baron attempt like that, you either have to immediately kill it or immediately pull off of it when the other team finds you there because they cannot get trapped inside that Baron pit. It will be a massacre.
Definitely agree. Jensen able to take down the Sentinel and not even take damage from Baron. Sven tried to do something about it, couldn't make it happen. We just have that holding pattern once again of mismatched team compositions playing different ways in the game, and the mage is getting stronger. Void Staff or Rylai's, not sure which yet for Biofrost, going to be done in the near future, but Leandri's already in there, means he's plenty threatening.
Yeah, Leandri's is... That was one of my favorite buffs that they actually did in the preseason because they nerfed the Rylai's. That nice cost efficiency buff to Leandri's. I get it on, try and get on most AP junglers that you play. It's just very efficient now. Adds a lot of pure power. Plus, still has the tankiness. So, all around more efficient and very, very good pickup for Zyra, who, as we've seen, gets assassinated very quickly. And a tiny bit of health, meaning you live from an attempted Kha'Zix all-in could be crucial in getting off another round of spells. Meanwhile, though, again, that vision control that's so important to TSM is costing them bottom lane pressure here. Impact,
the turret.
Gonna get it.
Oh, so close. Actually can't quite get it here. These boilings will be easy to pick off, and you won't get any more pressure just yet, but that is a scant few hundred HP left on the inhib turret. Impact split pushing is working, and C9 still trying to play that style as much as they can.
Definitely still want to play to their advantages here. Meanwhile, TSM, they've got double Guardian Angel. So not only do they have a great front line, but they've got 2 lives. And Svenskeren and Hanser can dive without regard for their own lives right here. They can go full on, track the assassins, and try and keep them off of Bjergsen and Turtle. So Cloud9 definitely don't want to have to go through, 7 people basically. And they're going to look to assassinate the split pusher once again as Jensen moves bottom.
They got for themselves and knock up on a Haunter, plenty of damage there, but it is a Guardian Angel Mouth. Kind of have to kill him twice. You can see how much he heals at any given time. And the attempt now is on to Baron. Bjergsen and Turtle dropped below half HP, and this Baron is not dying fast. Biofrost getting away with a sliver of health. That's Leander's helping a little bit for you. Burning down, but still. Damage coming through for Sneaky, forcing the flash of the Svenskeren, and it still stops the Baron. Meanwhile, the base is being sieged. So, yeah, minus a kill kind of sucks. And in fact, another one comes through. No, that's the Zyra call out. Biofrost did actually finally die. Looks like Smoothie was able to get into that one. So it's a 1-for-1 in kills. And now here comes the re-engage. Channeled onto Sneaky. The chase at a Turtle, forcing the flash away. Bjergsen is low. And actually looks like the ulti was canceled anyway by Rek'Sai and Maokai, so he's not part of that fight after all. And Impact slowly running away. This 2-on-2 is one that Jensen did not want to be a part of.
Oh, good interrupt. Taunt there from Impact, slowed down. Better fish.
Yeah, nicely done, but still, they're trying to wear him down. It's 2 tanks versus 1. And if it's a satchel plant, he's just gone. Even still, he's gone.
All right. Well, no inhibitor was taken, but they did crack open the base. So this split push from Impact has been taking its toll. And the extra kills there over to Cloud9, I'm not too worried about that, as people are really starting to fill out anyways here. Let's take a look at how it happened, though, as it was a lot of zoning from the Ash Arrow hitting right into another Smoothie ultimate. That bullet time hit all 4 members at the beginning, and did a good job of splitting off TSM into the backside. Here's where it went wrong for Cloud9, as Contract's just barely not able to assassinate Biofrost through the exhaust, and then Sneaky and Smoothie are able to chase them off. Again, though, right back at the scene of the crime.
Arrow hits Biofrost. Guess what? Wild Turtle can ult if he needs to. Not going to happen just yet. Contract winning the wings. Honka to lock him up. 6-7 HP on Baron, and the Ren stacks drop. So it's the re-engage. Double stun! Contract! Oh, the catch by the Q for the Maokai, but look at the bullet time! Smoothie just eviscerates the backline. He gets a double kill on the entire lane. And now there's a bit more to be done. Svenskeren low on HP with 5 members of C9 here to take that kill, and he gets into the portal, does jump into the Baron pit, still running out of HP as Haunter dies after Guardian Angel. 5 versus 2 on the map, and the health bars total about 300 HP, so TSM have nothing to do right now as C9 start the Baron.
What an amazing flank there from Smoothie. Completely annihilates the backline of TSM with that bullet time, and that means that Svenskeren's going to have to sneak around here if he wants to try and steal Baron. Not going to happen, and he's going to lose GA, and he's going to die after.
And Contract secures the Baron. It was a formality at that point, but that makes it 4 unanswered kills now, plus the Baron picked up, and C9 find the team fight to give a gigantic lead.
What a great move there from Cloud9. Let's look at this, because they make the call to turn on the Maokai teleport. This Maokai is isolated. Yes, he takes a long time to get through, but them all focusing Haunter makes TSM come out of the Baron pit, walk all the way around. Turtle and Biofrost are already at half before that ultimate from Smoothie, so they immediately have to go out. Both of them go down to it, and then that's half of TSM's squad. Then it's just clean up here for Cloud9. They're able to section off the tanks, and even though they both have Guardian Angel, there's no damage behind them. TSM's team fight falls apart.
And yeah, Bjergsen as well was pushed out of the fight, took a lot of the bullet time as well, and just gone. And nicely played by C9, and Smoothie gets the MVP of that fight right there. He's the 2nd highest kills in his team. See, the internet makes fun of Marksman in 2017, and you just play him the wrong role. Right? Sneak is 0-2-4. He has to support this game. Smoothie is the true carry here.
Yeah, freak.
Just saying, the team with 2 marksmen is winning. What now, internet?
Can't argue with that, Matt. Well played. All right, let's see about this Dragon, though, because Cloud9, they're continuing with the split strategy. They just have Jensen on top side now with Baron buff. He'll quickly melt through the turret and the inhibitor, so the timing on TSM's shot calling is definitely pressured here. They have to just recall, defend the turret. They're going to give up this Dragon, it looks like, unless they decide to pull Kalista over. Kalista's actually halfway walking over here, so maybe they don't give it up.
Sven does not have flash to get out of the pit. It's a one-way trip as he goes for the steal. Don't know if he really wants to pull that right now. Still waiting around the wings. The flash about 10 seconds away. If they take too long, he's got the exit trip.
He's either solo dying for it, or he's going to try and Prey Seeker steal it. I would
back up.
I would just Prey Seeker
have to die anymore.
Steal it, yeah.
He's not going to get the chance, but there's going to be a knock-up anyway here. Impact gets the taunt. It doesn't really matter. Either way, Elder Dragon with 2 stacks total, up to C9.
Yeah. going for a super low steal like that, especially this late in the game, where not only are you fighting the other person's smite, but the damage on all of the enemy champions is so high, it's even hard for their jungler to actually land that smite. So TSM, they make the call to just try and defend as 5. This buffed up Elder Dragon buff is going to last longer as well here for Cloud9. So
2.5 minutes now.
Baron buff as well as Elder Dragon, and this outer turret should definitely be seeded for TSM and try and fight themselves try and fight C9 inside the base.
There we go. Not a lot of easy pressure onto Bjergsen right now. He's scary enough, but Impact feels a little bit confident. Mid lane tier 2 goes down. Cloud9 continuing to put the pressure on. 8 turrets to 5. Elder Dragon and Baron buff still on for a little while longer. They are good at sieging right now. This turret down to 2/3.
Contracts does get stunned. That's going to be an inhibitor going down there for Cloud9. Bullet time!
Sonya's out of Bjergsen. Still gets caught by the shark! And that's the first shutdown. Contracts gets in. Wants a bit more. Wild Turtle running for dear life. Actually, a kill comes through, but another trade in. That's 3 for 1 so far. Cloud9 in complete control. Wild Turtle and Svenskeren have to somehow stand against the 4-man army of Cloud9. 2 inhibitors already down. Into the bot lane they go. Drop Portal to help. And they've got to pull off a minor miracle here. Now comes the attempt for the first turret. That's going to get dropped down. There goes Svenskeren into the front line with a turret at a sliver of HP, but that's the kill coming through anyway for Sneaky. His first second of the game, I should say, as Wild Turtle is running and running and running and not doing enough damage. So the Nexus is next to fall, and Cloud9 are going to take the first game win of the 2017 North American LCS season. But of course, we play best of 3s. There's still a chance to fire back.
Exactly. This series is not over. By no means here is TSM done. We get to see another game at least here in this best of 3. And man, that was an extremely exciting way to start out the North American LCS. We may have underestimated the team fighting of Misfortune here later in the game, because that was a really good, fight turning ultimate from Smoothie on that Baron attempt from TSM. Another interesting stat here as we go over post game. Sneaky had the most damage done to champions that game, and Wild Turtle had the least of all 10 players, less than both supports.
Oh, wow, that is rough if that was the case. And then we got the number in midway through the game when Sneaky was number 1. I wasn't able to pull up the stats at the post-game myself, but certainly a very interesting game to watch. A lot of cool things happened. You saw C9 look really good in the bot lane. They had a cumulative 400 gold lead by the early laning phase.
On cooldown, double
Arrows.
ultimate. They got a summoner out every time that they pulled that off. And the only way around that is dodging that arrow. And it's difficult, right? You have to have a minion there to throw out your auto, and you have to be ready to hop, to the side. Super, super, super difficult. And Cloud9 bottom lane definitely took its toll, eventually resulting in a first blood for the jungler.
Yeah, you're right. Contacts came through. Thankfully for Smoothie, he got the assist by doing damage in the last 15. So he got to feel good about the 200 gold surge in his own pockets. But either way, it was a super close game. TSM definitely had a chance to win it, but it was C9 making it happen in the end. But now, for more on that win, let's hand it over to Dash and Azale.
Thank you very much, Freak. It feels good to be back here in the studio. And what a game 1 to start off the 2017 season here, because relatively close, both teams with opportunities to win. However, ultimately, Cloud9 coming out on top.
I loved it, man. It's a Clash of the Titans. It showcases pick and ban. It's 2 diverse strategies, and both teams did look pretty solid in their opener.
Well, you mentioned pick ban, and I know you and Jat were talking about this at the beginning of the day. We've got our 10 ban system, so let's go ahead and take a look at how this worked out for these teams. We saw different strategies coming out of each of them, especially when we move to that phase 2 portion.
Yeah, totally. And that's really where you have to be able to adapt, and you try to disrupt your opponent's drafts, right? So C9 did not take a top laner in the first round. That's something that they gave up to take that Fizz, and that meant TSM's going to target the top lane. They put 2 bans there. We also saw C9 target Wild Turtle. They put 2 bans on the AD carry because they already had the Ashe, and they're able to kind of secure that lane for themselves.
Right, and this is what's going to make the entire season interesting, is how the teams kind of adapt to the ability to pinch in that second phase of the game. And as you mentioned, with the Fizz coming in, might start to make hybrid picks a lot more interesting in terms of protecting your team from that second ban phase.
It's massive. I mean, if you look at champions like Ziggs, can go bot lane or mid, Malzahar, support or mid, Nautilus, support, top lane. These are things you put that Ziggs into the first round, and you could have it go 80 or mid. If the other team tries to ban out your mid laner, you just put that mid, and then you have no bans on your AD carry. You kind of are free to pick there. So flex picks, I think, are rising a lot in priority. And while Fizz could have gone top lane, it was more likely it was going to go mid.
Right. Now, of course, if we move into the game itself with these picks, I want to talk about one player in particular, Contracts. Rookie split, his debut here on the Kazakhs, comes out with the win. What was your first impressions of his game?
I think he looked good. I mean, one of the big things people talk about, stage jitters, right? People play too safe in their early debut. How's this for safe? Solo kill on Bjergsen. No hesitation, goes right in. His team was not there to back him up. He knows his limits. He played the champion really, really well. And I think you have to have a confidence, especially when you're going in on an assassin. You can't hesitate. When there's an opportunity, you must go for the assassination. And he was able to do it.
Yeah, we saw that throughout the game. I mean, later in the game in the top lane, going in for a double kill, being very responsive to the moves that his teammates are making. Of course, that doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement from him here in week 1, but high expectations. So far, he's beginning to meet those. We'll see what kind of adjustments TSM makes in game 2 to challenge him a little bit more. You see Cloud9 on your screens here. And, you know, as they pulled out the victory, I want to take a look at the one big fight that kind of gave it to him. The second Baron fight of the game, 35 minutes into the game here. Let's go ahead and roll this one out.
Yeah, I mean, this one was massive, and it was forced by the fact that C9 had all this split pressure. And there it is. Sneaky had been on point all game with his arrows. They know they wanted to contest this, and they're able to start off the fight. Haunter TP's in, but all of C9 was able to collapse. And when Bjergsen landed that stun, TSM says go, and they baited themselves kind of into this perfect ultimate from Smoothie, who had amazing positioning, did not go back around the red buff to his team, and he won that fight solo pretty much with that ultimate. It was incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Player of the fight goes to Smoothie here. Player of the game, though, gonna go to Jensen, who put up a monstrous performance on this Fizz. I mean, the scoreline, deathless. We definitely saw it in the battle of those two Danish mid laners. Jensen came out on top. Of course, he was aided by an early gank there from Contracts to blow both summoners out of Bjergsen.
Yeah, I mean, Contracts and Jensen paired up well, and it was also impact in Jensen, right? 1-3-1, pairing up to take down the Maokai multiple times, cracking open those inhibitors, and I think it was a great early performance for Jensen and a worthy player of the game.
Again, only one game into the season, but for Cloud9, where we were looking at that, you know, jungle mid duo between Jensen and Meteos and not always hitting the mark, this time around with Contracts, looked to be in sync for the most part. Now the question is, TSM, defending champions, they've lost game 1. How do they bounce back here? Adjustments in pick ban with this more, you know, elastic ban phase that we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting because while the laning phase went kind of poorly for Wild Turtle and Biofrost, they were actually pretty darn effective throughout the game. Wild Turtle came out with a pretty interesting build, the Essence Reaver Death Stance on Callista, something we hadn't seen. But, I mean, it's tough because Bjergsen was not a big factor in this game. And how often can you really say that, right?
Yeah,
so,
rare.
like, does TSM really have to change something up, or can they just rely on their star to kind of bounce back in game 2? And I think that their composition was fine. I think that C9 made better decisions in the key moments and simply outplayed them, kind of. And I think that C9 won't always do that, right? Bjergsen is going to have his games. He's going to get his shots in, so TSM, I don't think, has too much to worry about.
I mean, we still saw moments of the old TSM where they're making rotations out of the mid lane up to the top lane, getting a free turret, for example. And so there's definitely still those elements of what were the championship team. For whatever reason, they did not come together here. Of course, we saw that focusing on Bjergsen, and if you're going to handicap the best player on TSM, then TSM's going to have to start finding a way to work around that. Does Haunter have the ability to carry? Does Wild Turtle have the ability to carry with Doublelift now out of the lineup?
Yeah, and without that shot calling, right? And I mean, Jensen got a lot of help from ganks. He also got a lot of help from Sneaky, even though some of those Ashe arrows weren't hitting. The constant pressure of that Ashe, it was something that was, you know, definitely Bjergsen had to be scared of that. And that's one of the things you really give up if you do not draft your AD carry first round. You're not going to get the Ashe. You're not going to get the Jhin, those supportive AD carries who really can kind of make those rotations mid and help out your mid laner.
All right, well, that's just game 1. Now, before we jump into the next game of the series, we have to take a quick break, but we'll see you back here for game 2 between Cloud9 and TSM when we return.
Contracts, you know the ritual?
You know the ritual?
What's the ritual?
For getting in the lobby, we just, you know, like, you spam your spot to join.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just do that at the same time, so we're like flying in.
Yeah. Enemy team shit their pants.
Yeah. We spook them.
And Smoothie's up 100 over Biofrost. So the goal, and look at that! Contracts! He's gonna get him First blood! He's got flash available. He's trying to get over the wall. Not going to get the chance to. The final bit of damage comes through. Impact with the kill credit. Now Bjergsen found out by Contracts. Exhaust be damned. The solo kill. 1,000, 2,000 health left on Baron. Here comes the attack. He's going to go to Svenskar and amidst the rand and the spikes coming through. Another kill comes through actually for Jensen. Takes out Wild Turtle. Contracts the mix.
Enemy finish? No, they didn't finish. Did not finish. I'm talking. I'm fucking low. I heard you contract. I'm okay.
Cloud9 are going to take the first game win of the 2017 North American LCS season.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with TSM's owner, Reginald. Reggie, thank you so much for joining me here between games here. I have to ask you, though, TSM, of course, such a strong-looking team, but like a lot of other teams in the league, you didn't make that many off-scene changes. Just kind of wondering why you didn't want to change too much in the off-season.
Yeah, so in my opinion, you know, League of Legends is a team game, and teamwork is a lot more important. We prioritize communication and team synergy in the off-season, and I'm really happy with our roster. So I'm looking forward to the season.
Awesome, and of course, with that, there was so much new talent being brought into the league as well. Are you guys worried at all? What do you think of all the talent that's kind of been imported this split?
To be quite honest with you, I think that a lot of the team owners don't really know what they're doing. They're importing Korean talent over without knowing how to like place them into their rosters. So teams like Dignitas, Echo Fox, I don't think they're going to do that well. So we're going to have to see. I mean, I could be wrong, right? But I think they're going to probably place bottom half for sure.
Well, fair enough there. And of course, your team finished last, of course, in the end of last year. And I just have to say, TSM's been such a strong team, the winningest team in the North American LCS. A lot of teams have won twice in a row. What are the chances of defending the title this split?
I think that Cloud9 is looking strong. I think that Immortals, several other teams are looking strong too. But I would have to say that we're going to be the clear favorites this year. It's going to be a close fight for second, though.
Well, as always, well, thank you so much for joining me, Reggie. Strong words, as always, from the event, but we're going to throw it back to the caster desk for game number 2.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. And I like to see that Reggie was able to throw shade against a team he wasn't even playing yet. It's just, I enjoyed the shots added to other team owners and what he thinks is, correct to do when you're joining your team and, making your roster for the next season. We're going to see how it goes. Of course, the teams are getting ready to get back on stage and getting ready to get back into the next game. And so, got to see if TSM can respond to that C9 Game 1 win.
Biggest thing I think I want to see TSM respond to is the pick and ban, right? Because I mentioned the stat at the end of the game, right? But that's not really fair to Wild Turtle if you're like, oh yeah, Sneaky did the most and he did the least. They did not match the champions picked or the roles picked in the first half of the ban phase. So TSM saw this first pick, Ashe, from Cloud9, did not take up the Jhin when they had the chance,
right,
or anything in the top tier. So Cloud9's second phase ban gets the target Turtle. They drop him even further down the AD carry list. He goes into the Kalista.
Right.
Unless they're really planning on doing that from the very beginning, he did get the short end of the stick in the draft phase at least.
Yeah.
So not really setting up with a lot of help for his first game, with the new squad again.
And by contrast, you think about it, C9 spent their second phase bans on Wild Turtle. TSM spent their second phase bans against Impact, and he does great on Shen.
Exactly. We're talking about with this Maokai, right?
Yeah.
Impact, he can play so many different champions, and even though they target, the Nautilus and the Poppy, which are like,
the other
very,
big tanks, I
very
guess.
similar, and Maokai would be happy to go against them anyway. He picks up the Shen. Shen is instrumental in Cloud9's cross map, 1-3-1 assassins play. They make picks on the other side. They've got the shield so that Jensen, when he goes in on the Fizz, doesn't have to worry about that weakness. And even though he gets exhausted, he lives through it multiple times and is still able to get off the damage. So the Shen, I just feel like everything really came together with Cloud9, whereas TSM, maybe caught a little bit unprepared because, as we said as well, not only do we have 5 bans now, you only have 30 seconds after you see the new information of your enemy's picks before you get to decide on yours, and it's very, very quick.
Yeah, and one of the things that can be kind of minor, but it can mean a lot, is in 2016 rules, when you pick 2 champions at the same time, you got 60 seconds and you decided both champions. And so if it took you 50 to pick one and then 10 for the other, that was okay. And here, you've got to pick the first champion in 30, and then you get a new 30 for the second one. So you've got to kind of decide, like, okay, well, pick one of 2 needs to be this, and you need to figure out a little bit sooner And sometimes that can make your life a little bit harder. You know, both teams do have some double pick phases, so it's not like it's only one team that has this difficulty, this new difficulty. But, you know, just is what it is. That I know coming into the season, I had seen several analysts and coaches talk about it being difficult to play with the new picks and bans, where suddenly you've got a new banning phase to deal with. It's only 30 seconds long. This might be really hard. And you know, I think we'll find teams that are, well, I think the great
get good.
Yeah, and I agree, but I think we will see teams that learn how to play around new restrictions better.
Yeah, it's so interesting to track too. And I think it develops really nicely the longer that the pros are able to play on the new season and on the patch, because you get more comfortable with these other counter picks. You know, maybe someone specializes in a counter pick that they don't quite have to worry about another power pick as much as another team, and that definitely changes the dynamic. Here we go, though. These power picks have been undisputed. Camille and LeBlanc off the table from TSM Red Side ban. Meanwhile, Cloud9, they do go for the Rise ban. They're aimed at Bjergsen again.
All right, we'll see what the final ban ends up being as far as S-tier type champions go. Rengar is still up on the table, and you saw TSM respect Banda as their very first ban of the league, and they're going to do it yet again, and it's TSM hamstrung banning 3 S-tiers, and immediately Lee Sin gets hovered.
Exactly. We talked about Sven Skaren's Lee Sin and how he did great at Worlds, and he was dazzling people. Contracts also known for his Lee Sin. Very, very skilled jungler here, especially on the champion. So it's definitely a possibility that they lock it in, and there they do go for it.
Right.
It's really his time to shine, right? His Kazakhs game was great. Yeah, he was set up pretty nicely by the bottom lane, burning a bunch of summoners, and then moved in for the first blood.
Sure.
But he made multiple really good, you know, team fight maneuvers as well with the Kazakhs. Only really got completely blown up and exhausted one time, which is pretty good versus Azira.
Absolutely true. So now, if the story is Wild Turtle Redemption, how about getting the exact same champion that Sneaky played and did so well on, subjectively with Ash Arrows and objectively with his damage score?
And I have to say, though, I don't think Cloud9 will make the same mistake. Now that the Ashe has been locked in for TSM, Cloud9, your next phase, I think you get your AD carry, because you don't want to get double banned past the Varus, right? I think Sneaky's very fine playing a Varus. He could obviously opt for a Jhin or an Ezreal as well. But I really do think it will be that Varus. Meanwhile, TSM still have one more pick left up. Do they want to actually answer the Lee Sin, or would they rather dictate another role, support possibly here?
I love it.
Picked here for TSM. Now, flex picks is another thing that's amazing in the first pick phase, because yeah, you can't exactly double ban and be sure that you're getting full value there. Malzahar can go mid lane. I would say it's maybe a 90-10 though, or maybe 95-10.
I would say it's 94. Well, 95-10. I don't think I would buy it. Okay, Mr. Math.
I got you.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a 95-5 support as far as support to mid lane goes. So you should almost always expect.
And there's the Varus.
Yeah, there's the Varus. The Varus and Jhin again, both would have been fine for him, but yeah. They grab it, and now they got to make their last choices here. Do they mirror the support picks? Because if they don't, TSM can double ban support in their second phase. Or do they pick a new role and say, I dare you to match us here?
I also think that double banning support when you have the early Malzahar pick is really high value too. So you definitely do have to worry about that. So usually we don't want to talk about hoverovers, but I was going through like possible picks into Malzahar. This is a flex pick as well from Cloud9.
Yeah.
Do not be fooled. Yes, Nautilus is very common in top lane and is a very good top lane, Courage of the Colossus, or even Grass if you really want to, for the top lane.
Sure.
But he also is one of those ones you can't play into the Malzahar. If you land your hook, yeah, Malzahar has his shield, but it still pulls you close. And he's got so many forms of CC, you can still go for it. He can't stop the Malzahar ultimates if he knocks off the shield first. So yeah, this one, along with, the Zyret probably is better, but Zyret's banned. So I think this is also a good answer to the Malzahar support.
Okay. I think it definitely requires some significant outplay skills. I think it can be very difficult. And you're seeing actually TSM almost wanting them to play Nautilus support. The Karma is the first ban here for TSM.
It does have a very high, one of the highest win rates into Malzahar as far as high elo solo queue is concerned. So does have the numbers on his side. TSM though, they did end up answering roles this time. Answered with the jungle, so it's just going to be a Fiora ban here from Cloud9 for the top lane, taking out some of the ones that can kind of overpower and carry from the top lane. That may signal, or they may be baiting. You know, you can go baiting with your second round picks as well. Baiting the top lane, baiting them into thinking that the top lane is the Nautilus, or very well going through with it. And Jace is obviously the other one of the top lane carries that's highly prized at the moment.
Jace is really funny because the stats I have for Jace pick ban-wise is, I can find it in a second. He's been, according to the stats I have in front of me, 4 picks, 14 bans. Like, he's seen about half of games, but 80% of those visibilities are just as bans, that people are more afraid of him than they actually play him. He's just the ubiquitous, well, you haven't picked a mid lane or top laner yet, so Jace. It's always a good ban.
The drawback is, of course, if the other team, you know, plays something like Poppy into it and just outlasts you and then has a big presence for 5-on-5 team fighting later. So, yeah, there are drawbacks, even though he's very strong up there currently. Meanwhile, we do have a Trundle pickup here for TSM, and that will be in theoretical answer to this Nautilus.
Yeah, we can still wait to see if they flex it after all. Of course, we don't even know for sure, definitely, that it's mid lane or support Malzahar, so still an option to flex at the very end for TSM. Syndra will be the pickup for Jensen, so plays the champion that his lane opponent Bjergsen did in the last one. And as they hover over the last final pick, they're looking at a tank support right now. Still have to see what it will be for sure.
Yeah. Ooh, Taric. Right, we got some Taric for the bottom lane here for Cloud9 into the Malzahar. Can't get off that line stun when they try and charge at you. Taric would get into some trouble, getting harassed quite a lot if they do grow aggressively though. So you pretty much have to have jungler presence if you're gonna go for one of those stuns. Oh, we get the counter pick Katarina.
Yes, we do. All right. This is going to be fun. Kobe, go ahead.
Bjergsen has been playing this almost non-stop on stream, and it does not look fair even to opponents. Something to keep in mind, you don't even have to wait till you're level 6. Level 3 power spike on Katarina is absolutely insane. Jensen does know this though, and he'll definitely be playing defensively around that or calling contracts to try and counter it. Katarina at level 3 with those first 3 normal abilities has a huge potential to all in you. So if Bjergsen takes Ignite, then I think it gives too much of a tell. And Jensen will immediately just call contracts and they'll try and play off that and counter it. But even so, sometimes she can get kills through that, and then you get your reset on your Shunpo. You can get out in some scenarios, and that's the way that she can snowball early. Now, Cloud9, theoretically, I think that Jensen, he's played this champion a lot as well, and I think they'll be able to play around that and won't get caught in that trap. But you do have to keep your eyes on that mid lane. Explosive champion here after the rework, and very excited to see Bjergsen get his hands on it in a matchup that he's choosing.
And it's backs against the wall as well, right? He saw his opponent, so you're right, he must feel comfortable in the battle, but at the same time, they now need to win 2 straight against C9 to pull this series back in. I mean, TSM went 17-1 in matches last split. They should not want to start slow here with their first match in the 2017 split being a loss. So TSM hoping to pull themselves back in. The C9 fans happy that it started 1-0 so far, but game 2 of the best of 3 is ready to go. Cloud9 taking on TSM. They swap sides and they are ready to go onto the Rift. C9 1-0 against TSM.
Whew. All right, so just because I think it's funny when a whole bunch of people play more Katarina in solo queue, let's give a little tips and tricks so people at home can try it out. Even though the average player actually has a very low win rate with the champion, but pros think it's OP.
Worth noting, buying mana, really important, just like Bjergsen did. Buy plenty of mana on Katarina. What's your tip?
All right, let's let the chance go through.
If you go TSM, you'll do better.
Trundle Dance is one of the only ones that I will stop for and pause for because the taunt is hilarious. But so your basic Katarina chase pattern, you're gonna almost, maybe 90% of the time use your W right after your Shun Po, and then immediately transition into your Death Lotus so that your dagger, when your dagger takes a while to fall, when it falls on you in your Death Lotus, you get that burst of damage. It resets your Shun Po, or it gives you most of the cooldown back, so then you can get another one. You throw your Q so it bounces off of them. It will always bounce in a line right behind them, and then you can use that to chase. Meanwhile, we've got some, oh, he's going in!
Here we go, the jump is forward. Biofrost not going to get stunned, actually, but look at the Voidlings working through these health bar. Ash is slowing, and yes, the flash forced out.
Perfect preview of what we talked about with not being able to go aggressive, as he actually got some gold off at least one Voidling. They did kill one, but yeah, that's what happens when you go aggressive on the Malzahar as a melee support. You get those Voidlings spawned on you, and you don't really have an escape. Now he actually doesn't have an escape because Flash was blown, and Smoothie immediately has to play super defensively, as well as Sneaky now tied to that. Let's see what TSM does with that early advantage.
See, right now, it's just a bunch of lane pressure. Smoothie has to be so incredibly respectful of the damage output they can have here. Seeing, okay, a nice stun lands, that's cute and everything, but there's Voidlings in the way, and
10, 20.
oh, beautiful. So it's worth noting, by the way, that Voidlings are not counting as CS in the bottom scoreboard, so you're not going to have inflated numbers for the C9 duo, but they are still worth 10 gold apiece, and that can be nice.
Yeah, any gold is good gold. Shopkeeper will even take Slimy Voidling gold.
That's true.
Meanwhile,
I don't know why they're carrying gold around in their pockets. You think they wouldn't need it in the Void, but just the way it is.
Just the way it is. Meanwhile, junglers, once again, we talked about last game, you know, Assassins in the mid lane does attract a lot of jungler presence. Katarina, as well, is one of those, and he is not level 3 yet, but level 2 going for it.
Wow, plenty of damage already there. Jensen burns his flash to get away. Svensson burns flash to get in.
He has to be insanely careful now in the mid lane. A Syndra without the flash is perfect prey. Bjergsen is pushing up the lane right now, though, so... Svensson gets hit up with a QQ from Contract.
And I think he was late on the knockup as well. He failed to dodge the damage. You can normally do that if you're mechanically proficient enough.
Yeah, it's a good point, Freak. Immediately in this matchup, one of the reasons why a lot of people feel comfortable with Rek'Sai in the current state of the game into Lee Sin, but maybe not the other of the high-tier junglers, is that anytime he does land it, all you have to do is click a move on the ground, or you know whatever you have that bound to, so you can get those unburrows as he's coming in. Now, the harder ones come from when he's going to someone else and you're trying to interrupt him in the air.
Yeah.
You can interrupt the damage if you interrupt him, you know, connecting. So the really high-tier plays will come from him interrupting Lee Sin's safeguards, or, you know, Lee Sin Q flashes when he's trying to insect people, insect your teammates.
Sure, yeah. And in rare form, actually, TSM not winning a fan vote. That is actually a rarity. So, first of the season, TSM losing a fan vote. That is insane. Right now, though, their bot lane looking pretty reasonable, +3 CS, and you can see Smoothie down to 1 potion, and Sneaky has none, which makes this look pretty good for the TSM duo.
All right back in there. You know, sustain from Tarek enables them to take those hits. So early advantage there from TSM. They weren't able to pressure it too much, and it's part of the reason for the pick of Tarek here. Any sort of sustain is always good against the Mals. Meanwhile, we do see some junglers both heading to the top side. The reason Contracts runs right by that plant there is when you pop that plant, the enemy team can see it also in Fog of War. So yeah, you do get the extra vision. You can kill. Immediately changing direction right after your flash. And Contracts does not hold the Q.
See how much damage they can do to Biofrost there. Like, yes, you can hit the Voidling to do damage to Sneaky, but get back pretty well.
And they have to get Haunter back in here to get these minions. So Svensson was already up on the top side, just hangs around so that the duo of Cloud9 can't force Haunter off of those minions. He does teleport right back in, so not punished there, and actually will pull ahead in CS, by the way, off of this last wave. Just barely.
Missed one, unlucky. 3v right there, 35 thanks to the ward. Appreciate a Contract. Of course, you saw the Lee Sin rushed for the early Smite Stone. I've seen many different builds on Lee Sin. Some rush for longswords for better one-on-one trading. Contracts wants the wards to jump to as a style choice. That's what he's going for this game, and it means more flashy plays for the jungler for C9.
Yeah, most of the high-rated junglers will opt for that. You can go for the red smite, you know, for the dueling power, but I take my cues from Peanut.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think green smite is definitely the best smite upgrade. I've just seen a lot of longsword openings.
Oh yeah, true. True. You can also opt for, you know, earlier kill power. Does even help with clear speed as well. But as I said, you know, there still is attention up on this top side.
Yeah.
These junglers are fighting over their ward coverage.
No flash for Sven makes him a slightly easier target, and no TP for top laners means if you get the kill, they're going to miss out on a lot. Nice knockup by Sven, going for the trade. Been damaged out there. Construct's at a half HP, but his cooldowns come back up first. Look at the damage he gets on his Sven. Pushing him out, 300 HP left, and Rek'Sai is out of there.
Yeah, you know, red smite not needed. Lee Sin, no long swords, no red smite. still is going to be able to take that one because Rek'Sai is going for the very early health to build into that. Ooh, let's see. Mid lane, actually, Bjergsen goes in.
A lot of damage there. Jensen does have ulti available. Exhaust is on. E's going to land. There's the ulti. It's enough damage. The Q lands, and he takes it home.
Back-to-back first bloods for Contracts in his North American LCS debut.
Beautifully done. The hype so far is justified. And you can see their stats from before. If they got the first bloods, they were winning games. And they may do so here.
Contracts bullies Svenskeren out of his own jungle there. Yeah, he's playing Lee Sin, and you're going to go for those invades, but Bjergsen knew that he was just up there bullying his own jungler out and still goes deep into the minion wave for this. You see, the whole reason for this game, this is just an opportunity that is presented to Contracts, right? Bjergsen goes for the minion wave, boom. Jensen is able to stun it up so that he has to use his Shunpo to get back half the distance, and then all he's got is Flash. Nice Q landing there from Contracts. He could land that, by the way, so much easier because of the exhaust slow that Jensen immediately placed on to Bjergsen.
I want to call it the fact that Bjergsen went Hex Drinker. Because that, I hadn't thought of. I mean,
Hex Drinker?
Katarina has good AD ratio. It's not like you miss out on the ability to play Katarina by building attack damage. It is probably the best hybrid MR damage item she can buy.
Interesting. Yeah, I do like that as well. I mean, usually when you see the longsword starts and stuff from Katarina, you're thinking, oh yeah, Gunblade is coming super quick. And he still could go it, right?
Sure.
It's just that, yeah. So he's going to have that early shield. That's one of those items that has a very high impact in the game right when you buy it, especially if you buy it early. That flat shield value is ginormous. We'll see if it does end up saving him. Regardless of, nice purchase, he has died and did give over that kill to the Lee Sin. We'll see what Contracts can do with his extra money, because now he's got some extra combat power.
It's going to be interesting to watch. Of course, despite dying, Bjergsen's still pretty close in farm numbers, but it's Cloud9 holding the 6,500 gold lead right there. Hanser, again, funding his trade towards Impact. Hanser, by the way, didn't expect this, but actually going further of battle here on the Trundle means if he can stay alive in these fights, will do plenty of damage, but Impact taking shorter trades, triggering Grasp, and getting a lot out of it.
Yeah, Hanser is also going with the Cull. You can put down your Frozen Domain, gain a lot of life, but he's getting whittled down over and over. Nautilus is a so strong early game.
Hanser's already burned ult for the region. Now it's going to be the kick out of the wall, and Contracts make it 2-0. Impact says, hey, ult's down. He's low. Come up here. Happy to be opportunistic. Nice kill.
Nautilus, of those tanks up in the top lane, we mentioned them in the same breath as Poppy as well as Maokai, but his early lane is exactly probably the best of those three, and his punishment right there actually does result in something. A lot of the time you don't see it result in much, and you're like, you know what, whatever, Maokai will outscale him, but right there, he's whittling the Trundle under his turret, and Contracts comes up, another well played. Yes, it is an opportunity that's set up for him by his laner, but good presence of mind by Contracts, routing to get there, whereas Svenskeren does not get there for the defense, for the counter gank, and Cloud9 off to another early lead.
And I want to talk about C9's individual player skill. A lot of people had C9 power ranked as actually the best team in North America, above TSM, calling Contracts an upgrade, and everyone else playing well. In the regular split, I think Hanser was a better player than Impact. Hanser was voted, all North American top laner. Impact was, in the thing. Yeah, 2016 summer, 90% of the season, that was the case. When playoffs came around, Impact suddenly became the best top player in North America. The top Dian meme was born, and the question was, will we see playoff Impact or regular season Impact? This looks like playoff Impact. He's been doing repeatedly well into Hanser, and right here you see the kill payoff.
Yeah, exactly, and not just, playoffs either. Impact has continued to play well for the duration, basically. At Worlds, he was quite good as well, so yeah, I think he is here to stay, even though they do have that sub. They've got Ray on the team as well. Having a sub like that, though, who's also an LCS caliber top laner, can even be great practice for him. They can get even better as well. Just trading against each other. 10-man system, you need to play a lot more champions. So, that type of close practice partner is invaluable.
And heck, if the metagame turns into all Jarvan and Fiora top games, guess who wants to play these champions more often? So, yeah, it might just be a style thing based on what kind of teams you're against even.
All right, meanwhile, down on the bottom side of the map, there's been a lot of movement around this Drake. It is with that Infernal Drake that everyone loves. Oh, does land a Bear Ult.
Biofrost has flash. The chain stuns come in there. He gets over the wall. The flash Q is going to connect once again. Contracts is 3-0, 100% kill share, and out he goes over the blast plant.
Contracts, he just keeps poking at the enemy team, looking for this, confrontation. Finally, it does emerge there. This time, it's Sneaky who sets him up. He lands the Varus ultimate. Oh, actually, Sven's going for the steal!
He wants it, not gonna get it. Contracts kicks him out, and now Sven is on the run. Nice flash to get the stun for Smoothie, and who else? But Contracts gets the last hit, 4-0, 5 if you count the Drake.
You can tell that TSM are feeling the pressure here. Going for a suicide steal here on the Inferno. Uh-oh, it might just keep going here.
Okay, Wild Turtle. He doesn't have an ult, so he can't die. All right, he's fine. We're good, he's fine.
All right, well, slow down for a second, but that turret's going to take some beating while we do it. That Infernal Drake there, Svenskeren was just going for a full-on suicide steal against the Lee Sin with the ultimate. Turtle, though, ultimate as well.
Oh, Wild Turtle switched. Why he switched and hit Sneaky for a second instead of staying on Smoothie, and the Voidlings might not be enough damage. Turtle picks the wrong target and it lets Smoothie get away. That is a kill given up by a misclick of TSM's marksman.
Ooh. All right, looks like Contract's actually invading in the jungle because they see Svenskeren down here. Mark of, most good junglers immediately vision on Svenskeren. Contracts, he reacts. In there, stealing topside jungle. He might even look to dive. Bjergsen, Jensen stopped his recall. I think they made the call for it. He was going to recall and he stopped. They're forcing him off the minion wave.
He burned Bjergsen's flash during that bot lane fight. There was a battle going on, so him missing a summoner now means the fight into the bot lane. Smoothie's ult is down. The damage going to come through. They are going to make it pay off. Turtle flashing into the turret just like he always used to. Gets one picked up. Sneaky could be next. The damage is there. Hanser under the turret now forced to run. And thankfully for him, the pillar blocks the hook. Impact can't secure it. Flashes, but doesn't land the shot on Turtle.
Contracts is coming down the jungle as well. He knows Turtle is definitely dead, so he's just trying to lead him away from his teammates. TSM scrambling to get out.
And Svenskeren in a world of hurt. Couple more shots. Jumps over the wall with the plant. Who's going to be there? Who's going to find it? The Shark is running away. There's minions now.
I'm trying to decide. I think you give it to the Lee Sin. Don't die. Yeah, don't die to the mid laner.
It's curious because it means an assist was given up. Another 150 total gold was given away to C9. I'm not sure. It's still debatable, I think, to a certain extent.
I almost always opt for not giving the kill to the enemy mid laner just because my mid laner will then flame me more.
Yeah, and Turtle made that choice, though. He actually suicided specifically to Impact. No assist given to Contract or anyone else roaming down, so.
How you die is important.
It really is. Don't burn a flash if you're already guaranteed to go down. Things like this are really relevant.
All right, meanwhile, Sneaky does land another Varus ultimate onto Hanser and closes in for some damage.
Nice stun's gonna land right there. This could be everything he needs. He's not gonna get enough damage. Nicely done, Sneaky. He gets the takedown on Hanser, who just didn't have the ward coverage to make that push safe.
Yeah. Throws down pillar there, but not gonna mean anything for him. Sneaky gonna push up the lane. And then let's see if this tower's very low. This could be another first turret game for Cloud9. I think there's nothing that will contest him. Smoothie opting to give solo gold. Yes, he is.
And that's first turret of the game. It's a significant chunk. 650 goes Sneaky's way. 2 kills worth of gold in his pockets. Richest member of the game is, in fact, Sneaky. He's 64 gold ahead of Contracts with this.
That's saying something, because Contracts has 5 kills to his name. And as strong as jungle is right now, this is such an all-star game here for him right now. What a great start to his LCS career.
Absolutely.
Long awaited and definitely delivering. That one was
protecting Smoothie.
It was meant for Bjergsen, and Contract, no harm, no foul there for him. Bjergsen, though, on the Katarina, really hoping for, TSM. They are again in defensive position, right? They have to just turtle right now under their turrets and hope for a dive from Cloud9 and then try and get something in the aftermath. Create a little chaos. Katarina is going to need an opening, maybe from a Malzahar ultimate. Biofrost is coming through.
He's dead.
Okay,
Goodbye.
3 people is going to be pretty good.
Takes him 1 flash. Midlane's going to go down in response. But hey, a kill's a kill, and TSM finally gets something on the board.
A kill is definitely good for Bjergsen, not only because of the gold, but Darksteel stacking up as well. You get 2 more stacks for him.
I got you. It's 10 AP total, 3 AP per stack, so 6 AP total.
Meanwhile, Bjergsen takes a Thunderlord proc trade from Jensen. Meanwhile,
Hexdrinker saves his life.
So much warding here on the top side for Cloud9. if you all, check in on the vision game here for TSM, not only are they having to play defensively under their turrets, but they can't even see any of Cloud9's moves coming. The defensive vision is even difficult for them, right? Because they've lost not only the top first turret, but mid lane turret went down. Even though they got that kill, they lost a lot more territory.
And TSM getting choked out of the map. The only objectives they've gained have been the 3 kills. No turrets, no drakes, no nothing. And now, I actually wonder who's going to get this impact or contract. I can see it making sense on either side, but with how much Impact has been winning his matchup against Hanser, I feel like tilting that even farther is helpful. And Sven actually sends the plant kind of the wrong way. Doesn't see that this is happening.
Yeah, I wonder if Cloud9 even stopped that if they are seen. I mean, yeah, they have plenty of vision on the other side. They're not too worried.
Turtle in a bad world right now. CC's going to be chained back and forth. He flashes away. One more auto. Gets the crit. 30% chance and it lands. Sneaky now going to run for dear life.
He's got no flash.
Pops the passive on Biofrost. A bit of a late ulti for Smoothie. I don't know if it was on cooldown or what, but doesn't save his teammate. Now he's going to be next. And 2 quick kills picked up the roam for TSM, saving the lives.
Exactly. Another roam here from Bjergsen does get him a kill as well. So another couple stacks, more money in his pocket. That teleport from Hanser, he was able to get those 2 kills for TSM. They're trying to get back into it. Bjergsen!
Jensen versus Bjergsen, exhaust trade, and that's going to be the kill picked up. Hexdrinker does get actually blown through, doesn't even matter. So the knockup onto the satchel plant, and that looked weird. And contracts flew the other way, I'm pretty sure is what happened.
I feel like we were behind, and they fast forward or something. Regardless,
either way,
Cloud9 getting more kills, baby.
All right, now Hanser running for dear life because Impact is gigantic and Nautilus looks pretty solid in this matchup. Goes for the stun. Contract's not far behind, but he's not quite in range to jump to his teammates just yet. More CC landed. Impact might just take the solo kill, but he can't quite do it. The pillar buying a lot of time as well, and Contracts can't get past Venskar, so it would be sliver of health. Hanser lives.
Man, such a big snowball here from Cloud9. In this game, they've got the teamfight presence and teamfight comp to back this lead up, right? They're going to be able to go with a more simple game this time around. Just collect all my dragons, collect the outer turrets. Just try and do it by the numbers. You move up your ward lines into the enemy jungle to remove their options. You keep Impact on the front line. Smooth is going to be right there with them. They've got ridiculous amounts of crowd control. Every single person on Cloud9 is bringing more CC, AoE CC to this teamfight.
Absolutely. Here goes the rest of the turret. And finally, one on the board for TSM. 4,000 gold, the deficit to make up. Down 2 drakes as well, and even down the Rift Herald on Impact. We'll see his Contracts has free reign over the map right now. Level 11, gets himself a red buff, no problem. And he is going for a pretty attack damage focused build. You can see him looking to finish him off. Mortius, I believe it is.
Yeah.
For a double longsword, so a pretty offensively thin build.
I mean, he got 5 kills for early on. And we've seen the dividends that it pays when you do go for double attack damage items. Lee Sin, since the removal of Strength of the Ages, pretty much 100% go with the Thunderlords, and Thunderlords scaling nicely off of flat attack damage. Even gets more damage out of that, so the burst from Lee Sin is very, very scary here for any TSM member. Even the, quote-unquote tank, which is not building tank yet. The split pushing Trundle here really has to respect that burst damage as well, because Trundle, with this lifesteal style and split push style, you want to be able to steal a lot of that back, but Lee Sin does so much in such a quick burst that it doesn't even give you time to.
Absolutely the case, and being behind never makes it easy either. 4,000 gold difference right here. Cloud9 looking to continue the push forward. Contracts finds a friend. Hello, Bjergsen, kick into the wall. Q, Exhaust is in to buy a bit of time. And gets the follow anyway. Yeah, Exhaust timed out. The rest of the damage was there. Goodbye to Bjergsen. Exhaust meant nothing.
All right, Cloud9 also picking off the straggling TSM members. TSM, they are, losing their cool a little bit here. Yeah, they're behind, and it's very difficult to shot call from behind, and you feel like you're pent up behind your own turrets. They're going for a play here, though.
Looking for the damage in the Contract silences in. Now the invulnerability in effect, and Wild Turtle gonna run out of HP pretty fast. Sneaky gets the snipe out of that one. Svenskar running away. Biofrost low as well. Contracts gonna get body blocked away and can't land the Sonic Wave afterwards, but another kill picked up, more control of the mid lane, C9 pushing farther.
Full control of the game. They've got extra kills. They're pushing with the minion wave. They have plenty of vision. Baron is already surrounded by 4 control wards. So they can push as much as they want until Turtle revives and then easily move back to the Baron. Remember that every single person is bringing that AoE CC as well, so it's so scary for TSM to blind face check, but they really don't have very many options. Scrying Orb, they have one Scrying Orb on Turtle that is ready that they should probably use early. Hawkshot is down now, and they don't have too many more answers. Scrying Orb still available. Turtle's holding on to it.
And Turtle's not going for the Essence Reaper build, so it means fewer Ash arrows and fewer Hawk shots as well, actually. And by going for IE, just can't cast it quite as much. Sneaky, meanwhile, very low cooldown to his. Going for Essence Reaper into also Infinity Edge, so very high damage. Is maxing W left in a lot of Varus builds out there. This is the very spellcastery one where Q and E are maxed.
Yeah, I mean, I like the other build as well, you know, that attack speed build with the Blade of the Ruined King. Quite interesting and does have a lot of early power.
Sure.
But as you said, this one so low cooldown is a bit more castery, can get poke damage.
Here comes the difficulty. Impact gonna go for the immediate stun, and Bjergsen just pops immediately. Impact a little bit too tanky. Now the exhaust is on. It means Hans's got to run away. Be careful, Impact. A couple more hits will do it. And they're trying to go back and forth, dancing for the damage output that they need. Impact will bite off more than he can chew. In fact, his Haunts are taking a bite out of him. And now the chase in, the stun, the flash trade. Nicely done by Haunter. Predicting.
He gets out too?
He predicts the smoothie flash. Nicely done there. Haunter finally getting one more back on the board here from the top than TSM.
All right, TSM will take that. Any bloopers from Cloud9, they really do need to get back into this game, right? So, Impact giving over that kill and Haunter escaping is definitely something that will at least keep their morale up, right? Help out with that shot calling, help out with the communication in team. They start to feel a bit better. Yeah, some style points here.
It's the easiest, looks cool Lee Sin trick that you can possibly do. I hit W and clicked an unmoving target. I'm so good at the game. Makes me look cool.
Something
friends laugh.
Something Freak would spam.
And then I'm on a 14-second cooldown, and my W's down. It's actually not useful in the slightest, but that's okay. Contracts obviously having a very great game for himself, 7-1.
Great
now. Yeah, sure, yes. The first game was awesome too, as Kha'Zix looked pretty solid. 2 first bloods in 2 games, that's gotta feel good. And looks like they're gonna keep trending for the bot lane. And I wonder if the matchup is tilted now for Haunter, if they even threw this Rift Herald buff, you can see with the Ravenous Hydra in, Impact getting a lot of respect over.
Yeah, it's the Spirit Visage that's on top of everything. We talk about, stealing life. Spirit Visage is very clearly going to add a bunch extra to that. Let's see. In the minion wave, actually, there's no way that he's not going to have enough life. So you can leave minions even to lifesteal off later. He's going for the long con here.
Neither dealt any damage to the other, in fact.
Look at the mini-map, though. All of Cloud9 are coming. This is...
Gotta respect Baron, though. You can see TSM at the same sort of time is saying, if you run down and help Impact, we'll steal Baron. Who do you want more, a worm or your teammate?
Yeah, Baron very risky when you're behind this much.
Sure.
To go for with somebody not dead. But remember, we got to look at ways for the team that is behind to get back into this. Ash Arrow from Turtle to pick someone off who's on the side, and Bjergsen to go delete them quickly. That's the key word, is they need to kill kills quickly to get some gold in their pockets to actually try and fund the rest of their game. Because right now they're just looking for little baby steps, wherever they can get them on the side, maybe a Fog of War play, try and make use of control wards, and pick off somebody with Ash Arrow.
So right now, Svenskar in Crest level 13, taking the Raptors down. Biofrost, 1 level away from rank 2 ultimate. His team certainly has some pretty solid lockdown. We've got no Merc Treads in the C9 lineup, and of course, no one's got QSS for the Mal's ulti, so a pick is a pick.
Yeah. And they're going to keep splitting, right? Trundle is dedicated to that. That's what he's for. And it looks like, with the Sheen pick up, he actually might be able to make some headway in his 1v1s with Impact. Sheen alone just adds so much damage since he's spamming Bite.
And individually, Haunter is 900 gold above Impact in total earnings right now, and he spent most of that money recently. So theoretically, you expect the champion matchup and the gold lead to mean that Haunter can get some real pressure in, and that's the one consistent lever TSM has. That's not land a skill shot reliant or flash ult someone reliant.
That being said, Impact doesn't have anything to worry about because he can just be pure tank under his turret. And Haunter's not at the point he can ignore the damage from Nautilus. He can try and get maybe an auto or 2 under the turret before he has to back off and go lifesteal again. But yeah, you can't just completely ignore Impact in that 1v1 quite yet. And Impact can just play defensively, so not going to be able to kill him.
And because of the Tiamat, anytime Honker tries to lifesteal, he will pull aggro if Impact is under turret, because it will splash onto the Nautilus. So that's why a lot of times, even in pro matches, when you see someone winning the matchup, they can't take the turret down because of the risk that's here. And you can see Hanser not even going to try to go for the turret there. He knows he can get chain CC with the wave cleared and not allowed to deal damage there.
Yeah, and that's all that Cloud9 need out of Impact at the moment, because you talked about where the gold is. So much of the gold for TSM is on the top laner.
He's 2,000 gold above anyone else in the team.
Exactly. He is by far their most fed person, because he's off split pushing and collecting all those side waves. But TSM, the 4-man squad, if Hanser is pinned down 1v1 versus Impact here and not getting anything, the 4-man squad from TSM is even more behind the 4-man Cloud9 than you would immediately think from the scoreline.
Absolutely the case. So, difficulty, but TSM, to their credit, have only really managed to give up Drakes in this 4-on-4 map control game, and that's about as painless as you can expect without a catastrophic mistake from Cloud9.
Yeah, and TSM, remember, they are the ones that need to be patient, right? They've had some time to calm down, and they're just going to look for any opportunity that does present itself to jump on, right? And if they do, the key word again is that they have to execute very quickly here, because Cloud9 definitely can collapse, and if they do get caught up in the 5-on-5, it's going to be very rough. So, Ash Arrow into a lot of either Bjergsen, Turtle, or a combination of that with Biofrost would need to be executed. Man, we are all over.
28 minutes in. They don't have easy ways of zoning out Svenskar and the
teleport.
rotation. Yeah, that's TP down. So 5-minute cooldown here for Hanser. Sven and a Hanser as well. Here comes the attempt to steal. Who's it going to be? Nice kick out. He flashes again. Svenskar steals the Baron. Now the fight is on. Yes, they'll get the kill, but that is so worth it in every possible way for TSM.
TSM need to kite now. They got the Baron for only 1 death.
Sun's gonna land hook, good flash away by Hanser. The Merc Tread's helping to save his life on that. That was a quarter-second timing.
And they're turning on Smoothie.
No ult for Smoothie, that's gonna be enough damage. No, he's gonna flash over the wall. Quick zone for Bjergsen, takes up Jensen's ulti. The damage there on the backside, and TSM maybe shouldn't have gone for the 5v4. 2 kills picked up, one of them go to contracts, and now it's a 5 versus 2 on the map.
Definitely shouldn't go for the 5-on-4. Baron buff is so good. Buffs up your minions so it's hard for the enemy to push. And TSM just wanted time. They wanted time to get back in this, but they make the turn on the support here, going for Smoothie in a 5 versus 4. They're outnumbered, and Cloud9 just reversed everything there. They're going to be the ones that actually take down the inhibitor, get the extra kills, they get the extra gold.
And the gold leads active 5,000 for Cloud9, despite the Baron pickup, shrinking it somewhat. And the mid lane minion control going to mean a ton. That is going to easily overlap with this Mountain Drake spawning again, and Double Mountain is great at closing games.
Very big blunder there. After such a good play, Svenskar gets kicked out of the pit, but instantly flashes back in to steal it. Contracts once again, boop, he's out. But Sven right back in, and he got the smite combo there. The last health I saw was over smite range, so that was a really good and very lucky as well. Whenever you get down to those numbers, you need luck on your side as well, but really well played there by Sven. And then Hanser even gets away. At this point, maybe if you have an opportunity to snag Sneaky or Jensen, you go for the turn. But man, especially on the Smoothie, who they don't even get, this is just a straight up 5v4 while you're behind.
Yeah, even if you do get the kill, it's support tariff is just not that important. And kind of unlucky as that kind of lines up here. 5,000 gold lead, contracts. Doesn't even want to take the blue buff. He wants to kill Hanser. There's the kick. Here comes Smoothie. Here comes Jensen over the blast cone as well, and they're going to land that stun. Ash Arrow's going to land. That's Jensen locked out for 4 seconds or more. Smoothie going to try to help, but it's going to come in time. Exhausting Hanser slows him down. The damage is there. Jensen gets the kill credit. Thanks, Merlinomicon. Makes it a little bit easier. Sven waits around the wings, and TSM kills a ward, but losing Trundle going to hurt him.
Yep. Now they need to... I don't even know. You're going to have to give up that turret, I think, at this point. It looks like the minion wave is really far, so it might take Cloud9 a while to get to it. But Cloud9's going to take this Drake, and they're eventually going to meet up with Sneaky, who's pushing this minion wave, to try and claim that second turret on this bottom side. And I think that TSM just have to give it up. Hanser's going to be down for another, 25 seconds. And they already have to deal with a super minion line, so defensive play here at best.
Here we go. Bot lane under siege, 5v4. TSM, we've seen 4v5 before. You don't like it. That's going to be the runaway. Nice quick void spawn by Biofrost. Guarantees Hook's not going to do much. And out they go. Okay, 6,500. Still, the growing lead for Cloud9. 4 Drakes to 0, making it even better than it looks. They're going to reset one more time as pretty much top lane tier 2, the last easy objective to grab. Baron going to spawn in 3.5. Drake in 6.
Now, as this is the first game that we've seen from either of these retooled teams, a couple of the things, we had questions about, right? We talked about, yes, you're losing Doublelift as, just a great AD carry down in the bottom lane, solo or duo statistics, right, for laning phase, but also the impact that he had on shot calling. Bjergsen was always so vocal about how, Doublelift was also that second shot calling voice and added a lot of the creativity to the calling, and really helped him out in stepping up and being that leader for the team. Without him on the team, TSM do look a bit disjointed. And, without access to comms or anything, we're only speculating, and of course, it's hard to throw around, but plus it's always harder when you're behind to go for those calls, and TSM were rarely behind last year.
Sure.
But it definitely looks to be a very real case. Meanwhile, on Cloud9 side, so coordinated, and especially in their first game where it was a more risky comp to play, they had really good moves. Here we go for it to receive Cloud9 though.
Biofrost mucked with the fight for now. Here goes Spencer, gets a knock up on a Jensen. How many is going to get invulnerable from Smoothie? Looks like just the front line here, the 3 of them. He's going to kite back. Stun's going to land back on a Smoothie. They're focused with the support. Didn't go well last time, and they can't quite reach Jensen to the back. The fight continues. Guardian Angel pops. The Redemption heal going to be nice for C9, and it's a 1-kill pickup so far as Contracts has fallen. It's going to be Hanser up next, and it looks like Spencer going to lose his life as well. The tanky Trundle just barely running away. Guardian Angel down. It's up to Bjergsen to try to carry the fight. It's Wild Turtle diving forward. It's the same for Biofrost, picking up absolutely everybody, and it's going to be Impact, the last one to fall. He will go down a double for the new AD carry. 4-2 advantage TSM.
Whoa! Turtle able to land the arrow for the re-engage. That landed right when the Taric ultimate fell off, and TSM were able to fight back. Man, what a crucial team fight for TSM to pull back right there. If they lost that one, it was going to be game over. Minions are at their Nexus turret right now. They've already lost one, but TSM hold on to have another team fight, basically.
Yes, they do. It's going to continue on. Turtle, finally a good fight for him. Let's watch that again.
All right, so this was the first move there where they get a little bit of tower damage on Impact. Doesn't really stay, but Sven has a great flank here and gets half of Jensen's life. And keep your eyes on Jensen's life because he gets chunked out again and is forced out of the fight when a Hanser flashes on him. He almost gets killed, but Smoothie ends up kiting as well and using the Redemption. Here goes the secondary turn though, because TSM barely get this one back off of that respawn from Hanser. Impact does get burned down, consistent damage here from Turtle, and they still had the exhaust. Aggressive move there as they go forward, and even though Bjergsen went down, TSM are able to get a little bit of momentum back into this one. Freak, this whole series has been actually,
it's been great.
Very close.
I'm glad we've had comebacks and back and forths and whatnot. Lord Dominic's Regard's now done for Turtle, so he can really cut through the tanks, especially with the GA down on Impact. Contract now has his, making it a bit more difficult, but this is the most damage you're really ever going to see now that Turtle's going to be able to buy. He is very well power spiked. He can hard carry a team fight. Sneaky, not quite as far up there.
Exactly. Turtle on the Ashe, definitely doing a lot of DPS to the front line of Cloud9, but we also have to mention the ultimate from Biofrost. The Malzahar ultimate is good at shredding tanks as well, getting that pool down for a lot of percentage HP on the front line. So definitely another good tool that they're using, and Bjergsen has to pick his opportunities to go in.
For a bit there, Impact, of course, very tanky. Arrow's gonna hit Jensen. Now it's up for Smoothie to keep them alive. Voldy's gonna tag onto 4. They caught Biofrost. Down goes a TSM support. Hooker to the back line. Bjergsen's gotta be careful on this one. Pops the ulti. A double for Jensen. Redemption. Now it's 3 for him. Impact still alive at the front line. Refuses to go down. It's a hat trick and a double kill for Sneaky.
Clean team fight there from Cloud9, and Contract's got a massive kick all the way through the entire team as well, plus the high priority execution, and that should be Cloud9 moving up into the base. and finishing off the series here. Inhibitor's gonna go first. Minions will have to catch up later, but man, what a stark difference from that turret dive.
Absolutely. So it's all she wrote now for this one. The 2-0 is all but secured. This one a little bit faster than the previous and a little bit, just a bit more one-sided than game one here. Cloud9, this time up the backs of Contracts with the insane early game on Lee Sin. 2-0 over TSM.
That Cloud9 hype that was coming from a lot of the scrims and a lot of the analysts. Choo-choo! Here, and yeah, they take down the defending champions.
I remember when Cloud9 first bust onto the scene, it was with, who the heck is this new jungler Meteos? He's destroying everybody. And this, I don't know which version you want to call it of Cloud9, but version Contracts
2017?
Version 2017. Contracts looks very, very good. Svenskeren, we know as a top flight jungler, and Contracts played better both games. A 5-0 start, 100% of the kills in the early game. Contracts is the real deal.
Contracts is definitely the real deal. All of the laners for Cloud9 also performed very, very well. You know, Jensen was setting him up for success. The bottom lane in the first game was setting him up for success. Impact was setting him up in this game, whittling down Hanser, pushing him under the turret, really prepping him for those dives. So this whole Cloud9 team really seems to be firing on all cylinders right now. Their pick ban draft was also something we're going to be keeping an eye on. Yeah. Even more importance on that now, and they had some very good ones.
I agree. I've liked what I've seen so far. Cloud9 are going to end day one. The top of the table, 100% game win rate. Of
After
course,
one series, you're North American LCS leader.
Woo! That's always going to happen, but C9 are technically alone in first, and their second opponent this week is going to be Team Dignitas. And
new Team Dignitas.
The new Team Dignitas, the new look, someday up in the top lane, right? Chaser in the jungle. These are some very, very good players. And that's going to be fun context because Reginald an hour ago said, yeah, Team Dignitas is going to be one of those bottom 5 teams. They're bringing in Koreans, you know, the coordination's going to be rough. Like, what happens if Team Dignitas makes that match better and makes it closer than TSM did?
I like that's,
that's a little scary.
That's why you like it when people are open at
yeah, I love that.
Ones, right?
And hey, and look, respect for Reginald for speaking his opinion. I love when people do that, no matter who you are, coming up and saying this is what I think is correct, this is what I think is wrong. I think this team did it wrong. It makes it more fun when these teams battle off. I mean, I want to see TSM versus Team Dignitas now. That's going to be exciting just because we had the smack talk.
I already wanted to see it, but
well, I did too.
Now it'll be
better.
Yeah,
it'll be even better than before, and so it's going to be a lot of fun matches. I'm very excited about this. The match we're going to have next one as well is going to be new look for the teams. P1 and Echo Fox are going to be interesting. It's just a cool season.
Those are 2 teams, Phoenix 1 and Echo Fox, that are coming up next.
Sorry.
That had a lot of off-season changes and actually have a lot higher expectations because of those changes.
Well, we'll see how these teams all look. It's been wonderful casting this series with you guys, but now going to throw it down to Pacey Chime, who's standing by with C9's newest member for an interview on that win.
Thank you very much. I'm here with rookie jungler Contracts after a dominating 2-0 there for Cloud9. You come into your LCS, your first game ever, 2 first bloods in both games, and you beat TSM. How does it feel?
It feels super amazing. At first, I didn't actually think I would have this of a debut. Although this isn't where I want to be yet. I want to be much better than what I am right now. But it was a good first start, yeah.
You're just casually beating TSM 2-0. Seems okay, at least. How's C9 been? Of course, you were in the Challenger squad before, but moving into the main team has to feel very different. How have you found the team, the infrastructure, just the whole experience?
Yeah, the infrastructure is definitely different from the Challenger team, but it's really helping me improve day by day. And over time, I think the infrastructure is just going to make me a really, really good player, and I appreciate all the staff at C9.
Well, you're a young and talented player. I have to ask you, I know we're only 1 series in, but what are your expectations for yourself, and kind of what do you think your ceiling's like?
Well, I just want to be the best jungler I can be for my team, maybe be a top 1, top 2 LCS jungler, and definitely make finals at the end of Split.
Well, certainly good start so far. Thank you very much, Contracts, for such a great game. We are going to throw it back to the Analyst, though, Desto, for more on that game.
Thank you very much, Pastry. Humble contracts there in his first series victory of the NALCS season. And the story of the second game really did center around him and the early moves that he was able to make on that Lee Sin to get their team ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. And he was humble, but he could have got away with being a little cocky if he wanted to.
Yeah, he absolutely
I mean,
could've.
he was huge. Let's be honest. This was massive. Everything he did to really set up their success in this game was impressive. It was really well thought out. He was risk averse, and he was capitalizing on his moments. Even pushing Svenskeren out of the jungle before getting that first blood on Bjergsen. They knew there could be no counter ganking, and this guy played it like a seasoned vet.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that's with the fact that he is not a seasoned veteran. We talked about the fact that he had the same or similar level of hype to, say, Dardoch coming in, where this guy's supposed to be super hot on entry. And that's exactly what he was. So far, things looking good. Let's go ahead and jump into a couple replays here. The first one's going to be around the Baron. But this is actually where TSM makes some good moves in the Baron steal itself.
Yeah, I mean, Svenskeren played this very well. I think C9, it was a fine Baron to take. Yes, there's always the risk, but Contract kicks Sven out. Immediate flashback in, some luck there, but really well played to steal the Baron. Now, this is TSM with a one fight, right? That's good for you. You back out. They're able to actually get out of here. They trade the flashes when there is a flash shot coming in, but then why would you stay around? It's a 4v5. You're down on gold. You just got Baron.
On 4 members.
There's a Taric there. Let's engage on the Taric. And TSM takes a very odd re-engage here. They don't even kill Smoothie. They give up a bunch of kills here and eventually an inhibitor. So, I mean, this was really a poor decision from TSM.
Yeah, exactly. And this is following a couple very good decisions to stay in the game, which was relying on that Hanser split push on the Trundle to really spread out the map and slow things down up to that Baron steal. Had they just walked out and had, that 3.5 minutes there to just continue to farm up, this could have been a very different game. So, some good decisions, some poor decisions coming out of this TSM squad. And we had some questions with Doublelift out of the lineup. How would their shot calling fall, moving into this season? Clearly, it still needs some work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially you talk about the split push. Baron buff, incredible on a split pusher like Trundle, who was already really starting to take over that matchup. He had kind of outscaled the Nautilus in that 1v1, and you give him the Baron buff, and now you have to send 2 guys to deal with him, and it gives TSM more and more time to farm up to kind of get to those breakpoints because they were put very far behind off the bat from Contracts.
Right, of course, we did still see one other great fight out of TSM in the top lane, a good re-engage from a Wild Turtle arrow that netted them a couple kills, but then we jumped to the game-ending fight. So we follow what was a fantastic fight from TSM with a great engage here from C9.
Yeah, exactly. And the arrow does go in, and this is just showing off how tanky Impact is and the power of that Taric ultimate. We see Contracts and Smoothie pairing up. They land the stun onto the backline. They're able to pile in, and the amount of AoE damage and high DPS champions they have was just incredible there, and I think that really showcased the power of the Taric.
And I love to see the confidence coming out of Cloud9 to continue to take those fights. A number of teams, especially with, say, a new rookie who holds most of the gold on that map, would be a little bit more tentative after just losing a fight to kind of re-engage for a full 5v5 near the Baron. They choose to go for it, knowing that, hey, we still have command of this game, and they can win essentially off of that. Let's move to player of the game. It's going to come as no surprise that it's going to Contracts here in his debut. So one to Jensen last game, one to Contracts here. Let's talk about this guy in the context of the season, because this is a Cloud9 roster or rather a Cloud9 organization that was founded upon winning the North American LCS. Well, they're charged with doing that again here with this edition.
And I mean, it's a great start for them. They take down the defending champions. Their rookie looks incredible. Really smart plays across the board. Even things like this, kicking out his opponent, winning the Smite Faith there on the Dragon. He was really making everything looked pretty easy for him. He was never overcommitting his abilities, waiting till the exhaust is able to end there to kill off Bjergsen, and he looked great. And this is one of the best starts I've seen from a rookie in a long time.
The presence of mind in a rookie is what's kind of phenomenal about it, because again, we always talk about composure. Well, it's his first time on the stage. He's going to be operating in the LAN setting. How is he going to deal with the different levels of pressure that come throughout the game? And he seemed to handle himself like a seasoned pro. Again, just 2 games, so we can't go ahead and stamp him. All right, here he is.
Contract season MVP.
He's arrived, best jungler of the season. But in his first showing here, has performed very well. So off to a great start here for Cloud9. Of course, TSM probably would have liked to see things go differently. We've got to take a quick break, and then we'll jump into the second match of the day with Phoenix 1 versus Echo Fox. Don't touch that browser. The NALCS will be right back.
Do you ever just stare at your opponent right now? And just like... Do you ever just do that, yeah? Look into their soul and then intimidate them? Look into that soul. He's not paying attention to me, but I'm paying attention to him.
A lot of damage there. Jensen does have ulti available. Exhaust is on. E's going to land. There's the ulti. It's enough damage. Then the Haunter as well. Here comes the attempt to steal. Who's it going to be? Nice kick out. He flies. He gets there and steals the Baron. Now the fight is on. Yes, look at the kill, but that is so worth it in every possible way for TSM. Now it's up for Smoother to keep them alive. Ulti's going to tag onto 4. They caught Bio Frost. Down goes a TSM support. Hook into the back line. Bjergsen's got to be careful on this one. Pops the ulti. A double for Jensen. Redemption. Now it's 3 for him. Impact still alive at the front line. Refuses to go down. It's a hat trick and a double kill for Sneaky. Cloud9, this time off the backs of Contract with the insane early game on Lee Sin. 2-0 over TSM.
Welcome back to the North American LCS. I'm Julian Pastry Time Car, and I'm thrilled to be back on the desk for our second match of the split with none other than the unflappable Aiden Zarin Moon.
Absolutely true. Cannot be flapped at all.
Well, the next match we have to welcome the revamped rosters of 2 teams who escaped relegation at the end of last split, but are looking to make their mark in 2017. It's Phoenix 1 versus Echo Fox. Phoenix 1 retained their foundation, added a ton of star power, and Zig and Inori did do a lot of work together towards the end of the split. P1 though, I feel like they needed a bit more threat in the mid or bot lane, so they picked up Ryu of a great showing at Worlds on HGK and Arrow from KT roster, with Adrian from Immortals in the bottom lane just to round things out.
Yeah, and definitely Phoenix 1 already were on an upward trajectory in the second half of the split, going 5-4 in their overall record, and now they get to start day 1 with their full roster, which was not something they had going for them last split. And so Inori, returning from that roster, it was his rookie split, and he showed that he can definitely carry from the jungle role. But now, he has a world semifinalist in the mid lane and an OGN champion in the bottom lane. This roster doesn't have to be the Inori show, so I want to see how is his playstyle going to develop with these teammates in this firepower in these other lanes.
Well, we'll have to find out. But Phoenix 1, of course, weren't the only team with high-profile pickups in the offseason with their opponents Echo Fox, adding 2014 world champion Looper to the starting lineup.
Yeah, Looper, of course. This matchup is going to be up against Zig, and it's his first test in North America, and it'll be a bit of a barometer on where he stands, because there has been some skepticism about can Looper play without Mata pulling the strings in the bottom lane, so he's going to have to carry a little bit up against Zig. Of course, last year, Echo Fox, they did suffer from a lack of pressure in the jungle, and hopes are that the new rookie jungler, Acadian, will bring some much-needed agency that will unlock his solo lanes, which have absolute star power, like you were saying here. And meanwhile, on the other side, Inori, he might exert pressure in the bot lane. So we're going to see what happens with that new Phoenix 1 duo in the bottom side. So eyes are on the jungle for this matchup. Who can control the pace of the game?
Certainly does feel like both teams made some good upgrades, but even though Arcadian is new to the scene, he's pretty confident in how he stacks up against his opponent.
I think actually a lot of people have misconceptions about Inori. Like, he actually played really bad last split, and he had like 4 good games where he cheesed people pretty much. But he did really well when he cheesed. Like, he's very good at playing from ahead, but I don't know. My experience, at least, like playing against him and like practices and stuff, is like, all right, guys, you gotta play safe for the first 5 minutes, and then if he doesn't cheese you or anything like that, nothing weird happens, like, he just sucks. So yeah, I don't know.
Certainly some strong words there from Arcadian.
I mean, Inori doesn't know what he's talking about. Inori, you call it cheese, he just calls it alternative strategies. He's carrying his team, he's doing what it takes.
Certainly does. Well, the first test for this squad is about to start, so let's get ourselves into the starting lineups. To kick things off on the blue side, it is Echo Fox with a new roster. In the top lane, it is Looper, the jungler Arcadian, mid lane Froggen as always, bot laner Keith, support Gate, and coach Tim Kiro.
And facing off on the red side against them, it is Phoenix 1, starting day 1 with their full roster. And it starts like this. In the top lane, Zig. Jungle returning, it is Inori. Mid, Ryu right off of HGK in the World Semifinals. In the bot lane, it's going to be Arrow. And support Adrian with Coach Fly, being reunited with Adrian.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's kind of cool to see just how much these teams have changed. We saw TSM, of course, and C9. Last time, they haven't changed too much as far as last split goes, just added some few things here and there. These teams made some pretty radical changes, but certainly seems like good upgrades across the board for both sides.
Exactly. That's the thing is, Reginald, he was talking to you about how, they got all these guys that are imported, but do they know how to slot them into a team? Do they know how to use them? I know the teams have picked up things like translators and trying to integrate them more into the squad. Well, sometimes the coach is also, a Korean speaker in the case of Fly. So now
Phoenix One, they have a Korean coach. They're trying to actually figure out how to work with that, how to get this language down, because they have to communicate mid-game as well. You also have to be able to have somebody who can translate, who can talk back and forth. And so that is another struggle here. And I know that these teams, there have been visa issues and things like that, where Phoenix One, they've only been able to scrim for about 8 days now. So what does this team look like coming through, and what do they look like developing throughout the split? Because if they can get their feet under them, or if Echo Fox can get their feet under them, there is a lot of questions here. Both teams are quite the enigma when it comes to how far will they go.
And I think the nice thing is, you mentioned coaches. We've seen Pick and Ban already make a pretty, I'd say, significant impact just on our first series. We're going to get ourselves in the Champs League pretty soon, as the crowd's clearly very excited about what's happening over there. But the coaches also have a strong say in Pick and Ban as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing that we've seen a couple times already, that people have missed bans. But it happens a lot in mixed language teams from what I've been seeing, because everybody gets to ban now. It's not just coach talks to the top laner, this is what we're banning. You have to go through each one. Okay, AD carry, now I have to communicate with you. You ban this champion. And so sometimes we'll see miss bans and stuff like that. So you have to be very in charge of the pick ban. There's no goofing off anymore.
Certainly not. Well, we'll see what the teams have in store for the first game here. As we are into champions, so like Zyra, the first ban there in phase 1 from Echo Fox. Camille following there for Phoenix One. We are expecting at least the first 6 bans to feel fairly standard, as Syndra is the second there from Echo Fox.
Yeah. On the red side, it will usually be the Camille, LeBlanc, and Rengar. So we'll see what happens here. I know Phoenix One do love playing Rengar themselves, so it may be a little bit of a challenge here, because Acadian loves that champion as well.
Well, we'll see what happens after the Malzahar ban there from Phoenix One. So Echo Fox do have their 3rd ban for this phase to try and take it. Here you mentioned a lot of those strong junglers. We'll see if it's maybe more of a targeted ban, or if it's just something pretty simple, which it is. It's Ryze there for Echo Fox as their final ban.
Yeah, coming into this last one, LeBlanc, Rengar, Ryze were all up. Echo Fox decided to ban the Ryze away. So now at least LeBlanc or Rengar, one of the two, will make it through this pick ban phase, and possibly both.
Well, we'll see what Phoenix One want to leave up. They'll ban Ashe, actually, which is quite a curious ban. Very popular AD carry, arguably the best AD carry you can pick, but leaves this open. There's the LeBlanc.
So Phoenix One, I mean, you can pretty much insta-lock Rengar right now, because Inori loves this champion. It's the one that he took down TSM with. We'll see if they pick it up here. And yeah, there it goes. Just like, cool. It's like 30 seconds on the clock. 30 seconds is way too much for them.
Well, Varus is pretty much instantly picked as well. So Varus, Rengar will be the next 2 for Phoenix One. Let's see what Echo Fox have here for their last 2 picks of this first phase. Looks like Arcadian's already looked in Rek'Sai for himself, so kind of picking a strong champion. And there's Jhin actually for Keith as well.
Now there's something to be said about being prepared for champion select, because there's only 30 seconds for each pick. The faster you pick on your side, the less time you give your enemies to actually deliberate and speak about it. Phoenix One now have 10 seconds to figure out, what are we going to ban? Take the bans into consideration, what they want to ban next, and it might be that there they go.
Yep, there's Maokai actually for Phoenix One, so pretty standard stuff, but we are, of course, going to move into ban phase 2. So the second phase of the draft will start. Now each team will get 2 more bans apiece. Phoenix One are going to start and actually ban Kennen, so mostly a top lane and potential flex for the solo lane and AD carry as well.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen it all about, and Kennen was played into Maokai pretty frequently the other day.
There's Orianna banned for Echo Fox though, so pretty standard mid lane ban getting taken out. Maybe trying to pinch the pool there.
Exactly, trying to pinch that pool, because Syndra is already off the table. Ryze, now you have LeBlanc, Orianna. That leaves, though, Talia. We also have Cassiopeia. It is a very large pool that they would have to pinch here.
Can be difficult, certainly, as Phoenix One. We'll see what their final ban of the draft will be here for game 1. And Thresh is actually the ban, so a very specific ban being aimed at Gate there.
I mean, if anybody knows Gate, it is his former team of Phoenix One. Just swapping over this split to Echo Fox.
Definitely an interesting targeted ban, but I mean, likely a comfort pick there for Gate. Lots of support players love their Thresh, so they'll just kind of stick one over there. And Echo Fox, what's the final ban here? It is Karma, so another support ban.
Yep. You would assume it was Karma. I was going through the support tier list, considering the mages were already taken off. They banned Thresh. You pick Karma. What happens on the other side? So now, Phoenix One, solo lane.
All right. Locked in. Okay, so pretty safe stuff here. Could be top lane for Zeke, could be mid for Ryu.
It's most likely that mid for Ryu there, because they already have the Maokai locked in. Unless they're going to do something really crazy, and Adrian's speaking of those large champion pools. But we'll see what ends up happening here on the opposite side. The Nautilus most likely to be taken.
Yep. It's a pretty safe pick there. And there's Tom Kench actually locked in. So been a pretty popular support.
And so the support being picked here last for Phoenix One, they very highly value having a good support matchup, and that's why they didn't pick it earlier. Despite they had the opportunity to, you could already pick your Lissandra into LeBlanc. knew that that was going to come through. And so you now get to just cap it off, know exactly what they're going to have in that bottom lane. And the support matchup, like a lot of people have been saying, is what dictates the pace of the lane early on.
Yep, you can see it looks like the final pick here will be Nami for Adrian. So gonna lock that one in and finalize a double range bottom lane here. Kind of interesting draft as everything fell through. Standard AD carries with Ashe being the only ban, so Jhin and Varus kind of make sense as nobody else wanted to ban other AD carries. Standard tanking a top lane, very standard junglers, but it feels like the power's kind of weighted in Inori's hands on one side with the Rengar, and on Froggen's side on the other hand for Echo Fox with that LeBlanc.
Yeah, but we do see both teams playing to their strengths. We talked about the solo laners for Echo Fox being usually where they're going to want to play here with Acadian. Early ganking jungler with the Rek'Sai being picked up rather early. They have a shoving top laner, which will do rather well in this matchup against the Maokai. And then they have this roaming mid laner for Froggen. Froggen's problem was he didn't have enough jungle pressure to actually pressure mid laners out to give him the ability to go help bottom lane, to go help top lane last split. And now he has a champion that can help him do that, and he has an aggressive jungler that if this rookie can play with confidence on stage, could free up Echo Fox to roam about the map.
Well, we'll have to see. It looks like a decent draft for both teams. I'm sure they're happy with the picks as it comes through, but you're right. It seems like the names we expected to try and do well here do have the strong champions there. Again, Ryu, it does feel like he had to fall down to maybe not quite as strong a champion, but he'll play it safe with the Lissandra. Should be just fine.
Yeah, it's more of the counter to the LeBlanc where you can just ulti her and interrupt her move block and make sure that she can't escape and possibly blow her up. But that's level 6 onward. We're talking about team fights for that. This game is going to be focused in the early game for those junglers. Where does Acadian go? What does Inori do with this signature Rengar of his?
That's true. I mean, it was not a huge pick when he managed to take it, and upset, of course, TSM. Now it's definitely a strong meta pick, consistently banned so far in the early days of the league, and Inori's going to have to show up on a champion that everyone knows he can play.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's got a great level 3. We'll see how he affects the lanes early, but we're on the Rift.
Certainly are. Let's have a go. Here is Fox and P1 will take the Rift for our second series, I suppose, of the day, but their first game of the year.
It's our first series.
That's true. Always fun. Like you said, junglers very strong in the current metagame, so we'll have to see where those early paths go. Arcadian, he's the new guy, the young gun. Inori, I would say somewhat proven, but still wants to show just how good he is.
Well, literally, Inori has had half a split to show us what he has. We talk about NALCS rookies, he only got half a split. He didn't even get a full one to really show us what he's made of. And so now starting day one on Phoenix One, luxury he didn't have last split like I talked about, he is really hungry as well to just prove that he is a jungler that you have to deal with, that you have to put pressure on. But how do you put pressure on a Rengar?
Well, I guess we'll find out, because you can see Inori and Arcadian currently facing off against each other. Curious, Keystone Master is actually there, particularly on the Echo Fox side. Courage of the Colossus on Rek'Sai. Not that uncommon, but kind of definitely going for more of a tank play.
Yeah, the Rek'Sai is one of those utility tanks that you can play in the jungle. One of the only ones at the moment that can really utilize the Courage of the Colossus mastery that's in that top tier. But it helps her out immensely well. So just knock up, pretty much on demand. Great way to get a shield, especially when you're engaging later on in the game in team fights.
Well, we'll have to see how the starts are. Inori and Zig will team up for this red buff start. See just how much help Inori gets there from Zig. And looks like red buff start for Arcadian as well. So opposite jungle start sides here for either team, as Arrow's just going to safely walk into lane. Didn't want anything too bad to happen. It's been kind of hiding in their brush for a little while, but they'll start the lane push down as Gate does get a nice bit of harass there onto Adrian.
Yeah, the lane matchup in this bottom lane definitely favors P1 early on. And Gate kind of took one for the team there. He took the Tom Kench to make sure that when Inori jumps on people, he has somebody that can deal with it. The Rengar jumps onto your Jhin, just eat him up, make sure that you're all good to go.
You can see they're trying to play nice and aggressive. Gate sacrificing some of the early health just to make sure the lane doesn't get pushed too hard here, but Adrian and Arrow should be just fine. Adrian does have the wind speakers, and I believe the ebb and flow skilled up already, so should be able to keep Arrow pretty healthy. And we'll see when these next 3 creeps go down, kind of what happens in the level 2.
See, they get the push there. Level 2 will be hit about the same time. Inori, though, already on the bottom side of the map, he has gone buff to buff, and now he's picking up Scuttle Crab. Can't get him level 3.
No, really values the vision, I guess, which is interesting, but can I go over to that Gromp side, or unless he has something really sneaky, nice blast cone usage.
It's a little strange because Rengar can clear Krugs and Raptors incredibly well with the Q and the empowered Q, but we'll talk about that in a moment here because this is Acadian, the rookie, trying to make a play.
Going in, Ryu does get a great flash, but it's not enough, still knocked up, and there's first blood for Rek'Sai.
What is it with rookies in the jungle getting first blood today? Acadian comes out on top, ganks Ryu, gets the flash out of him too, and sets up Froggen.
And we wonder where the pressure was going to go early, and pretty simple gank there through the mid lane, but does get LeBlanc the early kill. Summoner was burnt for Froggen, had to commit the ignite, but Ryu with no flash and now no teleport has to get himself back to the line.
But they're trying to sniff this out because it's a repeat game.
I love this. Ryu now going to get locked up again. No, the chain not enough. There's going to be a second. Arcadian does it again.
But Inori, he was on the side, and he's going to throw it.
Oh, ton of buffle. That's going to hurt. Inori cannot get the counter kill.
Oh, BM there from Acadian. Oh, he saw what Inori did to TSM, and Acadian's like, nope. He said he was bad. He said Inori wasn't particularly good. And now he's trying to call him out here.
Well, Froggen's here. Loop is roamed down as well. Hook's not going to connect. Good little dodge from Inori. And there's a bit of fun back.
NA junglers, man. High quality mechanics at BM, I will say that. But Ryu, the teleport back in, Acadian was on the top side of the map. This is actually the first one for the first blood here, where he comes through, goes back over, and they know he went off to the left side of the map. Inori checks the Raptors, sees that they're still up, and yeah, that's just a bad call there. Ryu playing way too far forward. When you TP back to lane, you TP back to those minions just to get a little bit further up in the lane, the jungler will repeat gank
It's just
over and over again.
So greedy from Ryu, and it does cost him there as the first 2 kills of the game will go over to Arcadian. Bottom lane, we did see some trades back and forth, but CS and health is looking relatively even, so we'll see if this develops into anything. But Arrow, we are expecting him to be such a strong AD carry, but he doesn't have to really show up in the lane. Could be in the mid to late game, and those team fights where he really starts to shine.
Yeah, Arrow is usually about the utility, known for his Ashe, known for his Jhin. The Varus, oh, it's new to the meta right now, and we'll see how he does on it, but they definitely have a little bit better lane here. It hasn't manifested itself as a CS advantage, though, and there hasn't really been pressure on this lane just yet either.
No, and Froggen has certainly received those 2 assists. Maybe would have liked one of the kills, but you can see the mid and jungle here for Echo Fox just starting to exert some pressure. Arcadian getting deep wards, they're going to take jungle away, and we wondered where Arcadian's pressure was going to go. We know Froggen is a player that loves to call for help. He can do so much with it, and they've kind of both had a good start here. Can't wait to see the synergy, kind of how this develops in the game.
Exactly, and that's the thing is Froggen, it's like he needs his jungler to kind of camp for him a little bit. It wasn't working out last split when they kept having to like swap junglers a little bit. Non-aggressive junglers were coming in, and now they just have a guy who was known as like playing Rengar all the time, converted top laner, I believe, from about a year and a half ago, but still played things like Rengar up top. So Acadian, very aggressive, but Inori trying to punish.
Yeah, another tunnel buffer. Inori can chase here. Ryu looking for something. No ulti, going to lock it down. W's there for the snare. Inori looking to follow in. Leaps in, but Froggen's going to try and turn around. Arcadian stands his ground and fights him, but Inori is going to leap back in. And now Froggen, where can he go? Arrow forced to fight. K flashes after him. Froggen took out Inori on the other side, but Arrow isn't going to go down. Keith able to take him out, and now Ryu's going to try and run away. Froggen, can he keep it going? Needs to move forward, but no ulti's probably no hope. It's just the 1-for-1.
Yeah, and on the other side of the map, though, Arrow does get taken down. So, overall, Echo Fox, I believe they come up with a 2-for-1 across the map.
Looking good. Looper, the zoning hook perhaps, but still pushing up in a zig, and has certainly been winning that last trade by the looks of things. They're gonna drink his health potion and should be okay clearing those out. We tend not to see too much in the tank v tank matchup. Of course, look for those first teleports to really show us how the players are looking.
You get the shove advantage. They'll try to roam a little bit. We saw Looper roam down to the bottom side, and the Nautilus has a bit of a leg up in that. Also the fact that he has a Dark Seal now to help him out with the potions, but also give him a little bit more AP on top of it. Good by Ryu to come over and help. Inori has the push there, so Acadian can't really get away, and the flashes are down. Good jump back in here from Inori, but then he actually got hit by the chain there. That was something that Ryu, it looked like he was trying to block, but it just snapped to Inori, and that was his demise there because Inori threw out the bola and got the root. Didn't go for the extra damage, was trying to keep the LeBlanc in one place. They thought they could finish her. Nope.
Nice trade there, certainly, but kind of good of Arcadian to know that I'm probably dead. I'm going to stand and help Froggen, who did manage to get the kill back. Inori now going to do a bit more of his own jungle. Arcadian's left this side of the map. He will take the Gromp down. Not 6 just yet, but still kind of working toward the next layer of experience. And after that kill down bottom lane, Keith and Gate looking pretty good here. BF swords have been purchased already by the AD carry, so parity as far as the items go, although Boots extra for Keith isn't too bad. But we maybe expected some pressure here. So far it's just been 2v2, and the kill for Fox there is nice as well.
Yeah, and you're expecting when level 6s come out that there will be some attention into the bottom lane from Inori and possibly Arrow trying to set something up. But you do always have to pay attention to the fact that there's a top catch. It's very difficult to make plays on this bottom lane because of that.
Well, that's a nice looking trade there. Keith will get scooped up to safety though by Gate as Ryu gets himself the blue buff. Inori going to continue jungling away. Ryu's going to go pretty safely over the wall to clear this all out. And Froggen certainly got the shove advantage now. Does have his Ignite and the flash back and ready. We'll see if he does start roaming and influence other areas, or maybe teams up again with Arcadian, trying to find Inori.
They know that Inori was on that side, though. Arcadian saw him with the Tremor Sense. They know that he's making a play towards bottom, so you'll see bottom lane back up a little bit there.
Ooh, magnificent thought here. Oh no, he's got the pink ward. He's going to bait him, and now Inori going to get locked down. Teleport's going to be committed here. Gate's actually looking for Adrian down the bottom side. Scoops him up, and Keith knocked up by a bubble at the end. Now TP'd up for P1. Gate will take out Adrian, but Ryu's down here as well to take down Keith. Arrow still fighting away as best he can, and Gate has to run for it. Zig and Lupa have joined the party. Delman and Inori trying to get some damage back. Lupa is going to get crushed down. There's a double kill for Ryu. Arcadian still trying to fight it out, but Froggen goes in. Killed arrows to Inori as Arcadian takes him down. Now Ryu trying to get his way out to safety. Froggen a little low as Gates bits one out, but there's the double kill for Zig. Froggen needs to keep running. Gets locked down. That should be enough, and there's the ace for Phoenix One.
And now it's equal in kills, 6-6 after that. Still a little bit of lead for Echo Fox, but P1 back into this game.
Wonderful, bloodthirsty game here. It's not even been 10 minutes, Irene. And we already have our first ace in the series. Great counter TPs there. A mess of a fight as we're going to watch this one again.
It's just skirmishing happening all over the map here, and it's definitely a little bit of a better composition for P1 to do that. They have Lysandra, they have Rengar, you have all of these guys that kind of want to scrap a bit. Looper actually comes in with ultimate, and he never gets to use it here, so he just gets locked up there. Great from Ryu to use the ultimate on him, not saved for the LeBlanc, because it ends up being the most value because the CC is off the table now. Gate then tries to take out Ryu. Not enough damage yet with the W, and Zig with his W up just barely. Yeah, Looper TP'd into that fight. Ulti and Flash, and apparently didn't get either of them off, just locked up.
Yeah, and the other side was Zig did so much work in her team fight on Malkow. He's already a strong team fighting tank, and Lupa dying instantly. They kind of just won. He won the fight automatically. Lupa going to push his way up. Zig's going to walk his way back to lane, but evening up that gold almost, and as you said, evening up the kills.
Yeah, and evening up a lot of this score because Ryu 0-2 before that fight. He's sitting at four kills right now. Well, picked up one a little bit before that as well, but still, the fact that he was 0-2 at one point in this game, and now he's 4-2-2, 100% KP for Ryu, it's like this guy was getting bullied, and now he's finally back on top.
And Abyssal set the dump means that P1 actually feel confident maybe starting this Infernal Drake. They will back away, so they weren't getting that one without being spotted. So Echo Fox keeping on top of that vision as Ryu maybe looking for a pick here. Froggen as well off to the side. Mid laners can certainly lock someone down.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of power in both these mid laners, and the fact that Ryu is up a level already, just a little bit in CS here, or a little bit down in CS. That's the thing that's surprising to me is he was 0-2, didn't get the wave frozen on him, wasn't like, oh, this game's over, go next, because the Lysandra apparently claws her way back in off of roaming, making TP plays, having this ability to pick people off, and that's what the P1 composition is great at, is having small individual skirmishes in different places, but also pick. Everybody on this team has some form of CC, all 5 members of them are able to lock somebody up, but they also have ways to get around and traverse the map quickly.
Well, other than that, first Abyssal set to the items aren't really looking too hot just yet as everyone's finishing kind of that first major item here. Big Infernal Drake up for grabs as well, so despite the early ace, both teams are still trying to get a foothold here on the map. Echo Fox up in gold by 1,000, which is nice, but P1 with a convincing team fight win after that big scrappy skirmish. CU kind of takes that first major fight at the objective, and I'm expecting some sort of action around the Infernal Drake, although right now, teams again confined to their lanes, just trying to farm it up and kind of reach a point where they feel comfortable pulling the trigger on some sort of big engage.
And it's going to depend on where the ward placement is as well and who can actually sneak in, because you can see Echo Fox, there's a lot on the top side jungle here, but P1 have more wards allocated to the bottom side and a little bit of that control in river. So Inori, he'll feel more comfortable with this Rengar just going towards that bottom side in a little bit, or they're going to get Zig to place something here, find Acadian, maybe make a play off of this knowledge.
Looks like Inori's actually roaming up towards that area as well. Looks like he just pops the ward in and leaves though, so for now, P1 are trying to cover that side of the map. Froggen back to mid lane, will clear out what he can. Looking good here on the LeBlanc, does have the Abyssal finished up now as well, so a bit of extra power, despite all the kills Ryu did just get.
And Ryu's up already 600 gold on top of Froggen. Didn't go down in the CS deficit off of the 2 kills. He even blew his TP at the beginning of the game after the first kill just to die again. and now he's completely recovered off of these fights. So P1, instead of slow bleeding, they just kept going for skirmishes, and it's been working out for them now. Just 700 gold down, but Echo Fox still have that lead.
Well, it seems like the pressure subsided a bit here as Arcadian was really in P1's space. He was mid lane, then aggressively moving into Inori's jungle, trying to keep tabs on him, but after the fights, kind of has to back off a bit.
Yeah, he's got 1,000 gold up over Inori, but it's a Rek'Sai that didn't go for the Tiamat clear first. It looks like he might be going into that next here. Well, how do you transition that gold as Rek'Sai? You aren't really blowing people up. You're just tankier.
Good catch potentially. Ryu locked up, but got some friends behind him, so Froggen can't commit for an all-in, and Lysandre with an ult. He's pretty hard to lock down. Arrow zoning some away. Tells just get a tap there onto Keith. Nice little chain there for Froggen, looking for it again. Second chain lands in. Ryu still has the ulti. Doesn't even pull it. Perfectly safe for now.
Yeah, he may get the teleport out of Ryu here. You can see Zig is roaming down because he shoved out the top wave. It's actually a pretty good timing for him to do so. Finds out where Arcadian is. That gives the Inori the okay on the other side of the map to try and make a play or try to at least counter this, so he gets control of the bot side. And that's the TP back from Ryu, too.
Yep, does go back to mid lane. Not unsafe this time. 6-11 as well, so level 2 ulti is nice. Froggen with a nice bit of poke, though. Kind of annoy Ryu as he's just gotten back to lane. But again, teams again moving around looking for the Drake, and P1 will start it again.
Yep, they know Acadian's on the top part of the map. They know that blue buff will be up shortly on their side, and Ryu
again needs to pull the ulti, does finally move it, and P1's going to teleport in for this. Now moving around, trying to force a fight. Gate's coming up as well. Tidal waves out. Who's he going to land on? No one just yet as Gate does it. Keep in time. And to get him under the safety of the turret, P1 blow a couple cooldowns straight back to Infernal Drake.
Yeah, only problem here is that Froggen, it'll be hard for him to contest this Infernal Drake because of the fact that he doesn't have enough mana to really make a large impact here. Maybe blow one combo. If that's enough, then it'll be worth it. Here comes the Looper teleport, and they're using the Mimic.
Then ulti as well. Dragon does go over P1. Are they going to lose anything here? Zig straight to the front lines, locks down Looper. Last bullet from Keith's not bad. Varus ulti missing from Arrows. Arcadian's kind of got a flank hook. Lands in onto Zig, and now Arcadian's on the other side. Looks for Arrows. Rocket dives in, but he gets exhausted. That's going to be him taken down as Ryu manages to get it. Ulti's going to knock up Adrian. He dives down as Arrow goes down as well. Ryu now caught up. Blast code's very nice. And now he's under the safety of his turret. Fox aren't going to chase it.
Yep, 2 for 2 in the overall there, so still very even game.
Seems like there's some trades there. P1 do get the Drake out of the deal, so a little bit extra on that objective, but we'll see if Fox can do anything else. Looks like they'll just catch this wave as that's pushed back in, and we'll have yet another even fight here.
Back to farming for a little bit, and then it'll be back to looking for those picks. And this was, once again, a fight that Echo Fox, they're trying to stop the Drake. Acadian looking for a way to get over and possibly steal it, so he ends up on the back side of the fight here. And then P1, they get split as well. They all decide to go different directions, so it's a 3-on-3 on this right side, and then a 2-on-1 on the left, actually, because Looper turns and makes the right decision here. Actually just sack the fight on the left side, not go for the Rengar and the Maokai, and instead try to lock down some members. So good target selection there from Looper to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, ulti, I think Ryu kind of killed Adrian there by flashing in front of him. So perhaps not too happy there. Another good little scuffle. As Keith actually in the top half of the map. Good damage onto Ryu, but again with the ultimates not feeling too much pressure. Looks like Protobot up for Ryu. So we'll have a bit of extra help, but of course some extra burst once he completes that. Fox though looking to rotate here at top lane. Kind of make a first real move for an objective for themselves here, and looks like they should be able to get it, although Race is on in bottom lane as Arrow's going to work on the turret, so it looks like it'll just be a trade, but it will be Fox getting that first bit of extra gold from that turret, but it is answered swiftly in bottom lane.
Yep, and it's also spread out across multiple members here, but they have the tempo, so they get to make a play and keep shoving. They may get damage on this tier 2.
A couple of caster creeps, and they die quickly, so not much there as far as offensive pressure goes. Fox, though, are looking to kind of get some wards down, take a bit more space for themselves where they can. And oh, Ryu gets caught. Oh, it's going to follow, but that's all counted out by Ryu's ultimate on himself. Looping out, going to get himself knocked up. There's a good eat there from Gabe, protects him from Zig. Froggen, now CC it on the other side, going to get jumped up, but he leaps away. Zig very tanky though, just going to keep the rest of Fox out of it. No one down this time, but yet another aggressive engage.
Yep, and it just seems to be whoever has the tempo start trying to make a play in the enemy jungle, get control of it. Both teams understand that, and now they rotate to mid here off of a minion wave that's been shoved in. Ryu, no teleport, no way to get back here, and he's their primary source of wave clear alongside the Varus. So this turret will take a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, Arrow doing what he can. They do clear the initial wave up pretty quickly, and Arrow Gonna start throwing Qs down the line. And will actually take out the rest of the wave. Looks like Farm is on the mind for Froggen as per usual. Gonna duck down bottom lane and get that wave pushing in his favor. And Gate having some fun with Keith, I think, there, swallowing him up. But it looks like everyone's gonna go back and buy. And we have had some reasonable item purchases made as well. Infinity Edge is done for Keith, Essence Reaver is done for Arrow, and those first major tank items being the Spirit Visage up for Zig and Looper. So again, these teams have really fought a lot in the early game, and they're starting to get stronger. And I have to say, I love it. 16 kills already in a 19-minute game. That's the kind of League of Legends I like.
As a play-by-play caster, I totally understand that. But oh, hold on.
Oh, that looks like bad news, Bears. Little too much there for Froggen.
Instantly deleted there, but that's what they were looking for into the LeBlanc. That's why Phoenix One were saying, you can take LeBlanc first pick as long as we get Rengar, because this is a very comfortable pick for Inori, that even if the early game doesn't go well, he still knows how to just make these picks and be not where you expect. So if you don't get cheese during the early game like Acadian said, he'll cheese your mid laner if he's on the side.
Happy to do it at 19 minutes instead. And I think playing to Froggen's tendencies there as well. He's really been hanging out in brushes, trying to poke Rio a lot, and he was punished there.
They're trying to push them off this turret by making a flank and having the threat of the Lissandra and the Rengar. So the ultimate there from the Rengar is blown to get turret damage there. They were hoping for the whole thing. They didn't end up getting it, but it's enough damage that another one could possibly end up in that mid turret going down.
Good play, but the minion wave not being there or not lasting long enough means that it will stay up for now. And you can see both teams that have some side lane turrets, but these mid turrets are the very valuable ones when they're trying to open the game up, especially at this time. Rift Herald is gone, so he won't see an appearance today, at least in this game. And again, teams going to having to deal with these long lanes that have been created means that they will have to bounce the waves expertly. And despite all the attempts at starting something here, we have a Drake up in just over a minute. We've got those mid lane turrets that are kind of prime as well, and Baron is also starting to become in play. So I don't imagine the pace is going to dip too much, but the teams are certainly looking for the correct engage.
Yeah, what's going to happen here is you're going to see a 1-3-1 happen with the 2 teleports from P1 because these are unanswerable teleports. At least one of them is. So if the LeBlanc, if Froggen is trying to match Ryu on the bottom side like he is right now, there's a possibility he gets ganked again by Inori. So Inori needs to kind of stay out of vision until he is definitely going to make a play, because he could be top ganking the Nautilus, he could be bot making a play there, or he could be in the middle trying to actually engage on the siege. So it'll be a 3-on-3 in the mid lane unless the LeBlanc joins, sacks the bottom lane, but now she's on a timer. Can you clear this wave and deal damage to this turret before there is threat on your bottom turret?
Ooh,
They're taking a play top.
Tower could be a problem. Zig does leap onto Looper. Now Inori's going to follow him with a snare. Looper does go back to his turret. He's going to ulti one back in, but Inori's not in turret range. Zig is just tanking it forever, and Looper cannot lift her at all. That's not good news, but Zig, he gets the kill, and Inori gets out.
Yeah, had to use the W, but it swaps to Inori. No problem there. Now there's pressure on the top side and the bottom side of the map. For P1, they have the tempo on the top. They could go after the turret. They can come into flank, so this siege is a little bit of a bait, but you see right there, as soon as they back off, Zig goes back to top lane.
And I like the rotation mid there from Fox, but pressure from Ryu and a nice answering gank in the top lane does give P1 momentum back. It really has been some small exchanges as far as map control has gone so far, but both teams playing very crisp and maybe even setting something up here in the top lane as well. Zig's got a nice cannon wave to try and do a good chunk of damage here, and with no one to answer it, I think that may just go down.
Yep, you had to be careful though as well, because there's that tendency for some top laners to be like, I need to TP and save it, but they have no idea where Inori is. So if he TP's back in, it could be what happened to Ryu around level 3.
Well, looks like a couple more members of P1 will move up towards the top lane, so they're going to look for any stragglers. Echo Fox smartly just giving it up. Looper is there, but he's playing very far back.
Yeah, and he blew his flash previously, so trying to pick on him a little bit there, but P1 definitely playing the map rather well right now, and it's honestly because they have the 1-3-1 composition with the double teleport, they get the ability to do so. The LeBlanc is not being that impactful at the moment.
And look, you know, Ryu did have a rough start, certainly with those 2 early ganks coming in, but has redeemed himself with that strong pre-10-minute team fight. I will say, I think Zig might be the hero right now. 4-0-3 on the Maokai, has had excellent coverage as far as where he's supposed to be on the map, and that initial TP really got Ryu the kills he needed to get back into the game.
And Zig is a fantastic tank top player. Like, we were talking about, this is a good barometer for Looper and how he operates, because they're going to play tanks against each other, so it's how you coordinate with your team. And Zig definitely has a leg up over Looper on this team because he's worked with Inori before. He's been playing with these guys for a bit. Phoenix One did do a Korean boot camp back in December. And so they are very serious about winning this split or placing and going to the playoffs because they missed out on it last split. And Zig has been talking last week about how he didn't think he was a good teammate when he first started his League of Legends career. He's been working on that. It's really strange because he's like the nicest guy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just trying to be the best teammate possible. But 4-0-3 on Maokai could have been 007.
Could have been. Damn you, Zig, stealing all these kills. Well, he'll take it at this point as P1. Gonna give the red buff over to Inori. Actually looking quite strong himself. He's gonna pop the ulti. He's looking for something. Looks like Froggen could be on the menu. Ree here as well, ready to lock him down. Froggen's gonna dash his way out. Inori's found him, and Froggen has to get his way out. There's a flash follow, but the chain has landed. Gates here as well. Everyone's coming through, and now they're gonna turn it around. Inori gonna get himself locked down, but he will escape redemption. Pop for a bit of extra healing as Ryu. Maybe get himself out of waves there. No, it's okay. A bit of extra movement speed there as Arrow does take down the Jhin.
And you saw as they were trying to make that play, Zig chases Looper down the lane. No teleport for you. No getting into that fight.
Uh-oh, Adrian though popped up there. Fox with another kill back. Arcadian with the Hydra takes one out.
Exactly what he needed to do there. He got that pick. The flash out of Arrow.
Better flash Arrow. Oh, Looper almost gets it. Blast going out to safety, but Fox, I think, straight onto Baron.
Yeah, they are actually going to go and attempt this Baron there. There's a control ward right there that sees Froggen.
Hi. Uh-oh.
I guess they're just baiting the teleport out.
Well, they got it. Zig gonna flash in though. Gate eats him up. Not much of that's enough. Safety. Ryu's here. Has to flash in there. Looks for Gate. Locks him down. He's gonna get the support. The chains maybe enough to get Froggen out of the way. Inori trying to chase him down as Ryu will take out the Tom Kench. P1. Nice defense there, and Fox not too sure about the Baron call there.
It was mostly to get the teleport out of Zig, I would assume. Like,
oh,
control ward right there.
Looper, very nice. Looking to lock one down. Arrow does have his ulti. He needs to kind of make it happen. Use it at the last minute as Arrow will get himself ultied up by Nautilus. Zig here as well to cover. Now going to move back in. There's a shutdown though for Keith as he takes down Lysandra, and now Arrow kind of getting jumped away. Arcadian who's doing a ton of damage. And Nori jumps in as well to zone away Froggen, and Arcadian gets his way out. No, Arrow snipes him on the other end.
Zig with the W is still roots. He didn't even go after him. It didn't put him over the wall, but Arrow follows up, and now the mid turret is going to go down. And this is the most important turret for both of these team competitions because it's the one that you have to stop the siege on against the most number of people at a time. So now that P1, they have the double teleports. Of course, they're down right now, but the fact that now they can siege 3 against 4 in mid and have a longer lane that the enemy has to push down, it's really good for the composition, and it opens up the roaming from mid lane as well.
Well, it all started here, but a great ulti from Gate kind of turned this one around. And Nori gets out, but the fight will continue.
Yeah, the wave there as well wasn't perfect, but it was enough to stop them from advancing. Ryu ends up getting the kill. They start picking up Keith, and now Acadian. Control ward, sometimes you feel like you have to kill them. He didn't get it. He didn't even get it.
Not worth. And there's that control ward that started it all. Echo Fox going to take it out this time. And you have exclusive vision over the Baron as that second control ward goes down as well. Gate assists him out of the Baron pit. And Acadian's going to get himself back towards his left side of the jungle. And Infernal Drake is coming up in a number of minutes. Not quite there yet. P1 do have those 2 Drakes as well. So it does feel like despite how chaotic this game has been, P1 are coming out ahead in so many little exchanges and kind of keeping themselves up here about 2,000 gold plus the 2 Drakes is actually huge 27 minutes in.
Exactly. And the fact that they're up in gold again, like they had to claw back from honestly a very demoralizing early game where you lose your summoners in mid lane and you go down 0-2. And Inori kind of using this for vision at the same time, trying to track them down.
Ooh, Ryu gets himself over. Arcadian locked up. He's going to jump in on him. Gate though, easy exit, and Zig was trying to dive in there as well, but a nice chain from Froggen keeps him back there. Don't forget P1 do have 3 turrets strong, which at this point is actually a significant advantage geographically. P1 just have so much more space to move with, and Echo Fox are really just responding as best they can right now.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen for a little while longer here, because P1 are going to move as 5, possibly have one person go off into the side lane and shove when needed, but they're going to wait until their teleports are back up on Zig and Ryu. Luckily, they're synced, so it won't be too much longer where they have to kind of play for vision around this area. So right now, P1's like, protect the Baron area, make sure nothing funny happens here, protect mid lane, don't lose this turret. Of course, it's very low, so it'd be hard to do, and wait for those teleports to come back up so they can start playing the map again.
Well, low is not dead, and keeping it alive is at least annoying for Echo Fox, if nothing else. As you can see, Ryu's just making sure he clears another way, but I don't expect him to overextend too much. Froggen's actually behind him, but Ryu pretty confident 1v1. Does have a Zhonya's and his ultimate now, and is almost rank 3 for the Frozen Tomb as well. So Froggen, yeah, he doesn't really fancy much here. He's going to have to play back and take the farm as it pushes back in the top lane. And P1, a very safe Baron start here.
Yep. Baron gets started up. Looper on the bottom side. His teleport is actually still a few seconds away before Looper can come in here.
Nice wave looking for Keith. He's going to have to cancel the ulti. Ryu's over the top, but Acadian going to try and lock him down. Now Honori's looking onto Gate. Gate flashes the wall, but Honori follows him through. Arrow almost snaps him with the Varus ulti.
Sapling!
Oh. Sapling, not enough.
Not quite. Varus ulti also missed, like you said there, but that's, I believe that's to try and get the TP out of Looper because he's on the bottom side of the map, but his teleport wasn't up. If you can get the TP out of the Nautilus and then just run 1-3-1 for P1, that's the ideal situation. Whereas for Echo Fox, LeBlanc is actually about 1,500 gold down. And you're sitting there going, how did this happen? We tried to set her up for the early game, and it's just been these kills. These roams have been helping Ryu out so much. The point that now Froggen has to try to find a way to kill Arrow when he's building magic resistance now too.
Yeah, credit to Zig again as Ryu actually getting himself chased here, and Nori is the bait. Acadian locked down, but Luca with a nice hook forces Ryu's ultimate. And Nori going to try and get it down, but they're looking for something. Zig could run problems. Now he's going to try and zone them away. Keith just hitting him. That's not doing anything as Acadian blocked down there as well. Lupa taking a decent amount of damage, but Acadian wants into the backline. He'll get thrown down, and Zig is doing everything. Froggen though, ducked to the back. It takes out Adrian, takes out Ryu as well, and they're going to lock down Zig. Echo Fox turn it all around. There's a triple kill for Froggen.
And that's going to be the Baron on top of it too. Unless Inori can make a hero steal. He does have flash. He does have his ultimate available.
There's the ulti. He's going to go for it once. Froggen instead. That's a little greedy. He's going to get chained up here. Nice W to get out from under the first root. Jin though locks him down, and Echo Fox to be able to get this Baron. Inori just can't get back in now.
Yeah, that's enough damage to actually dissuade him, and they're following him all around the map. And Echo Fox back in the lead.
And we talked about it. Froggen, this player that needs a bit of help to get things going. But when he does, it looks a little like this.
Yeah, it was the chip down here just over and over again. A little bit of damage. Arrow can't do much in this fight. Him and Adrian are both rather low mana. And then Froggen, you watch him here. He's on the left side. Acadian gets not a knock up there, but Arrow flashed away. Froggen sits in the bush. Flash distortion into 3 people. Ryu proto melts backwards. Back in, and that's going to be the triple kill right there. Froggen with backline access, the flash distortion, perfect.
And you know, Zig, I talked about it. Took a lot to kill him.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, Froggen found the window in for the flank, and that was more than enough to wipe that team fight and give Echo Fox the gold lead in the game. And with the Baron up as well, Infernal Drake will be up in 1 minute and 5. Have to think they've got plenty of objectives to take now, and I think maybe most importantly, equalize that turret score and get themselves further and further ahead.
Yeah, and now we see Froggen back in the lead in terms of gold, about 700 up for himself. And that's huge. He is a big carry for them. We're talking about the laners here for Echo Fox, with Looper on a tank and being a little bit more in the department of helping out with the CC being a frontliner. Froggen and Keith, it's really on them to carry, and you can even tell Keith's trying to get his carry pants on because that's an Infinity Edge instead of going for, we've seen the Jin build where you go Youmu's into Infinity. We've seen the build where you go for the Essence Reaver. This just means he's looking for that early damage. It's his first item as well. And now with the Lord Dominic's regards as his 3rd item, it's basically like the Maokai couldn't really do anything to him. Time to get some armor penetration.
Well, looking good there as Echo Fox looking for another big, but P1 smartly staying away from a Baron-empowered Fox. And Drake will be up soon, but they want a turret instead. Like we said, those are the important objectives to get, particularly when you have the buff that helps you siege. Arrow, though, able to push that out. And Ryu actually just off to the side. Maybe trying to find an angle around, but Echo Fox is going to do this the easy way. They're going to take the Drake and then move down to the bottom lane and just going to equalize all the outer turrets that P1 already have.
The fact that they get this Infernal Drake and it doesn't fall over to P1 as a second one is huge for Echo Fox to stop P1 from getting back into this game. They have the Baron, and now they have the ability to shove up towards that tier 2 turret, and with Looper having priority on the top side, it's going to have to get answered by this Lissandra.
I mean, for all the double TP split pushing that P1 could do, it's very difficult or maybe impossible or close to with the Baron up as well.
Yes, so what they're doing is they're actually going back and forth between where they have cannon minions and where they have strong waves. Arrow has to sit mid, spend a lot of hits on killing those minions and pushing them out, but they end up delivering a wave to the top side, get that turret down, and now they're going to try to do that with the mid and possibly mid-bottom like they just did.
And you can see this lead is really growing out. 4,000 gold up now for Fox. I think almost doubled the lead they had after they won that first fight. They got from the Baron, and they're going to keep taking turrets here. So P1, who looked pretty in control of this game, have actually lost control pretty swiftly.
Yep, and now this turret's going to take damage. Looper on the bottom side shoving that wave in, but it's going to be on hard engage here because Inori, he's on the bottom side of the map. There are a decent amount of wards here covering the direction. You could see right where LeBlanc is. There's a lot of control wards down this area to the river where it's so hard to actually flank and get in as the Rengar. So now Fox are going to try to take control of this part of the jungle to go between mid and bottom and try to get another turret off of that.
Yeah, Loop is going to comfortably take that bottom outer by himself, and maybe the team will join him. See if they can't do extra damage. Looks like Baron buff has dropped off though, so extra power taken away. Looper has plenty of space to just punch the turret to death. And looks like Zig's not going to make it in time to save it. So all told, pretty big Baron power play. 4 turrets to 3 now in favor of Echo Fox, and that big gold lead there as well, as he really is taking his time. Nautilus does not do things quickly, that's for sure.
I say shout out to the camera right now. Shout out to our observers.
He did it.
Followed me as I was talking about the wards. They knew exactly what I was talking about. Entertainment value on top of it. They got everything. Welcome to the end of LCS 2017.
2017. It's going to be a good year as Arcadian takes down the Wolfcamp. Froggen looking much healthier than before. 3 damage items with another one in the works. With the extra Fiendish Codex on top of the Void Star, Abyssal, and Ludens. We talked about Keith already. QSS and those 3 damage items are looking good. And Zig, he was very far ahead as far as tank items go. Lupe has equalized that as well. So again, it is going to come down to kind of those next big fights. Fox will have an advantage going into the next one, but P1 have shown that team fighting wise, looking pretty crisp as well. So going to need at least one big objective to try and open up this game.
Yeah, and maybe it's that Baron that comes back up. You know, it'll be about 3 minutes at this point, I would imagine. And I was just looking at the items, and QSS also purchased for Froggen, making sure he doesn't get locked up by the LeBlanc. And this game, like you can see, just been back and forth, hills and valleys all throughout. But people are now buying items like the lockets coming through for Zig, because Adrian is actually going to go for what I believe is going to be Mikhail's here, so that they have a way to get out of CC. Everybody's just looking for ways to stay alive, to get healed, make sure that these burst assassins don't just blow them up with the LeBlanc or the Lissandra.
It was Zig. They found Keeper. Gate eats him. That's good, but the teleport's coming in from Looper. Tidal Wave, who's going to keep moving through, and Gate's taking a good chunk of damage. Arcadian in there as well. As Ryu's going to get knocked up, and Zig goes into the air as well. Adrian eating damage as Froggen, looking for another flank. He's found his way around. Needs to go back in, but gets himself exhausted. Keith goes down as Inori. Not able to take him down. Ryu just launches himself into the team. Arrow's going to get the shot down, and P1 looking to clean up the team fight. Looper sniped down there as well for his GA. Arcadian's got one, but he doesn't have it for long. Arrow is going to flash his way back towards him, and that's 3 kills already. Make it 4 as Looper goes down, and Arcadian's the only one left alive. He'll be safe, but P1, huge team fight win there.
Absolutely huge. They'll get this mid turret. They're going to get at least an inhibitor turret off of this as well. And look at that. Inori on Rengar, I mean, this is his baby. This is his champion. And he comes up huge in that team fight.
We talked about it being one big moment to open things up. This inhibitor's going to fall on P1 aren't done. They're going to rush in and try and finish the game.
Barely any wave clear. They have a lot of damage with multiple AD characters here. The TP coming through as well. Arcadian's going to try to stop it.
Got to do something, but it's not quite enough. Adrian's still alive, and Arcadian doing what he can. Gate moves his way back in, but Arcadian gets locked down. Adrian does fall on the other side, and Gate's there for defense. P1. They got one turret, but that wasn't the Nexus.
It's a necessary sacrifice from Arcadian. He made the right play there to try to disrupt. If you're damaging the Rek'Sai, of course you're not damaging the turret, so it takes longer. There's 19 seconds before they have Baron back up here, and it'd be very difficult because it's a Rek'Sai with ultimate to actually go for the Baron and try to get it before he's back up. You have a very small window to do so. And this is just really good because Zig with the flank comes through. W has to be used on him from Gate, flash out, and then he still gets knocked up, so Keith has to flash as well. The Redemptions come down in the middle of the fight, and now you can see Inori just hanging off on the side, building up. He even used an air Q there just to get a root onto Gate, and then he jumps in, kills Gate and Keith with one swing, and hold on!
We're at it again. Gate locked up, and he's looking to go down. Keith's up, and Zig's on top of him. That's going to be a crushing takedown as Ryu actually goes down on the other side. Keith lives for a little while longer as Arrow's still firing away. Froggen down for the double as Zig takes that one down. Rek'Sai zoomed into the fight as Gate's going to get himself chased. Inori now dominating, gets another, and Looper just might get out here. The wave's down as well, and there's another 4 kills for P1.
And that most likely is game here with P1 having having no inhibitor in this lane, they're going to try to go for the win.
They are going to go for it here, and Arcadian is trapped all the way back into the top lane, and Nori just straight onto it. Going to sacrifice himself for a bit of extra damage here. He's got a GA. He can live for a little while longer. And P1, they're going to see what they can do. And Nori still tanking. It does go down on Arcadian. He just can't get in. Phoenix 1 going to turn their arrows towards the Nexus and take it down. Back-to-back fights and a great game 1.
A turbulent game, but P1 come out on top. Crazy start.
Certainly crazy. Action-packed all the way around. Almost 40 kills in that game, and it was 38 minutes long. We were actually pretty much a kill a minute as far as that went. And P1, we talked about just how chaotic and how scrappy that game was going. It felt like in the moments, in the times where they needed to be together and have those team fights, they just seemed a bit more practiced.
Yeah, just a bit more over Echo Fox there. The Korean boot camp seemed to kind of play out in that game 1. They were able to rotate very effectively between the lanes when they wanted to get an advantage. But Echo Fox also showed that they do have a mastery as well. When they had the Baron buff, they knew how to play it slow and play for those lanes, play for those tier 2 turrets correctly. And I gotta say though, it was kind of Ryu and the fact that Inori was on Rengar that really sealed the deal on this game, because they got backline access in those later fights where Keith and also Gate, didn't matter yet, a Tom Kench, they were still getting blown up.
And Froggen, you know who's trying to get in and do stuff, but clutch exhaust from Adrian as well, I will say. They kind of learnt their lesson after that one big team fight flank.
Takes one
almost got Echo Fox, winning that game effectively. So I think you can see that the same team is still there for Echo Fox. They are methodical. I do like seeing them a bit more kind of pepped up and taking a bit more action, but P1 again, just a little cleaner in that first game.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a much faster game for Echo Fox in terms of tempo early. It just felt like they didn't know exactly what to do with that lead or how to punish hard enough from the mid lane there. It didn't manifest in a CS advantage, but there were 2 kills that went over to Acadian early, and then it didn't really get off the ground, and it just ended up falling to P1's skirmishes.
Well, it was certainly a lot of fun, but for a breakdown on that win from Phoenix 1, we are going to send it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Phoenix 1 picking up the first victory here of the series. And I want to get to that point that Zyrene was making about the mid lane and those early kills secured by Fox, but not till after we take a look at Champion Select, because here we see Phoenix 1 crafting a pretty intelligent Champion Select here, opting to not go for what are, at this point, very early on in our 2017 competitive season, seen as the standard red side bans.
Yeah, I mean, the standard red side bans, you pretty much always see LeBlanc, Rengar, Camille. That's like the norm, right? You ban the super OPs, don't let them first pick it. But this is something that I've been kind of wanting to see as some innovation. They leave up the Rengar, they leave up the LeBlanc, and I think this is something that really Echo Fox wasn't super expecting. And because of that, Phoenix 1 had crafted answers for either side of it, right? If they take LeBlanc, you're going to take Maokai and Lissandra, and you have to assume that they have answers if they're going to be taking the Rengar too. Plus, you have Ryu who's comfortable on the Assassin and LeBlanc, and you have Inori who's a Rengar specialist. So I think it was a super intelligent draft, and a lot of props to them for that.
Yeah, I mean, aided by the fact that they do have players on their rosters that can very much play those champions at a high level, so they'll be happy taking either. And then, as you mentioned, okay, Rengar falls into our hands, but we have the counters for this very powerful LeBlanc that we handed over. But let's go ahead and now talk about what happened early in the game before we get to some replays. We're going to talk about this Acadian coming out and being aggressive with those early ganks mid, getting the flash and the kill, and then the return gank. Yet it didn't net that large of a lead for Froggen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's brutal because this is exactly the kind of start they needed. They needed Froggen to get ahead. They needed him to be able to roam and kind of take over the map in the early mid game, because it's too hard to fight on LeBlanc in these team fights, I feel, in the late game. And Acadian, true to his word, was aggressive, but it didn't pan out.
Right, yeah, so the 2 early kills going to him. LeBlanc not really able to establish much of a CS lead there. Then we go ahead and jump to this Dragon fight, which is going to be our first replay. Phoenix 1 completely turning the tide to this game, picking up 4 kills.
I mean, this was after Ryu had just died twice, so the fight starts off pretty well. P1 is going to lose someone there, but they all come into the fight. They're all able to collapse. Ryu is here. Looper TPs, he kind of walks in by himself. You can see Froggen has not yet arrived to the fight, and when he does arrive, he's not really able to get that much done. So it just looked like some kind of poor coordination here, some miscommunication as they were kind of coming in one at a time, and it really let Ryu get right back into the game, because Ryu gets 3 kills off that. He's able to be ahead of Froggen after that point when they had put their whole game plan into getting him ahead.
Right, exactly.
Getting
But
behind, rather.
I like what you mentioned here in terms of kind of the sloppiness of the fight, right?
Yeah.
In that we did have maybe some late TPs. Froggen's not all the way over there. So neither of these teams 100% in position. And this was kind of a theme throughout the game. That while, these teams might look like better, renditions of their summer split rosters, there's obviously still some kinks to work out here. Let's jump to our next replay, 35 minutes into the game. This is a P1 fight here, kind of near the Dragon, or Baron Pit, rather.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one where Froggen was able to come up big. And you can see the backline kind of grouping up a little bit here. Ryu and Adrian and Arrow all do stack up. And then Froggen, he sees his opportunity. He goes for the flash distortion onto the clumped up backline. He's able to pick himself up 1. He's able to pick up 2 and closes out the triple. And that was just an incredible team fight from Froggen, showcasing the power of the LeBlanc. And that did get them the Baron, but really, that was kind of the lone bright spot in the later half of the game.
Right, and again, as you mentioned, where they had drafted tools like the Lissandra and the Maokai to deal with the LeBlanc, Zig was not able to get onto Froggen in that fight, and you saw how much havoc Froggen was therefore able to on the back line. And then, of course, all right, Echo Fox is in control. We've got the Baron. We've got to have it go back the other way one more time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the game-winning fight here by Phoenix 1.
Yeah, this was a good one, and it's just a case of too many people to peel for. You can see Gate, he eats up Keith, he spits him back, but there's so many threats, and Ryu was able to play this fight particularly well. As soon as Keith opens up, Ryu sees his opportunity, goes straight in, nice combo using the Proto Belt, self-ult, they clean up 2 in the back line, and with them down, they have no damage to really clean up the rest of the fight.
Yeah, some really good patience by both him and Inori there off to the side of the fight, waiting for Jin to enter, that ultimate state where he's static. He's not going to be able to get out of there in time when you see the claw coming in. Of course, the game doesn't end right here. It extends for a little bit longer, but Phoenix 1 picking up that game 1. Let's talk then about player of the game. Going to Zig this time around, I think, kind of the core of it going to Zig is the fact that as a team player, he's in the right place in the right time. When it came to those TPs and the actual team fights, he seemed to have a little bit more wherewithal than Looper did, former world champion, when it comes to those macro elements.
Yeah, I mean, Zig more than held his own, and I think this player of the game was a tough one. It could have gone to Ryu, could have gone to Inori, could have gone to Zig. I don't think that there was a clear option, but I think Zig played very well from the top lane. He was solid on the Maokai, and I think he is deserving of the praise.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now let's go ahead and kind of look towards game 2 here real briefly. For Echo Fox, it didn't come together with that mid-focus strategy. Is that enough to say that we need to go to a different lane, or is that just making different or more adjustments to our mid-centric style?
I mean, I think you can still play around mid. I think the problems came in the draft. I think P1 straight up outdrafted them, outthought them in Champion Select, and then they were able to execute from what was already advantage.
All right, we'll see if they can do it. We're going to take a quick break while our contenders take a breather. We're going to step away, but stick around because we'll be right back for game 2 of Phoenix 1 versus Echo Fox.
Whack me in the back of the head every time I don't look in a gold card.
Okay.
Whack me. There we go.
I'm gonna stop.
Oh.
I can't afford for you to have brain damage.
Because this is Acadian, the rookie, trying to make a play.
Going in, Ryu does get a great fight, but it's not enough. Still knocked up, and there's first blood for Rek'Sai. The element of Nori trying to get some damage back. Looper is going to get crushed down. There's a double kill for Ryu. Acadian still trying to find it out, but Froggen goes in. Kill arrows to Inori as Acadian takes it down. Now Ryu trying to get his way out to safety.
No, don't kite back. You can fight.
Okay. I'm on Maokai right now. I'm on Maokai too. Lissandra? Yeah.
Lissandra, step.
Yeah. Okay.
Do Baron after. Do Baron now. Fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Needs to go back in but gets himself exhausted. Keith goes down as Inori. Not able to take him down. Ryu just launches himself into the team. Arrow's going to get the shot down, and P1 looking to clean up the team fight. Phoenix 1 going to turn their arrows towards the Nexus and take it down. Back-to-back fights and a great game 1.
I think a lot of people come to the LCS and they're just like, oh, like I'm in the LCS now, I gotta play super scared. I gotta put some wards down, like I can't make any plays, better not like make mistakes. But I'm pretty set on like when I get to the LCS, I don't want to have like regrets when I play. And I think a lot of people have, like especially from NA Challenger, they've come to the LCS and they've just like they've played so scared, and I like look at that and I'm just like, I don't want to do that, So I just really want to be aggressive, I guess, keep my aggressive play style that I've always had. So yeah.
Certainly strong words there from Arcadian. Welcome back, everyone, for Game 2 as these new squads have to answer one question. Can P1 maintain the momentum into Game 2, or Echo Fox going to find their way back in? For me, Echo Fox, right idea, as always. Strong players, individual talent looks there, but team play looking better from last year, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, and like, how does that game look if those first 2 kills go over to Froggen instead of Acadian, and then he has a little bit more of a lane advantage, right? And then that ends up like getting him a power spike a little bit sooner. Can he punish Ryu? So right now, Echo Fox, though, they did have an advantage. They weren't able to push it. They weren't able to utilize it. And I think a lot of that has to come from Looper in the top lane. He does need to step up here. And we saw some teleport plays not work out. That fight that they went over at the analyst desk that ended up with the score lines being even afterwards, a lot of that was Looper comes in. No like flash used there and no ultimate used there when he had the chance to do so.
Yeah, and again, a lot of those things are longer term things for Echo Fox. You don't just, after one game, suddenly have amazing team chemistry and synergy. These things do take time to build up, and I think shot calling felt like more of an issue there in that game. So it will take time, but every single game you need to be refocusing on these things and thinking how you can improve them.
Exactly. It's like, what do we play around? What is our objective at all times? And so Echo Fox, they have struggled with leadership a little bit. Froggen talked about it last year when he was saying Rick Fox is being a little bit of a leader for him and empowering him with these qualities. Now they have new members on the squad, mixed language team on top of it, and they have a rookie as well who does have a lot of control in the early game. So I think Acadian, it'd be best suited if he gets a little bit more in that shot calling role and has those great plays that he could just see them coming, because he was what started the turnaround from P1. He was the one who was aggressive, and there was a turnaround on him. So maybe a little bit more time, he can identify those situations where it is the time to make a play.
Maybe, but I think the analyst has also pointed out that draft is something that could also be cleaned up here as well. So we'll see what happens in our second champ select of the series. Rise and Cannon banned out from P1 once more. Looks like Loop is not getting that one anytime soon, and Camille and LeBlanc banned out on the other side also. So pretty standard stuff so far. Echo Fox clearly respecting the power of LeBlanc, first picking it and now banning it away. And Phoenix 1, what's the last ban? It is Malzahar for the first phase.
All right, no Ashe ban here from Phoenix 1. This leaves Rise on the table as well as the Zyra, but there's also the Kha'Zix on top of that. So see what happens here.
Rengar being banned, of course, so Inori not going to get that one again. I feel Echo Fox like, you know what?
Yeah.
We can try this once. We're not going to try it again. And P1 says, don't worry, plenty more carry junglers in the pocket as Inori pulls out Kha'Zix.
Yeah, I know that the feeling right now is Rengar is the S tier or the God tier, and then right below for carry junglers, it's Kha'Zix. And some people will say that he's a very good matchup against Lee Sin, who is right next to him in the tier list. So goes right down the tier list. Doesn't care that Malzahar is banned. Doesn't go for the Zyra, right? Still on the table, which I wouldn't expect to be picked up by Echo Fox unless they fear a misfortune pick as the counter.
Well, they've got 2 picks to make here, and Ashe was banned last game, so they will take Ashe as their first of 2 picks here. And like you said, there's kind of a lot open here. Zyra is the obvious pick, especially to pair with the Ashe lane, but we'll see what Echo Fox do want to take for themselves.
An Ashe Zyra lane would be quite powerful, but if you do expect there to be a counter in the misfortune, you have to wait on it a little bit there. Or if you think that the jungle might get pinched in the second round, then you take it now.
Yeah, pretty safe pick there on Rek'Sai as well. You mentioned Lee Sin as being one of those other strong junglers. Rek'Sai pretty close to that top of the pile as well. So Arcadian had a good looking game there in the first one, takes the comfort back into game 2.
It's definitely not a Rek'Sai favorable matchup, of course. A lot of pressure coming in from the Kha'Zix. And right here, yes, with Ashe off the table, the Varus falls into Arrow's hands again. Actually, omits going for the Jhin, thinks that this might be a little bit more powerful here in the situation. And I don't blame him. I think that up against the Ashe, it is quite a good pick to have.
Well, we'll see what else they do take here. Phoenix 1 considering Malphite. Great game 1 there on the Malphite and very safe standard pick, so they will lock it in for themselves. Echo Fox, though, have been given the chance to take away something quite good here. Zyra, again, screams to be the obvious pick. We know Gabe plays it. He was playing it last season, so we'll see if they do want to take it or if they have something else in mind. Because remember, the second phase of bannings will change a lot moving into the last 4 picks. So Echo Fox need to be very careful with how they proceed. And that's the Nivea for Froggen.
Countdown is still going down, though. So
yeah, for the ban. There's a ban that comes, so that's the Nivea locked in for Froggen.
You're right. It got me. So yeah, it is locked in 100%. Get excited. Okay, sorry. I ruined the hype.
And now they banned Syndra, which I think makes sense, because if there's one matchup you don't want to run yourself into, it's probably Syndra, isn't it, Nivea?
Quite the good matchup there. And then now they're just going to go back and forth here. It looks like a pinch on the support pool. Don't want to see that get picked up next. It'd be so hard to actually engage on an Anivia with a Zyra, so it's a good takeaway there. And now Phoenix One, what does Ryu have to play into the Anivia? I'm sure that Froggen knows most of the matchups back and forwards, I guess. Backwards and forwards, there you go.
And there's Cassiopeia. Froggen's like, take out all these good champions, give me Anivia. Certainly had wonderful performances on it all year long, really, last year. And of course, it is the trademark pick for Froggen himself. Phoenix One, though. What does the other ban look like? Do they continue banning away supports? We saw Karma as a takeaway in the last game, so perhaps they take that here. Rumble, actually, another good champion for Looper, so kind of trying to get at his champion pool a bit, and it's great into Maokai, so Zig, I think, being more unable to succeed once again in the top lane. And I actually really like that last ban from Phoenix One. It serves multiple purposes here in the draft.
Yeah. Also focuses, it forces him onto something else, and there you go. The Singed for Looper in the top lane. It has been played into Maokai multiple times now over in the LCK. It is considered by a lot of the Korean top laners a really good pick because Maokai just can't deal with it. Singed causes pressure by just shoving the wave incredibly easily, has the option to proxy, and hey, he's not bad at actually setting up ganks either.
No, certainly not. I mean, team fighting certainly favors Maokai as far as that pick goes, as Orianna is going to be the lock-in there for Ryu, so he'll just take the nice, safe, straightforward mid laner for himself. And what's the last pick here for P1? We saw Karma ban in the last game, so maybe Adrian's going to pick it up, and he does lock it in. Phoenix One now done with their draft. Is there anything fun left for Echo Fox here for the final pick?
Nothing fun left. No. Yeah. I mean,
it's just funny.
Surprise us.
We have two trademark champions that actually seem quite good here in both Anivia and Singed with Froggen and Looper respectively.
And now they have to go down for apparently support here. Unless that's Singed support. And nope, unlucky. Teammates don't want him to play it.
No, not yet. There's Gate actually on the Thresh, which was also banned in the last game. Yep. So the two supports that were banned in the last one are going to get taken here. Zyra was smartly banned away from Phoenix One, and kind of looking down the draft, I think Echo Fox have done a little bit more maneuvering here as far as their picks go. Singed, of course, is a champion that we haven't seen too much of, but seen a little bit, particularly with all the tanks. Froggen going to be very solid on the Anivia, but it's not a standout mid lane pick. On the other side, though, Phoenix One have really just drafted as best they can given their opportunities, and I think had some very smart phase 2 picks and bans as well.
Yeah, Echo Fox has a lot of disruption here in the middle of a team fight, but if they botch their engage, it is borderline impossible to re-engage and get back onto Arrow, because the Singed has to run through everything. The Anivia would have to get like a really good wall. You'd have to land a hook or an Arrow, but if the Karma is able to speed him up, it's going to be so hard to catch him with an Orianna on top of that too. And then you have the Maokai for peel. So whoever gets an advantage and you get to play back and the enemy has to siege into you, then you kind of have an advantage with both these team compositions.
And again, it feels like if we are going to get the same style of pretty fast-paced, kill-heavy League of Legends, it is just going to be the team coordination that will bring them all together. I wonder if Looper maybe has a different opportunity now, because again, the teleports for team fighting weren't working out as well. Singed isn't quite all the way to Shen as far as split pushing goes, but plays much more like a split pushing top lane tank than a traditional team fighting tank.
Absolutely. I mean, Looper, little bit of a hiccup there last game with joining the team fights and all that. So now just play Singed, go proxy waves, go have fun. They have nothing to do with the team. Don't bring them towards us at all, and we'll be good to go.
We tried the teamwork thing. Didn't work out. We're going to try the opposite as we are onto the roof for game number 2. Phoenix One up 1 here in the series, so a win here will secure them a sweep and a win in the first week of the LCS here. But it looks like something pretty fun here for Echo Fox.
Yeah,
they're going to move out as 5 towards the bottom lane.
They have the Q already
leveled up. He's
so,
ready.
Yep. Ranked up Q for Froggen, looking for a pick here in the bottom side of the map.
I just love the panache. Looper, of course, with his own skin. And Adrian, he's in trouble. He does get away to safely. Gonna put a ward down. That's an ambitious Q. Ward goes down. So first CS goes to Froggen, the CS master.
And Arrow goes back into the...
He's like, gonna check it out.
Another one!
Got it again!
Ooh.
Froggen's very good at this game.
I mean, they're gonna run out of wards at this rate. Gotta put them down before they get there. There you go.
You can see wards being answered on the other side as well for P1. And they will spot Echo Fox moving out. So no one's getting caught there. Nice kind of smart spread out from Phoenix One.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Inori, he goes and he wards the red buff to make sure that if Acadian starts on that side, which is the side that you usually start on as the Rek'Sai, so you don't bring your bottom lane to come leash for you, or I mean, you'd be even starting on Wolves or Blue, which isn't that great for Rek'Sai. You usually want that red immediately. And Acadian, quite conscious of the fact that there could be a ward there, so he just is waiting until the last moment.
And no help, actually, by the looks of things either. Usually see some
Classic
weakness for the
Singe.
junglers. That's true. He's busy. Lupa's got work to do. He's already running towards the wave. As Gate hanging out, bit of harass down. Ooh, nice playback as well. Certainly practiced on the champion, so bit of early harass isn't too bad, but we'll start playing the lane out as per normal now. Looks like this time P1 certainly looking much better as far as the early push goes. Gate really sacrificed a lot of his health on the time catch last game to make sure that didn't happen. This time around they'll have a bit more pressure as Froggen, still level 1, has taken damage already from Ryu. Bit of extra ball damage there as well from the command attack. Orianna, always a tough laner to go up against, but like you said, Froggen, he knows every mid lane matchup with Anivia.
Yeah, you would assume so. I've been playing it for years, and into Orianna, it's kind of like a classic. We're going back.
We're going very far back.
Like 3+ seasons at this point. Now, Looper does have the shove advantage right now into Zig. He got to the lane a little bit sooner. We'll see if he goes for the Dark Seal build, the multiple Dark Seal build.
Very nice from Froggen. Throws out a bunch of Qs, finally lands one, and that's going to be good damage onto Ryu, but once again, still pushing things through. This looks like P1 win starting to surge. You can hear some non-believing Echo Fox fans in the crowd. As I know, are going to make his way towards this right side Scuttle Crab. Take that one down, get some control towards the bottom lane. Arcadian's here as well, so could maybe see some action here. It looks like both junglers trying to cover a potential 3-on-3. Again, Honori kind of hanging around, seeing where he can get Arcadian actually back up and has been spotted by the looks of things. So Honori going to try and find him perhaps. See if he can't get some damage down. Arcadian a little low. Honori, what? Did he slice the big wolf? That is rude.
Stole it. Oh, almost got that too.
That would have been wonderful. Probably a little low in health as well, so Orianna could also have made her way through.
Exactly, and that's the big thing is Ryu had shove advantage. That synergy between Honori and Ryu seems to be alive and well right now and doing quite good. So he was able to shove up. He knew that Ryu would be able to reinforce first. Froggen chunked out. He does have teleport though on the Anivia, so it will be quite easy for him to get back to the lane.
Really nice looking hook there for Gabe. It doesn't quite connect onto Adrian. And looks like the push has continued here for the Karma Varus, which I think we expect 2-on-2 here. Keith though will just collect what CS he can. Should be just fine on Ashe. We've seen Ashe arrows already today have such a big impact in the mid to late game. Keith, I'm sure, has sharpened up those sniper skills as well. As Arcadian doing a little bit of counter jungling while he can. After his wolf is taken by Honori, he's going to go ahead and take the wolf camp away from him.
It's an interesting thought as well, like just thinking about how the draft went out and going back to that. The Anivia was picked before the second ban phase. If you expect the enemies to ban Anivia, there might be a better or more optimal pick there for them to go after on Echo Fox's side in that third place slot and wait on picking the Anivia so you know what it's into. But that's Froggen saying, I want to help my team. I want you guys to have the counter picks, or I want you to have a better idea of what you're going up against. I will play Anivia into anything.
And that's actually a great highlight in draft, although I think we might have to stop that thought for now as Honori's popped himself over the wall. Luther locked down by Zig, and this looks like first blood potentially. Arcadian shadowing around his own, and Honori commits for it. Now Arcadian going to move his way back through. Damage is there. That's going to force the flash from Kha'Zix. And now Zig still getting chased down. Arcadian wants it. He's got the flash. Honori doesn't have his, so another Pro Seek is going to do it. He's going to keep chasing it. He sees it. He flashes it. Looks for the auto, and there's the first blood.
Arcadian again, both games, first blood for the rookie on Echo Fox.
Rookies are doing well.
Yeah. NA junglers, NA talent.
NA talent looking good. Arcadian once again picks up the first blood.
Yep, and then Looper comes back, triple Dark Seals. So the Dark Seal, the increase on the potions by 25%, actually stacks, so he's getting 175% of potion efficiency out of that, and it's worth a lot. Froggen does have egg, though. He does have egg.
That's huge, though, to have to save it.
Yeah.
Froggen even wants smoke. This is safe, right? This is totally fine, guys. I mean, it's a cannon wave, so he doesn't really want to move away from it. I love this. This is very Froggen. Level 6.
Ah, there we go.
There's
Waiting on
Arcadian
level
covering
6
as well.
And good by Arcadian to actually come through and give Froggen a better back here. Ryu will walk up, maybe place the ball for a distortion. Yeah. Place it a little bit closer.
It's fine for Froggen, though, I think.
Yep.
Wasting a bit of Ryu's time.
Well, he does lose more minions to the turret while he's backing then. He will pick up experience for them, but...
It's a
fake!
It's all a ruse, Irene! Gonna take these two, and now he knows that Ryu's backed off. He has some teleport as well, so he kind of can come back at his leisure.
Bam.
And does Ryu stay? That's so rude! That's blind.
That's blind. Yeah. All right, Froggen. Oh, I see you.
He's in his head now.
All right.
Ryu's like, man, I got ganked twice last game. Now Froggen's reading my mind.
Yeah, and now it's really risky to stay here because if the Rek'Sai just shows up and now Froggen TPing back in, doesn't get to clear out the whole wave, he'll miss out on 2 minions there, whereas the teleport will allow Froggen to pick these ones up
He's
himself.
pulling the wave as well, so Froggen is really kind of putting his foot down in this lane. In the meantime, Adrian poking down back on Keith's arrow. Adrian still looking good here. Lantern out is nice. Arrow looks for the poke. Keith just barely misses out on a Q to the face. And Looper, here's the flippy. And Zig's like, he's not happy about what's going on here. I mean, he might not die, but what are you supposed to do against triple Dark Seal Corrupting Potion Sin?
It's the triple Dark Seal. No points in W here as well. Just going for straight damage to clear the minion wave and flipping. And also shoving the wave to possibly set up a gank here. We'll see. It's hard to gank a Maokai with Flash, but we'll see right here.
Looks like a proxy, but it could just be a gank. Arcadian gonna try and make it happen. Looper moves his way out, takes one more turret in, and he gets the kill!
Oh, and those Dark Seals, 2 across the board. Extra AP for the Singed in the top lane. These are actually such efficient buys as well, because the passive isn't unique, like I said previously. It increases the amount of HP you're getting from the Corrupting Potion. So you're basically thinking in the equation that every stack of Corrupting Potion will give me this much more HP times 3. So you treat it almost like, oh, he's getting a bonus Ruby Crystal on top of that, a Ruby Crystal and a half. And it gives him mana. And Singed passive gives him HP for buying mana. So it's even more on top of that. So Singed is actually quite tanky with just buying these 3 rings that don't have any HP on them innately.
And realistically, what's Zig gonna do? Like, he's a Maokai. This is why people pick Singed into the tank matchups, because they know they can just run around freely. And I like the build from Luke because, like you said, he's just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, and also, like, it is important to note that all those 2s are just for show.
Just for one.
Yeah, you only get one. That's unique, of course. But also on top of it is the sell price of Dark Seal is only about, I believe, 100 gold less than the buying price. So when you resell it, you actually don't miss out on a lot at all.
That's
It
good
helps
value.
ramp up.
That's what that is. As Kate's looking for a hook here. Adrian now can't be seen. That one's gonna miss, but Froggen's in. Looking for arrow damages there. Does proc the Thunderlords, and there's the arrow in. That one's gonna miss as well. Skill shots all going awry here for Echo Fox's bottom lane, but Froggen ahead in CS, got the early mana items, is starting to push in and roam down towards the bottom lane. Looper playing aggressively and proxying and now moving towards the mid lane. This is kind of what we expected from the top trio for Echo Fox, and this game seems like a much better execution of that plan.
Absolutely, and now that they have an advantage, and it's in the jungle, right? Again, and now it's towards the top lane, so it's not that mid lane, but the mid lane is holding on. There's a teleport for Froggen, so he can kind of just sit around and do what he wants. But this is Looper, hey, hanging out behind your turret, and now Maokai can actually counter proxy and just kind of sit by this turret. Not the same way that Singed does, but gives him a lot of presence.
Nice hook there, Flay not going to connect, but Gate didn't want to commit following the Q in. Again, it's just all poke at this point. Arrow is perfectly fine, actually, up in CS with a very slight item advantage.
Yeah,
the dagger.
It's a good lane advantage as well, just in terms of matchup. But hold on, Gate flashing
Gate's
forward.
Fox there as well. He's low, but they know Arcadian's coming. Arrow, who's going to move in as hook onto Adrian. Teleport's coming in, but Looper, he's there first this time. Arrow, now going to get locked down. Arcadian's going to try and take him out. They will get one, and now Looper once more. Zigdo is joining in as he's going to lock up Looper. Looper, not that tanky. He's going to get taken down. Arcadian gets out from under the tether, and it's a 1-for-1.
Yep, the 1-for-1 trade there. No teleport available for Froggen, and nobody had really advantage in the mid lane until Ryu just now, because he blew the ultimate to try and start a fight with Froggen to prevent him from roaming as well. And now, even though it seems to be even in numbers and Gate now walking back himself, it's going to be a little bit of a push to the turret there. Favor Phoenix 1.
Yeah, make sure he pushes all the way in. Bit of extra chip damage there. Will be nice for later. And like you mentioned, Ryu looking pretty healthy. Committed the ulti for just another bit of harass here. But Froggen, particularly without his teleport, wasn't doing too much here. So we'll watch this particular engage again.
Yeah, Gate took so much damage trying to engage this. The flash, exhaust, and then the hook hits Adrian because Arrow flashes out of the way. But it still ends up with a kill onto Arrow. And then Zig TPs in, zones them away so that they can pick up Looper. So the Ashe doesn't get much more of the fight afterwards.
Certainly nice to see Looper much faster on the teleport trigger this time, but stayed a little too long, got himself killed. Does have a catalyst now though, so it's going to be even more annoying.
Yeah. very good call there on the fact that Looper was able to pull the trigger a lot faster than Zig in that top lane. He has the lane shove advantage, so every time he proxies 2 waves and he's in between your tier 1 and tier 2 turrets, it's a little bit less safe for Maokai to do that and actually go that far up. So when you actually leave, Looper may have cleared out another minion wave, and so Zig will slowly fall behind in CS because of this.
And now Fox, you can see, roaming again towards the bottom half of the map. Keith's arrows back up. They're going to clear this control ward out of the way. They've got a Drake that they can try and get for themselves as well. It's a Cloud Drake, so not rushing straight towards it, but it is nice to see Froggen pushing out his waves more effectively, staying up slightly on CS, which isn't too bad, but trying to affect another part of the map while Looper has just complete control of the top half of the map. And you know, they're not getting kills for Keith just yet, but they're probably keeping Arrow and Adrian busy, and Arrow is a player that we do expect from Phoenix One to really make things happen. And both Inori and Arrow and Ryu as well, but has not been able to get anything going here. So Echo Fox are doing a nice job getting themselves ahead safely, but also stifling P1's plan.
Yeah, it's much better this game than it was in the last one. They had an early game advantage previously. Also off the back of Acadian, who still has 100 kill participation right now, 100%. Now it looks like he's ganking top lane. Yeah, the Maokai has to push up because he wants to catch the wave here, and they're throwing 3 people at Zig.
So the trap here flips. He's going to land in. Zig's going to flash Arcadian, follows for the knock-up. There's a knockback there for Zig, but Froggen's going to try and cut him off. He's got the flash. They might just dive. Looper going to start taking up the turret. Damage is starting to come in. Great wall from Froggen. Zig dodges the first E, but the stun's going to move, and he gets flipped again. And that's an easy kill. Froggen this time gets it.
And they don't get much on the other side of the map for Phoenix One. They have to shove in mid lane and bottom side, and there wasn't any really buffs up here for Inori to take. He just gets wards on the bottom side. And that's going to be another kill going over to Echo Fox off of the back of Acadian making a play. This time Froggen gets the kill on top.
Yeah, able to teleport in this time. Going to take some damage. His turret also under siege, but he's got his Rod of Ages now, so Anivia is going to really start scaling up now that the mana items are ticking up and stacking. And again, bottom lane pressure is nice here from P1. Looks like they will actually get the turret here.
There we go.
Collect that first turret gold. So Fox doing the right things here, kind of putting power where we expected it to be, and I think Keith and Gate, particularly on Ashe and Thresh, are fine to fall a little bit behind here. Although Arrow does have a pretty significant CS lead right now, at least the turret's being equalized by Looper as he does get the top turret for himself.
And the Singe seems to be a great pick for him. I remember played it back at Season 4 Worlds. Everyone's like, what is this guy doing? Has a skin for it, like you said. But that's going to be P1 getting themselves a Cloud Drake.
The advantage of playing to the bottom side of the map is you get the Drake, so pretty easy pickup, but it didn't seem like Echo Fox were too worried about not getting it.
Zig going after Acadian, trying to stop him from taking the jungle, but still he's going to pick that one up. And Looper 2 levels up right now over Zig and has the Righteous Glory completed. This has become a core item on Singe. You go for the Dark Seal build into, not the Roa, but into the Righteous Glory to speed yourself up, flip somebody into your team. Let's talk about Echo Fox. If they botch the engage, it's hard for them to continue the fight. But I mean, it's so hard to mess this up. You run straight at them, you're NASCAR.
Yeah.
That boy, you are NASCAR Sid.
Like we said, Maokai and Singe do not have equal weights on team fights, as this is a dive. Arrow's going to miss this. Keith flashes it, nice arrow onto Inori, but dive's still in. Adrian gets the kill this time. P1 even going to commit the teleport, might try for a push here, as Looper's also win. It's 2v4 escape. Hooks Zig in towards the turret. He gets played back in, and now he gets flipped back. So far towards the turret as Ryu's trying to save his teammate Zig. Tanking up to deliver the good walls there. Might actually not be enough. Great ulti there as Froggen's going to get X. And P1's going to move back in, but Looper wants back in. Arcadia moves in. Bounty Castle triple play. Going to turn it all around, and now Looper going to put down the goop. Force out Ryu's flash. That was a wonderful turnaround.
Yeah, Gate with the flash and the flay, the perfect setup there. They had to protect Froggen's egg, and P1 got a little bit greedy there. They wanted to kill Froggen even though he had that egg up. We're gonna see it again right here. Great flash from Keith, and then the arrow point blank onto Inori. Even though he's trying to dive him under turret, stays cool, but it causes Inori to dive a little bit far. The flip back from Looper, even though he TP'd on the other side. Gets Zig really far in there. He's got an alley-ooped him. And then the flash wall. Shockwave does deal a lot of damage there, and then the Kha'Zix W and auto attack on top of it. But this right here, Gate, beautiful. Walks forward with the flay, gets 3 people in it. And then the flash, and gets a flash out of that as well.
And we talked about it, Looper again, so fast to that teleport play. Picked up 5 stacks on his Dark Field as well. Just participating, and that push from P1, bit of an overextension, punished very well by Echo Fox. We're climbing up still in that gold lead. It's not massive, but again, they were always a measured team last year. I feel like if Frog and especially still leading it, that style of shot calling will be there. But the change seems to be not just the individual talent, but when they do want to go, they're significantly faster.
Yeah, and if you can find a lane to play to as a Cadian, where he has 100% kill participation right now, and so does Looper. Looper in the top lane has been contributing so much because he got that early help. This was the person that Acadian decided to unlock this game. Last game it was Froggen and it didn't really work out. And now this is huge because it's 2 levels up still for this Singe, and he's bordering the point where it's really unkillable for how far ahead of the game he is right now.
Ooh, that was a nice lantern.
Gate!
Ryu gonna whiff that ulti. But Gate once again with a nice big play on Thresh.
Yeah, this Thresh was banned away from him previously. The plays have been on point. Setting up these plays, not afraid. That's the thing, is Echo Fox, you were talking about it. Last year, it seemed like hesitancy. It seemed like, all right, we have a little bit of an advantage. What do we do with it? Gate and also Acadian seem to be really key in making these plays and being aggressive and taking the risk. They aren't really afraid of failure right now is what it looks like. They aren't afraid of flashing forward and looking dumb, like not getting a hook or something, because if you make that play work, you turn the team fight.
And maybe Arcadian and that rookie presence is bringing kind of more of that just style and just a bit more flair to their team and confidence, I think. You know, young players tend to be very confident, especially when they debut in the scene. Arcadian, he said he didn't want to play without regrets. He's doing that so far in the series, and the rest of his team seem to be rallying behind him. And the half of the map we expected to go well for Echo Fox is going exceptionally well this game. And despite the fact they still need to get some turrets down, they're not getting heavily out-rotated, they're not making as many silly mistakes as they might have done in game 1, and really looking to kind of clean things up, take those turrets, and likely fight for that next big objective. Infernal Drake up in a minute 50.
Yeah, and how do you deal with the pressure of this top lane Singe? Now 3 levels up, and he's just gaining more and more of a CS advantage. So he's a large part of that pressure that they'll need in order to start getting these objectives. The Infernal Drake, like you said, in a minute and 30. How does Looper play out the map right now as they lead up to it? Because he's on the inside track to help them get this turret, whereas Arrow is in the top side shoving, and then Keith is on the bottom side shoving.
Yeah.
So.
Smart of Echo Fox to not overcommit to the mid lane without their AD carry. Looper was looking for a potential dive, but all of P1 were there to defend, so good push and pull there from both sides. Looper actually going to go back towards that top lane and keep pushing it in. Froggen, plenty of wave clear here. Going to take down the wave very swiftly and force Ryu and Honori to stay put. And it does seem like they're just keeping control of this side of the river towards the dragon. Not too many wards placed in the area just yet, but kind of enough coverage to think that when it comes up, it's probably safe for us to take it.
And that's where Fox has their wards allocated. It's the right side towards the Infernal Drake. And the left side is rather barren for them, though. They don't have much coverage, but they have Looper on the top side of the map. And if he were to run into the Baron Pit and they were doing it, he could pop ulti and Crystalline Glass, Corrupting Potion, and just run around for a bit.
Froggen is teleport as well, so I think more opportunities to make plays stretched across the map rather than having to stick to them, maybe more traditional 4-1. In the meantime, though, plenty of time to kill. With 20 seconds till that Drake comes up, so Echo Fox going to see if they can't pick somebody off. They've got good pink ones on this side. That's a good hook as well onto Adrian. Keith is not following with the arrow, but they're keeping this side blind.
Looper ended up backing, sorry about that. He buys the Rylai's, selling the Dark Seal for himself, and now he's just an absolute menace. He has so much HP, even though he doesn't have much in terms of magic resistance. He looked like he had 144 armor there.
Not too shabby, and he's actually going to...
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. 66 armor. So I was like, I saw it for a brief second.
No, that was the AP, actually.
I was like, where's he getting that armor? That seems ridiculous. So he's mostly a health tank, and then when he uses the ultimate, it's a regen stats tank at that point for the Singe. He doesn't usually buy those items that give him those defenses, like magic resistant armor.
Look at the current damage on the P1 carries, and they probably don't have enough to really put a dent in him as Froggen bursting down Adrian.
That's a dent.
Almost two-shots him with a bit of help from Thunderlords, but the Infernal Drake, we're going to go over here to Echo Fox. Going to try and stop him, but Arrow well, hooked in there as Froggen's going to take him down. Ryu with a beautiful ulti going to turn around, but Froggen is going to pop this on his Honori.
Honori in the back!
Again, and he's actually flanked perfectly. Froggen turned into an Aegis. Keith's going to go down. P1 again, go off in this fight. They turn around, the Drake goes to Fox, but that means nothing. His Arcadian's shut down as well.
A huge turnaround, and the Baron is also on the table here. Looper, now he has to just push the bottom lane. He wasn't able to disrupt the fight enough, and they used so much there, but P1 come out on top, and now they're going to swing the game back into their favor.
We keep seeing it in straight up fights. P1 looking so good together. And Looper, despite the advantage in the top lane, isn't the same team fighting tank that Zig is. This Baron's going to go over to P1, and game is completely turned around now. They'll get the gold lead, they'll take the Baron. And Echo Fox, that was a hard punish for one little Drake.
Oh yeah, and that was Ryu and Inori, the synergy. Inori is flanking, Ryu gets a 3-man shockwave here, throws it there, boom, 3 people in, and Zig gets in immediately. Froggen forced to Zhonya's, and now Inori cleanup duty. Threat on the AD carry. Doesn't matter that the other people were chunked out. Your AD carry's still healthy, and it Kazuya is right on top of him.
Cadian gonna go down from the end there. Good protection actually on Arrow means he didn't go down.
These are such huge threats from Inori and Ryu right now. They're just playing out of their mind from behind. They're how they got back into the game last game. Zig came down as well, but he's been shut down this game. So Ryu and Inori seem to be actually really on top of their game right now.
And he reflects there in the team fight damage. Arrow also for not dying did a considerable chunk as well.
Looper did a drive-by. He's just there for 310 damage. Bye, guys. It looks unwinnable. I'm out of here.
He was kind of right by that point it was, so booking it maybe not the worst thing, but this Baron's going to be tough for Echo Fox to clean out. And if he has got good wave clear, but there's a nice shockwave again. Cadian almost sniped down. That's a kill. Ryu, barely enough damage. He gets himself arrowed, but he balls out there. Going to protect himself with the shields with a bit of help from Adrian as well. And with Arrow just firing high-powered Qs under these turrets as they try and protect them. It's a tough siege for Echo Fox to try and deal with, particularly this early into the game.
Oh man, I was looking at it again. It's a red buff. Froggen had a red buff, or sorry, Ryu had a red buff on him, and he just takes out Acadia from afar. And now this siege with the Baron buff, everybody has to back up. They're pinging that there's some wards behind them that Looper could possibly TP to, but Froggen
chunked out again, Adrian hook, but that's not enough. Good big shield, and they're actually diving in for it. Teleport under the top, and it's got Gate! He's already down, and that TP is just gonna move in. Looper can't do anything as that tower falls on P1, breaks straight through the middle. Looper caught down now as well, not nearly tanking enough through that, and P1, the train's still going.
There's so much damage here between the 3 members of Inori, Ryu, and also Arrow on top of it, and they're gonna try to push here. Froggen, he does have the ultimate to just clear out. So hard to siege against Sinivia, but they have the Baron buff. They have a lot of damage. Zig is tanky if he wants to tank.
Oh, Froggen, great.
Zig's gonna wait for it.
He's going for it. He got Froggen. Arrow takes him down. Arcadian gonna fall here as well. Inori straight to the backlines, ripping people to pieces. Gate can flame into the laser. No, not quite as his team protects him. And P1, they'll plow through Echo Fox. They'll take down the turrets, and they're gonna try and end this one.
At P1, amazing performance, both from comebacks here. Game 1 and Game 2. There's one for the road, and they're going to take it.
Looper barely respawns in time to see his team get ace. The Nexus open and bare as Phoenix One sweep through Echo Fox for their first game of the year.
Oh, Nori jumps in. No fantasy for you. Crazy performance there, and you can see the sigh of relief from Phoenix One, playing from behind at the start, but their team fighting on point. They have had fights from a deficit both times to get them back into the game, and it's just off of execution. Ryu, Inori, backline threats. It's once again, I feel like it'll be a lot of the same of what happened in that last game on the Analyst desk, because that Orianna shockwave, just like the way that Ryu entered with Lissandra in the last game, and then Inori backline threat.
And this time around, things did look much better from Echo Fox. Top half of the map all went well. Looper crushing his lane. Froggen doing perfectly fine and getting kills and skirmishes, and also roaming to try and affect other parts of the map. All the pieces were there for things to go right for Echo Fox. But Phoenix One, there is just something about this team, at least in this series. It just felt like when they grouped, they could do no wrong in a team fight.
Yeah, they have a very good macro game, but also it seems like they are on top of their team cohesion and on top of when to pull the trigger and how to counter. And you can see the experience from these guys.
And you know what? With 2 new import players, with a fresh new roster after last year, you know, they did have the boot camp together in Korea. They've had some time to gel together, but it's been, what, maybe a month? And that's a very cohesive looking team early on in the season. Very impressive stuff from P1.
It's great when you look at a team, it's like they can play and snowball the game, but to be able to come back from a deficit, even if it's small, but an early game deficit where you are down multiple kills and your laners are suffering, that's actually a really big feat, because you have to figure out how you're going to tackle the game from there. This Singe is out of control. How do we get around that? How do we circumvent that issue long enough to actually have the team fight we need? and they ended up coming out on top. Ryu deathless that game as well.
Certainly an amazing game there, but we have to look at Echo Fox. Still a solid performance. I said that, fixing team synergy does not happen, just overnight in a game, but they really did clean up a lot after that first game. It's always a rough road for Echo Fox, I feel like, particularly with how poorly they performed last split, but the pieces do seem to be there. I'm sure they'll work on these things, and this is just definitely a team that I think can just keep getting better week after week, assuming their attitude's right, and you have to think with Rick Fox behind them, this is a team with still plenty of potential.
Yeah, Echo Fox, of course, they made those roster moves, but like you were talking with Reggie, do they know how to use them just yet? It does take time to integrate people into the roster, to get their spirits up, to get the cohesion going, whereas P1, it does look like they've had a little bit more time to gel as a whole team, right? The boot camp coming in December, taking it very seriously from day one, and having about 8 days to scrim, but it seems to be paying off for them so far. And they were on an upward trajectory at the end of last split. Where does this actually place them in the standings?
I guess we're going to find out, because it's certainly a great start here, but we are going to pass it over to the analyst desk to talk about how Phoenix One sweep the series.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Phoenix One off to the races here with a 2-0. Both of our series tonight being 2-0. They're trying to get us out of here quickly this evening. But for Phoenix One, again, it was kind of what seemed to be a greater understanding of the macro game that let them ultimately take this game over an Echo Fox that was securing a lot of kills very early on.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, great team fighting as well. These guys still do have some bumps they have to iron out. Their team fighting was solid. You can see the individual skill really shining through for Phoenix One this game. Even up against Echo Fox on a lot of comfort picks, they still looked good.
Yeah, well, you mentioned comfort picks, and then, of course, the team fighting that came along with it. Let's go ahead and look at that champion slide, because we got Looper on his championship skin in Singe. That's a comfort pick. Anivia, comfort pick there. Ashe, the more utility type ADC for Keith, and then the Thresh that was banned in the prior game against Gabe. Boom, they've got a lot of picks they clearly won.
Yeah, they definitely did, and Acadian gets to go back to the Rek'Sai, something that every pro jungler is going to be comfortable on, so they really did draft for comfort this time, and I think that kind of speaks to, hey, still getting some early season jitters out of the way. They're still not fully together as a team, so draft what you're comfortable with and try to go with that, and it was working out for them pretty early in the game.
But I do think that's where then, of course, we saw things fall apart with the superior team fighting comp coming out of Phoenix One here. If the Orianna shockwave hits, then, of course, it can spell disaster for that Echo Fox lineup. I want to jump to our first replay, though, which is in the the bot lane. This is going to go in favor of Echo Fox off of P1 aggression.
Yeah, and I mean, they're trying to go for this dive here. And Nori does get the execute, but Singed with the TP very early on that for Looper. The whole team is able to come in, and they are able to clean a lot of this up. And honestly, this is pretty aggressive for P1 going that far. Zig taking so much turret damage, and the whole team is kind of getting chunked out here. They stick around way too long. Acadian's able to get in, Gate's able to get in, landing some really nice CC there. Froggen's protected in his egg, and they're able to kind of clean up that fight.
Yeah, it was a super good recovery out of Echo Fox there, but this does kind of illustrate some of the same issues that they had last year. They're able to pick up kills, and clearly within small microcosms able to operate as a team at a high level, but it is seemingly in the more strategic elements where we see things still falling apart and where Phoenix One came out on top. We're going to get back to some analysis, but before we do, we're going to toss it down to an interview with one of our winners.
Thank you very much, Dash. I am here with Inori, one of the returning members of Phoenix One. Congratulations, first of all, on the 2-0.
Well, thank you.
All right, so I want to talk to you about the new lineup coming together, right? Phoenix One had a very rough start to summer. You weren't even allowed in the lineup for a little while. You finally come in. You sort of barely avoid relegation. Now you're back at full power at the very start. So now, rising from the ashes, how high is Phoenix One going to go?
I mean, I think the finals are in Vancouver, and that's like my hometown. So, like, my goal right now is just to go to the finals. So I think P1 can go to the finals, because I hope... Yeah, I really hope we can go to the finals. I think we're a good team, and I think we're going to keep improving.
So speaking of being a good team, we had an interview earlier on with TSM's owner, Reginald, and he said, basically, that he doesn't really believe in importing a bunch of Koreans, that, playing a mixed language team is very difficult. He called out Team Dignitas as being a bottom 5 team because of this. What's your experience been like playing with Arrow and Ryu, 2 Korean players, and how that gelling has kind of gone?
I think the game is shifting into like a big team and like team synergy thing. So I definitely think communication is a huge part. That's why I think when you're importing Koreans, you have to find ones that actually know some English. Like not knowing the basic like terminology is a big thing. So I think we got lucky because Ryu went to EU for 2 years or something, like 1 year and a half, and he learned like pretty fluent English. Like he shot calls, and the funniest part is because like
he went in EU, so he has like an EU accent. So like that caught me off guard to see like a Korean speaking in English was like an EU. Lovable guy, and Arrow too is improving his English, and he can. Yeah, I think we got lucky with our Koreans, but I think Reginald's statement is kind of true because communication is a big part.
Definitely. So talking about other parts of this game, I don't know if you heard it, but we had a couple interviews with Acadian that we had taped before coming in this match, and he was talking some smack about you. Actually, I think he called you overrated. He said you can only play from ahead, that you cheese people, but you're overall a bad jungler. What do you feel about? Is there an Inori Acadian rivalry? Is this something you care about at all?
I'm happy he gets a chance to play in LCS, but I think talk is just talk. Like when you play on stage is where it really matters. I don't think you need to like shit talk. You just like I want to be a player who can be more respected and inspire people to be more humble. Like that's my new approach this season because I want people. I don't want to be another toxic jungler. I think NA has a bit too many toxic junglers, so I don't want to join into that.
NA has too many toxic junglers, and Inori's going to clean up the jungle and make it great again. Inori, thank you very much. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you playing tomorrow, I believe it is. Thanks very much. Back to the analysts.
Thank you, Freak. The confidence that we've come to know and love out of Inori, but also, you know, a few humbling moments there talking about, you know, bringing in the Koreans and having to overcome that communication gap, but says that they're equipped well with the two that they have and their understanding of the English language so far.
Yeah, and I think it is very, very important. If you can't communicate the basics, especially in like high intensity situations, aka League of Legends team fights, then you're gonna struggle, right? Yeah. And I think that they at least have to have the basics and the right attitude, like Inori's talking about. You know, his teammates coming in, they want to learn, they want to improve, and if you're working together as a squad, then having these really talented Korean players can benefit.
Yeah, and here on day one, they even had a couple team fights that looked to be very in sync. The game-winning team fight, essentially, here that we're going to pull up. This is around the Dragon Pit, will eventually net them a Baron and all, but Ryu coming off big.
And I mean, this is a great start, right? Arrow gets stunned, Arrow gets hooked, and then the shockwave turns the whole fight around from Ryu. He nails it. The resets start coming out from Inori. They're able to jump around and really just turn around what should have been a bad fight for them. You know, it's not that often that your Varus gets stunned into a hook and then you win the fight,
and
right?
Yeah, it lives, right? But of course, Inori with that nice flank positioning there was able to disrupt Echo Fox's team fight. Player of the game, though, going to go to Ryu for big shockwaves like that. Of course, his scoreline here, you see Deathless, so a great start to him here in the North American LCS.
Yeah, I mean, he put up big damage, he played safe, never died, and really that was the fight that kind of broke the camel's back. Echo Fox was looking good throughout the game. That shockwave turned around, got them Baron, and really got them the win.
Now, of course, this is only week one. We've heard some big talk between these junglers. We're here to Nori say it's all about what you do on the stage. How did you feel he individually did today?
Hey, I think he did great. He had a bit of a slow start on the Rengar, but he really did shine through in the later stages of the game. He also did look solid on the Kazakhs, but some props has to go over to Acadian. You know, his debut was not bad whatsoever. He had good starts. He really did give Froggen in game one, especially the chances to carry the game. He wasn't able to convert, but he has a solid performance too.
I think that's the biggest thing to know. We saw that video package of him earlier in the day where he's talking about for him, he wants to come into the LCS and maintain his aggressive play style. Yeah. He did that, right? Whether they win or lose today, and loss was the result. He was aggressive. He got those early first bloods. Now it's about learning how to convert those first bloods and those early kills into victories. Now, there's not much to look at, but let's go ahead and check out the standings in case you missed tonight's results. Cloud9 and Phoenix 1, they're going to start the season with wins under their belt, alone at the top. But the weekend is just getting started, so they won't be alone for long. Tomorrow we have 4 matches across both streams, starting with CLG versus Team Liquid on NALCS 1, followed by Envy versus newcomers FlyQuest. And over in the Battle Theater, Echo Fox will play against Immortals in the first match, followed by the return of Dignitas as they face off against Phoenix 1.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix 1 and the Echo Fox match, these are really going to be big ones. How good is Echo Fox? And really, I think Dignitas, their first test against Phoenix 1, they look good. I think Dignitas, despite what Reggie says, has a lot of potential.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, I mean, in spite of what Reginald said, I'm very excited for this team. That, you know, it's an old organization that we know and love here in the NALCS, and they're back, but with a totally different roster. We got some big ticket players on that squad, so we'll see how they perform. That is going to conclude our first day of the 2017 season, but it all starts here. So now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to ask you to join me in welcoming our defending champions, TSM! Gentlemen, if you would do the honor in helping us commemorate your 4th NALCS title.
And he's up 100 over Biofrost. So the Golden, look at that contracts. He's gonna get a first blood.
Enemy fish. No, they didn't finish. Did not finish. I'm talking. Go. I hear you contract. I'm okay.
Gun the Haunter as well. Here comes the attempt to steal. Who's it gonna be? Nice kick out. He flies. He gets there and steals the Baron. Now the fight is on. Yes, they'll get the kill, but that is so worth it in every possible way for TSM. Now it's up for Smoothie to keep them alive. Voldy's gonna tag onto 4. They caught Biofrost. Down goes the TSM support. Hook into the back line. Bjergsen's gotta be careful. This one pops the ulti. A little for Jensen. Redemption. Now it's 3 for him. Impact still alive in the front line. Refuses to go down. It's Cloud9. 2-0 over TSM.
Welcome to the LCS, Looper. Huh? Welcome. Yes. Yes.
Because this is Acadian, the rookie, trying to make a play.
Going in, Ryu does get a great blood, but it's not enough. Still knocked up, and there's first blood for Rek'Sai. Needs to go back in, but gets himself exhausted. Keith goes down as Nori. Not able to take him down. Ryu just launches himself into the team. Arrow's gonna get the shot down, and P1 looking to clean up the team fight. And P1's gonna go move back in, but Lupa wants back in. Arcadia moves in. Bouncy Castle triple play. Gonna turn it all around.
Ash. Okay. Anivia. Rek'Sai no flash. Oh, nice. You live. Come in. Oh my god. Hey, how'd that fight even? Good shit.
Phoenix won. Sweep through Echo Fox for their first game in a